Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pick a Side podcast. My name is Joel Moran and I'm here with River Brown, Andrew Velez, and John Tortorelli. And this is now episode 442. John, 2 straight show appearances, filling in for Mr. Dehls, who went to Nashville. Now has come away with a little bit of a cold. He's a little bit sick. But tomorrow, he'll be fine. He'll be fine.
Allegedly.
He's like, I just need a day. He's like, John's been doing all right.
I'm surprised. You know, Minnesota, Boston played. You know how you guys have your little Ant-Man Tatum thing, and Tatum played really well last night.
I'm going to be honest, that hasn't been close this year. Hasn't been close.
Yeah, Tatum, he pretty much, and he said he took the Ant-Man assignment.
No, he's wiping Ant-Man
Yeah, it was
year.
pretty. So I thought he'd come talk his shit. He didn't even talk his shit last night in the chat. I was surprised.
Yeah, there's a lot of things we got to talk about. Anthony Edwards' post-game comments about being double teamed that have been misconstrued, like the media and people like to do. You guys are too harsh.
No, we're not harsh.
Jimmy Butler.
I'm 23, bro. I'm not trying to pass.
Reportedly open to playing for any team that's not the Miami Heat. That's what Jimmy Butler is on right now.
This was also nuts.
We're going to rank our top 5 most deserving All-Stars with some honorable mentions, and then get into the NFL Pro Bowl, the snub list, NFL Week 18 picks, which are probably going to be a crapshoot because a lot of teams aren't playing their starters. So there's only a little bit of important games like the Vikings and Lions, the Broncos and Chiefs. We only got maybe 4 games that are actually important. So that's going to be today's episode. How you guys feeling?
I'm doing pretty great. Last episode was a fun one. It was the first episode in a long time where I felt we didn't argue. Like, we kind of just shot the shit. You know, we kind of had like our calm conversations. We did I guess the biggest disagreement was you two going at it for whatever reason.
And Big Ben.
But that was definitely a little bit of a debate. But other than that, it was just good vibes.
Steelers bias.
I'm hoping that we continue that into this
Feeling
one.
good. Happy to be here. I had a cold as well, but I've been shaking it off this week. And
it's real man shit.
I could tell by the way you've been breathing.
He said,
next
I'm
to
more
me.
of a man than Joel.
Sitting in the seat saying it too.
You heard what I said? I said I could tell by the way that John's been breathing next to me.
Oh, yeah? You've been a little wheezy?
no.
No, yeah. Maybe the audience will hear it if he gets close enough to the mic, but he's like...
What kind of cold do you have?
Like, you got a little bit of a stuffed nose.
Did you have round 2 of you know what?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Is your nose stuffy?
Yeah.
Yeah, your nose is stuffy right now. Yeah, it is.
Well,
And that's why his voice got deeper as well. No, his voice got deeper as well. The audience thought that it was because he was hitting puberty.
I feel like John's voice is kind of
Wait, John, you hit puberty, bro?
I did hit puberty.
Dude, welcome, man.
I feel like John's voice was always kind of deep to a sense.
OD.
Yeah.
It was. It's just gotten a little bit
If anyone has the high-pitched voice on the show,
more deeper.
me.
And John, yeah, he's just a little bit sick right now. Sick man.
People were violating me for the clip of us arguing about Bo Nix when I said, you're pushing an agenda.
He did have a
With the paint and nails.
Nah, I was like, you got it. That shit was funny as fuck.
Yeah, man.
Oh, man.
Joel, how was your day, bro?
It was good.
You have yet to play with me in Marvel Rap.
Again?
You said it's the weekend.
Nah, he's right. He's
I
right.
know, I'm just reminding you. Today's Friday.
We could play today. I'm down.
No, tonight I have to listen to Lil Baby. But
Okay.
I have to
Don't waste your time.
I have to. You know, that's my guy. I got to go lock him. But tomorrow,
too,
when we're
bro.
done doing business in the morning, we can lock in.
Well, I gotta wake up early. We all do tomorrow because
Yeah,
we have
so-
this
Early-ish.
whistle first and scroll shoot.
Yeah.
It's gonna be our last one for Whistle. If you guys have went on Whistle's Instagram account or TikTok, they post videos of us on there, on Twitter too, and that's basically what we do. Is like once every month and a half.
Yeah.
No, once every month.
Yeah, around there we do a batch recording. We record a ton of stuff, and they just
To be honest.
schedule.
I love it.
The videos.
It's fun.
We had the last one was in October.
Yeah. The last one was the easiest of them all. But
Yeah.
they're fun.
It'd be cool. It'd be cool. Good vibes.
That's because I think we just went into it with the mindset of
Let's just bang it out.
let's just bang it out. All short form clips. Let's get it ready. Let's roll. The first one we had Justin Pugh here in the studio.
That one was
Like a real podcast when we didn't really have to do it that way.
The office is beautiful too.
facts. It is.
The second one with famous kick returner
Shout out Dante Hall.
Dante
Chiefs
Hall.
legend.
We kind of did it like knocking it out, and then the third time it was just very easy. So the fourth time hopefully is the same way.
Yeah, we'll
And Dehls will be there. Like
Are we
you
getting a
said.
guess?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I
Knocking
don't
it down.
think so.
Boom, boom, boom. 4 guys.
I was gonna say after the last ones and They did well, numbers-wise. I wouldn't need it. I wouldn't say that, it's essential we get another. Wouldn't say no.
Not to toot our own horn, but we're kind of good at what we do.
We are pretty good.
We're kind of good at what we do.
I'll say this. Dante was great. Justin was also really great, too. Like, it was fun having the both of them. So if we had another guest, I wouldn't say no. I remember you saying that we were going to have Nick Mangold on there.
Potentially, yeah. It would have been cool if we had him on there. Nick Mangold is a Jets legend.
Joel would have been freaking the fuck out.
Gonna pop his pants out.
Yeah, he was freaking out.
Yeah.
Pop his pants out.
Yeah, I understood.
I understood what he's saying, too.
Yeah, I couldn't think of nothing better. That's all it was. Yeah, couldn't think of nothing better.
Yeah.
So, but my day was great,
Interesting.
Yeah, my day was cool. Just was at work, chilling.
Am I allowed to say what happened?
What happened?
Got your ass grabbed?
Bo.
Didn't you say you got your ass grabbed by a kid at school?
Yeah, some kid at school squished my ass. Some little first grader was behind me. He's like, "Hey," squished my ass. Turned around and he's smiling, and I'm just like, "Yo, bro!" Like literally just like that. Like, "Yo, bro!" Told the teacher, like, "Yo, Miss Jones, brother just squished my ass." She's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" He's in the corner. So I asked her, I'm like, "Yo, what's wrong with him?" And she was like, "I was like, cold. Got it.
Yep.
Okay. I guess I'll give him a little leeway or whatnot." Squishing your ass is just diabolical, though. Like, you can't be doing that. But, these kids are crazy, man. But, yeah, that was really it. We was in the gym today for 2 hours. So that was dope, just sitting there chilling. Got into a Twitter war with some random.
An unnecessary one, if you ask me.
So, literally, after we were just talking about this, got into a Twitter war with this guy. And
what?
It really was just
Nothing.
It really was nothing.
It was, he randomly popped up and called me a bitch.
He kept calling Riv a bitch. Like, he did it multiple times.
He was just like, "Yo, you're doing bitch behavior," and I was just like, "Why are you so upset? You're a fan." And then he started scrolling, like recording my stuff. He's pulling up tweets.
He was a Hallie fan.
Yeah, so I was just like, "Oh yeah, you're a fan." Yeah.
It doesn't represent all of them.
No, I know. Yeah, he was upset because I was like, "Bro, like on Twitter, I troll. Like 80% of my shit, I legit do it for clicks." And he was like, "Oh, now you're walking back," and I was like, "No." Then
Twitter is meant for vibes.
Some of my fans jumped in, started to get on him. I was like, "Yeah, this is what we do here. We attack this man."
It's unfortunate that this is the last week of the NFL season, NFL Week 18. It's cool because the playoffs are right around the corner. You see what I'm talking about?
You're just taking a deep breath. Swallow it, damn it. Lock in. Don't spit it out. Don't spit it out. Thank God.
Joel, that was the wrong time.
He was just taking a deep breath, but I understood. What you meant.
It's the perfect time.
Don't worry, John. I got you.
John, 1 to 10.
Oh, man.
How confident are you in the Steelers walking into the playoffs? Because you guys are in, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we're in.
You're in. Okay, so 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, most.
4.
Oh, confidence that low.
Yeah.
Shit.
Texans isn't a 10?
Yeah, I think we have like
Yeah,
a
alright,
60-40 chance of being decent on the road. But
60-40?
yeah.
Damn.
That's
I'll be
bad 'cause
honest.
the Texans suck.
It's a team that hasn't won big games, and they've lost 3 straight in December for multiple years in a row. And for as much as I want to say I believe in this defense, since Cam Sutton's came back, our secondary has looked a lot different. Since Joey Porter Jr. went down, Dante Jackson's played pretty poorly, and honestly, our pass rush the last 2 weeks has been damn near non-existent. I mean, the offense obviously has its issues as well. I mean,
Najee
the
Harris.
pass blocking and then Russell Wilson taking 5 sacks
too,
last
man.
week. Like, I'm not going to sit up here and
Not
bullshit
great.
you. The Steelers have played 3 of the best teams in football and lost all 3 games by double digits.
Name
I'm not
the
going to
teams.
be like, yeah, it's 6. I mean, the Ravens, the Eagles, and the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit up here and be like, oh, it's a 7 out of 10 after we got our ass beat by the Chiefs.
it's the
I
Texans.
stopped watching in the fourth quarter. I'm like, they're not going to ruin my Christmas. I'm not going to let
respect
that
that.
happen. I stopped in the fourth quarter.
But it's the Texans. That's
By
why
the half round we fumble, I'm like, I'm shutting the shit off. I'm done. So
4
That
to
was
10.
bad.
Dude,
I'm still repping my
You said
team.
he was good.
What, can I ask you a question? What positive thing has the Steelers, what have they done for you?
Oh, nothing.
In your lifetime? How old are you?
Well, I've been alive for 2 Super Bowls we've won, but I became a fan in 2010 when we
I mean,
lost.
you
the
see
Super Bowl.
AB.
John, you're
Yeah, that's-
21, right?
no?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say he was 19 for what felt like a lifetime.
Yeah,
And
you had
then-
AB, you had Le'Veon Bell. You've seen some things.
Yeah, I saw one of the most talented offenses of all time never make it to the Super Bowl.
Hey, listen, brother, you can't. You,
I saw
you don't
one
get
of my
everything.
favorite linebackers suffer a spinal contusion. That was like the main reason why we didn't get
That shit turned the franchise upside down.
I'm sorry.
No, it was tough. That Shazier injury was brutal.
You've seen some TJ Watt stuff. You've seen some good things.
Oh, I've seen amazing players, but I mean, I look at the end of Cam Hayward and TJ Watt's career and say TJ's never won a playoff game because our offense has been run by a bunch of fools, and then we get a halfway decent offense, and it feels like there's always some sort of new problem. So.
Listen, you're winning every year, 500.
I'll take it. I'd rather be a
season.
Steeler fan,
Take
but
it.
when you have expectations
amazing.
and when you're a well-run team, you expect to win big games at some point.
Sounds like you need
I
a guy
feel
like
bad. I
Howie.
feel bad for these Hall of Fame caliber players who, yeah, they are Hall of Fame caliber players. They have a lot going for them in their lives, but I just want to see them get some playoff notoriety and some playoff wins, and that just hasn't
Your
happened.
voice has changed.
That's very sweet of you.
No, it's a little bit raspy just because
No,
he's
you
got a little
sound more
school.
like a man.
Yeah, it's because he got cold.
I appreciate that.
No,
I think
for real.
that's
John sounds
very-
like a man.
It's very sweet of John to say. It's a sweetheart thing. You know, you're a cute kid. Thank you, John. Thank you.
You like kids?
Do I like kids?
There you go.
Answer him.
We made him answer. Are you a racist? It's totally fair.
Answer him now. You didn't. You just giggled about it.
I would love to have a kid one day.
Amen. That's the way to answer
Amen.
that.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's the way to answer that.
Yep.
I want to have a little
It's not something
mini
to laugh
me.
about.
Nah, shit,
Now,
funny.
I hope that my kid grows up to be as polite and as sweet as you, John.
Thank you.
You're a cute
Just a
kid.
fine gentleman.
Thanks.
A fine gentleman. Works hard too. He's a hard worker.
Don't ever question his work ethic.
No, listen. Hey, listen. Never me. Never me. Never.
Oh my God, bro! John was so sturdy with it. He's like, "Don't ever question my work ethic."
Respected the fuck out of it. I respected it. That was fun.
Oh,
Nah,
man.
John stands on business.
4 out of 10, John. Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And am I supposed to bullshit and say 7?
No, I
Well, it's
respect
good.
that.
It's good to have you here, John. We have you here for something else that's very important. The fact that this week marks the final week that we get to place in a prospects play for the NFL
tragic.
regular season.
We're not going to carry this for the regular season.
Yeah, for the regular season. For playoffs, we will definitely be using prospects. If you guys want to support the podcast, you can use prospects. Right now, they have a pretty excellent promo going on. It expires January 5th. It's a $25 free lineup. So if you want to sign up, you can get that $25 free lineup. And also, if you play $5, you can get $50 by using our code PAS. NFL Week 15, or Week 18, sorry. NFL Week 18 prize picks play. I'm going to go with Jalen Warren, more than 66.5 rushing plus receiving yards. He's the best running back on the Steelers. The Bengals still have one of the worst defenses in the NFL. We saw McLaughlin for the Broncos have a great game against them last week. I think Jalen Warren is going to have a ton of explosive plays, both through the air and on the ground, and I expect him to go more than this number.
Okay, so, I'll go next. Big game. Detroit, Minnesota. Nothing screams big game like the best receiver on the planet, Justin Jefferson. More than 94.5, if I'm not mistaken.
100% correct.
100% correct. More than 94.5. Listen, the things Justin Jefferson is going to do to that secondary. I mean, he was talking about he can't sleep. This is the games he wake up for. When you talk about Jerry Rice, Randy Moss, you talk about Justin Jefferson, take the more. He's going to dominate.
Now, I was going to choose Cortland Sutton to have more than 5.5 receptions against the Chiefs. We got some incentives on the line, but then that got the wheels turning. Who else has incentives on the line? There's nobody that has it more than Mike Evans. Now, Mike Evans is 85 yards away from history. Another 1,000-yard season. He's at 915 where we currently stand. His current play is at 100.5. Now, we're going to go the smart way about this. We're going to go for Mike Evans to have more than 6.5 receptions.
There we go.
I think it's going to take a little bit to get to that mark. He does need 85 yards. He will do it. I do firmly believe that. That being said, I'm going to take the safe route as opposed to going and saying he's going to have a 100-yard game. So give me more than 6.5 receptions.
Because he might just get 90.
Exactly.
And then you're done.
It'd be hilarious
Exactly.
if you get 3 receptions, like 100.
The thing is, they do need to win. That's very important to this as well, and to the conversation we're gonna have later. The Bucs need to win. They control their own fate. If they win, they're in the playoffs. They win the division. However, for
Playing
Mike,
the Saints.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No Marshawn Lattimore anymore.
no, the Saints
That game could be over by the first quarter.
could be over. quick.
Saints are definitely trying to ruin the Bucks playoff hopes, though.
Saints are
good
gonna
luck
have a
with
good
that.
pick.
Unfortunately, they're just not good enough to do it,
Talk.
I think.
Hate to hear it. My Prize Picks player of the week is going to be more than 68.5 receiving yards for George Pickens. The Bengals defense has been a get-right week for most teams this year. Last 2 times Pickens has played them, he's cleared this with 3 and 4 catches. Last year was 4 catches for 195 and 2 touchdowns. This year is 3 for 74. 3 of his last 4 games, he's gotten over 68.5. And this offense has had a lot of issues recently, so I expect them to prioritize Pickens early.
You said 4 catches, 190?
No, 190.
195. 4 catches, 195 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Oh my God, the Bengals.
Drake London's better though. So
Yes.
No, 4 catches, 190 is ridiculous.
He's a big play merchant, but goodness
big
gracious.
play merchant. I like big play merchants. Don't get me wrong.
You should.
I think that's a good
He was
thing.
about to attack
That is a
you.
good thing.
You heard? He was about to attack you.
I felt like he was about to say something, but he agreed.
No,
he is a big
4
play
catches,
guy.
190 is nuts.
That's ridiculous.
That's like a Randy Moss day. That's truly
him and
insane.
Mason Rudolph, man. They made magic.
Yeah.
Who the fuck are the Bengals throwing out there? What is going on?
Cam Taylor-Britt. He stinks.
He's questionable.
Who cares?
That's good because they've been going with his youth movement recently. Josh Newman played well. Josh Newman I think is a good player out of TCU.
Yeah, I think so.
Geno
Rookie.
Stone started to figure things out.
Yeah, he's been playing
Happy for
really
him.
well.
He's the only one.
Yeah. Geno Stone is really good. They got a pretty
Really
bad
just Trey
defense over there.
Hendrickson.
Yep.
Then
Big game too for Pittsburgh.
You need it.
Yeah.
I'm praying to God you win.
you needed to
You
do.
can't lose out.
You needed to do what?
Well, then again, if we lose and the Dolphins miraculously lose to the Jets and the Bengals get in, maybe they can take care of business and take out the Bills and then take out the Chiefs in the divisional round. And the next thing you know, the Steelers maybe don't.
You just
play those
you
two
just told me
teams.
it's a 4 out of 10 going into the Texans game.
Yeah.
That theory's out the window.
What do you mean?
Like all that you just said, throw it out the window.
If you guys lose again,
If the Bengals miraculously get in the playoffs, maybe they're gonna be the team that could take out the Chiefs and the Bills. That's what I'm saying.
You're not looking at it from a true optimistic standpoint. You got a great defense. From everything that you tell me, you got an elite defense.
the DPI.
correct?
It has
Why?
not been elite the last 3 weeks.
What
no,
if Joey
it has
Porter
been
comes back?
bad.
If
That's
Joey
been
Porter
bad.
Jr.
That's been
comes
good.
back, it's a great defense, right? You have a Hall of Fame
Look at the rest of the
quarterback.
cornerback. Get Beanie Bishop back out there, please.
You have a quarterback who's won Super Bowls before.
Yeah,
right?
one
Defensive player of the year.
Yeah.
Yep.
That you
Who's-
think? TJ Watt.
He's
Seven
one of the
down
best
year.
quarterbacks
Yeah,
in this
defensive player of
era,
the year
right?
candidate.
2010's era, Russell Wilson.
we're not in that era anymore.
You
pal.
have better than Drake London, George Pickens.
But
now?
he said he's
That
been
is
playing
true.
at a top 10 level.
Dude,
for
Calvin
them,
Austin.
too.
You've been talking about him like
I love him.
You love Najee Harris. You have him.
We got a
team
lot.
is pretty
Yeah, but we've been going to
loaded.
Cordell fucking Patterson on 3rd and 3, not Najee or
Hey,
Jalen
listen,
Warren,
he.
so.
I feel
yo,
like
Mike
he's-
Williams. Like
I
you
know,
want to talk
he's-
about a player that
Got
changed
single-
the market.
Yeah,
And then
we
you
got
have-
single
You
digit
have
targets
put it
this
like
year.
Mike Tomlin, dude. You have everything.
Yeah,
You can win it all.
Mike Tomlin, who is a very high floor raiser, has also lost 3 straight games in the last 3 years.
Maybe they need you out there.
No, they don't.
Maybe it's
Are
time
you
to
telling me
do
you don't want Mike Tomlin anymore?
No, but I mean,
Are you telling me blow it up?
if we can't, I've said this yesterday. I said this in the most recent podcast we had. If we cannot be the Texans, I think nothing's off the table. You can rebuild.
TJ Watt?
You can blow up the defense. I'm done with it. If
Would you
can't
send
be the
TJ
Texans-
Watt over to Broncos?
I mean, you gotta give us a lot.
What's a lot?
A lot.
Okay.
A lot for a player who's not top 10 in pressures this year. Who's how
well,
old now?
You said he
34
just
years
said he's
old?
having a down
So
year.
I know that you're, as a Jet fan, you're not used to winning games.
shit.
But when TJ Watt
It always comes
plays,
back to that.
the Steelers win almost 80% of their games.
You tell
About
me you don't win
76%.
anything meaningful,
But when
though.
TJ Watt doesn't play, we play at the pace of the Jets.
Who's
even
more
worse than the
impactful,
Jets.
Joey Porter
so
or
we
Ahmad
go,
Gardner?
I'm not done. We go from the
Well,
pace of
maybe
a
if-
2-win team to an 11-win team when TJ Watt plays. But we're only going to look at pressure rate. That's all we're going to look at.
That's great, John. If you would have lost those games, maybe you'd pick high enough to get a quarterback.
Or like the Jets, we could pick high enough every other
And
year
still
and
draft the
still
quarterback
fuck up the
and still
quarterback
fucking
because we
win.
have no patience and we can't develop a
John.
fucking
but you
quarterback
trust the
last
Steelers to
decade.
develop a quarterback.
Shit.
You
Do you?
don't?
I don't know. A
little bit.
Why would
Yeah.
you? Like they've done nothing. Like they've not been in a position to do so.
It's
and
really
then,
hit 50-50.
like
I feel
Kenny
like,
Pickett doesn't
a 5
count.
out of 10. Like
Does
I'm,
Kenny
I'm
Pickett count?
lukewarm.
No, he's awful.
I mean, Kenny
just not
Pickett's
good.
like
But
a
he's-
one
he's
read
terrible.
and run quarterback with no arm.
Like
I mean,
we
what
have
can
an
I say?
Avengers team. He's still terrible. So
I don't disagree.
Joey Porter Jr. or Ahmad Gardner.
Ahmad Gardner.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that
Sauce.
in a while. I know.
Sauce.
I know. I haven't heard that in a while.
Yeah, brother, that name's gone till further notice.
Well, Joey Porter Jr. last second half of the year hasn't been great, so still go Sauce. Yeah. Sauce down here. Joey
Ahmad
Porter.
he's Ahmad until further notice.
You don't got to think about
Ahmad's
that one.
fair. Yeah.
Okay, so you would take him, but slightly. Like I get,
I
we'll
haven't
take
been-
Sauce.
I
But I'm
haven't-
asking for
I have
Ahmad.
not been impressed with Porter Jr. before he got hurt.
Okay.
So, I mean, he had a good start to the year, but like the second half did not look good
Okay.
No.
I love it. Just genuine.
for his
question.
standard at least.
Dude, what number would you have Ahmad at right now?
Not Sauce.
This
Ahmad.
year, that's the top 10. You know,
Like-
but I don't blame it on Sauce. I blame it on the defense.
Should we do a Would You Rather Sauce? I mean, excuse me,
not
Ahmad
letting
Gardner
him play with
edition.
strengths?
Yeah, we cannot.
That's
stop
not a bad
giving
play.
him that.
That's on me, bro.
Sauce Gardner is a top.
I feel
two
bad
corner
for
in
Sauce
football.
though. Someone,
Ahmad.
This is Ahmad.
Someone on IG is like,
You know,
tell,
bro.
tell him to get T. Higgins to the Jets. He's like, I'll not be telling him that because I think they're ruining his career, and same with Garrett Wilson. So
You know, let's.
gotta get those guys
I'm feeling.
Damn.
Gotta get them out of there.
Just got to reset the culture. We interviewed Mike Vrabel today.
How'd you
shouldn't
feel
go
about that?
there. Don't go that way. You guys gotta get an offensive mind.
He is a
No.
culture.
Why
setter,
do
though.
we?
I think culture hires are a bit overrated. And if you're the Jets, you need to go for that first-time head coach, that
Mike
Ben
Tomlin guy
Johnson.
here.
You gotta find your Matt
ahead,
LaFleur,
Joel.
your Kevin O'Connell. You have to find that offensive mind who can build a strong offense.
Here's what I don't get.
Because winning builds cultures. I don't think the culture
names?
hire
Oh,
solves everything. You're still getting the same issues with the
I
coordinator.
think they're about to argue.
Here's what I don't get. When you hire a head coach, you gotta hire the best candidate for your team. The route of going with offensive coaches, sometimes they work. Look at the Vikings, look at the Rams, look at the Packers. They
Niners.
work. What about the Titans this offseason? They hired a offensive
I
line.
didn't think that was a good hire.
And Brian Callahan
I didn't
hasn't
mind
been
it.
good.
I like Brian.
We thought Will would be better. That
To be
was the
fair,
thing.
that team is still not great. But Westbrook Akine kind
How
of broke
about
out.
Westbrook Akina? Yeah.
And Calvin Ridley played okay.
And
And
also-
Tony
That's a
Pollard was
big play
successful.
merchant. That's a
You're
big
cooking.
play merchant.
Tony Pollard and
26 catches,
Tajay
7
didn't look too
touchdowns.
bad.
You
9
need
touchdowns.
to you need to
quarterback.
sway
I'm still in on
coordinators
Brian.
and top of the end head coaching candidates to go to your team. Ben Johnson's not interviewing with the Jets. Liam Cohen's probably not interviewing with the Jets. What OC outside of those two?
Why would
should
Liam
the
Cohen
Jets-
not interview with the Jets? That's how that is.
Because I think that the Jets right now are a mess, and I think the
So you're gonna settle?
going for Liam Cohen, I think is a little bit too risky. The Jets went out and they signed an offensive-minded guy in Adam Gase, and it failed terribly after his stint with the Dolphins. Sometimes you got to look at the team's history and see what they've done, and the Jets have always been a defensive-oriented franchise. We hired Rex Ryan. He led us to 2 AFC Championship games. We hired Todd Bowles. He went 10-6 in his first season,
Right.
and we didn't let him see that out. And look at what he's doing with the Buccaneers right now. He's hired back-to-back coordinators and Dave Canales and Liam Cohen that have been good. The Jets are a defensive-oriented franchise. That's what they've been. So
Does it
I
stay that way?
feel like, well, if there's not a candidate out there that you can sign and that actually wants to go to your team, then no. If a team right now lacks a quarterback, what's the point of hiring an offensive mind?
'Cause that helps develop one.
So Ben Johnson, that's an unrealistic scenario for the Jets.
Ben Johnson's obviously unrealistic.
I think
Liam
it is
Cohen
unrealistic. Liam Cohen's realistic.
is realistic.
Liam Cohen, between Liam Cohen or Mike Vrabel, you think the Jets should take a swing on Liam Cohen rather than Mike
Here's what I'll say.
Vrabel?
I
who's
don't think
improving?
Mike Vrabel's the best option. And you're making a good point that it didn't work out with Adam Gase, and sometimes offensive hires don't work out. The Broncos hired Nathaniel Hackett, it didn't work out, but that didn't sway them back into the direction of hiring a Vic Fangio or Vance Joseph. They went back into the offensive market, and they got the best one available in Sean Payton.
But it's Sean Payne.
Exactly.
Like, yeah,
it's Ben Johnson.
if Sean
you know what I
Payne
mean?
is, but Ben Johnson
I
is
know.
unrealistic for the
Sean
Jets.
Payne is kind of a veteran too. You know.
See, but
course.
you know what? Let me not use this argument because apparently the favorite to get Ben Johnson is Jacksonville. They have Trevor Lawrence. That's why it's a bad organization. Yeah. It's a bad team, but he's willing to take a chance on that because they at least have a quarterback
And
that
it's
he can use a
also
play.
Also, a
Players
coordinator that
Facts.
openly has said he's only going to go to a team that he feels like is right. That's why he didn't get hired as a head coach last year. He could have went to the Commanders, but he turned that down. So tell me, out of all the realistic candidates,
You could argue that was a mistake.
maybe, yeah, you can, but still, I think he's going to have his choice of the Bears, of the Jaguars this offseason.
Easily.
He's going to be a head coach regardless. So outside of Ben Johnson's unrealistic.
Yes.
So outside of Ben Johnson, who's an offensive mind that the Jets could realistically get, who you'd hire over Mike Vrabel and also somebody like Brian Flores.
Don't overthink it.
I like the Flores hire. I think he's such a game changer as a defensive coach that is a better option than Mike Vrabel. I also think Liam Cohen's a better option.
Flores also fired Ben Johnson.
I know.
Flores fired Ben Johnson when he was like a position.
He was
coach.
wide receiver coach.
Yeah. I'm not going to read too deep. I mean, obviously it looks horrible, but like,
No, I'm trying to start the pot.
yeah.
So
Fair enough.
Aaron Glenn also is a candidate.
If I'm being honest, I understand where John's coming from.
I like Vrabel with the Jets.
I understand Vrabel made some good moves to start his tenure in Tennessee. The way that it ended kind of soured my view of him. That being said, you guys need a certain level of discipline in the building. They lack discipline. They're big players. It just seems as if, not all of them, but it seems as if this team is full of egos, unfortunately for them. You need a leader in there, and that can be Vrabel. Now, I understand what John's saying, though. This league has shifted to an offensive one. And Liam Cohen has done a pretty great job over here in Tampa Bay. And we were worried about them coming into this season because you lose Canales to the Panthers, and Baker has his revival with Canales. How is he going to look in this next year? And he arguably has an even better year than he had last. I can understand wanting to go in that direction. That also being said, you guys getting a quarterback into the draft is not out of the possibility. It's not.
I think the Jets need to focus on building having a culture builder, whether that's Vrabel, Aaron Glenn, Brian Flores. I'd be happy with either of them. You look at the playoff landscape right now in the AFC. The Chiefs, offensive coach is their head coach. The Bills, a defensive coach is their head coach. The Ravens, a former special teams coach, is their head coach with John Harbaugh.
We can argue, though, the hire of Todd Monken has elevated this team to new heights.
Yeah, I mean, any head coach, you got to get your coordinators right.
Agreed.
So that's why, to me, it's not always a necessity that your head coach is your offensive play caller, because you can hire those. Then you look at the Texans. D'Amico Ryans, defensive head coach, has led a turnaround. This year's been disappointing, but last year led a turnaround. Look at the Steelers. Really Mike Tomlin is not an offensive-minded head coach. He's in the playoff picture right now. The Chargers. Jim Harbaugh is not an offensive play caller. He's more of a galvanizer.
It's weird because he is an offensive mind, but he just does not call plays.
He's a former quarterback, so he definitely understands the position. And then the Broncos offensive coach. So half of those playoff teams are led by teams that don't have offensive coaches as a head coach. Then look at the NFC. The Eagles, Nick Sirianni was an offensive coordinator. That counts. The Lions, Dan Campbell. He's more of a special teams, just galvanizer of the troops.
He was a tight end coach. He technically counts as offense.
Vikings, Kevin O'Connell. That's obvious.
Go.
You look at the Packers, Matt LaFleur. That's obvious. Go. Commanders, Dan Quinn, defensive mind. He's their head coach. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Todd Bowles, defensive mind. He's their head coach. So that's all I'm saying is that it's not just because you hire a defensive coach doesn't mean that it's over. You can have success, and half of the teams in the playoffs right now are led by defensive-minded head coaches.
And you look at Vrabel, though, with the defensive-minded head coaches, you have to hit on OC.
Yeah.
You look at what happened last year with Bobby Slowick. D'Amico looks like a genius, one of the best head coaching hires of last year.
Look at Philly.
But how a year turns, and now everyone's against Bobby Slowick. For Mike Vrabel, you hire Arthur Smith. You have this amazing breakout offense with Tannehill, Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown, Jonnu Smith. Arthur Smith gets his own gig in Atlanta. Now this offense is really one-dimensional, really centered around Derrick Henry. Yeah. And Vrabel's so far gone to the point where he gets fired.
Happened to us last year. We had Steichen left, hired a new guy, dog shit. Got to hit. If you don't hit on OC, if you can have the head coach, but if you don't hit on OC or DC,
you got to hit on both. Like the Eagles,
shit gets dark.
The offense for the Eagles all year long, it wasn't what it was, but it was still able to get by with just
so
talent.
Much better than last year.
The defense is the biggest improvement for the Eagles from last year, and they had to hit on the DC. So even if you have an offensive,
shout out to Vic,
minded head coach, going from play caller to now having to address the entire team and be involved in everything. That's a lot of responsibility. We saw Thomas Brown be the interim OC and then get elevated to head coach.
Insane.
And then the entire game plan fell apart. So I just feel like the Jets have to go with a safe option. I like Liam Cohen. I think he's going to be phenomenal. But they got to go with a culture builder. Brian Flores makes sense. Even though the Dolphins stint didn't end that well, they still were a 500 team.
Could you argue Robert Saleh was supposed to be a culture builder?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do things opposite of what we've been doing.
I don't think he built a bad culture. I think Aaron Rodgers got into the building.
I agree with this.
He was part of what was holding them together. And they've said,
hey, you're saying Robert Saleh.
Question. Quinion or Ahmad this year?
Easy.
It's Ahmad. Shit's getting
Sauce Gardner's a better player.
All right. I'm just asking what a better year.
He didn't ask you Sauce.
I didn't ask you that. I said Ahmad.
He didn't ask you Sauce.
Well, better year. Quinion has had a pretty amazing year.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate it.
But Quinyon is not shadowing nobody. He's staying to his side, and
Kinda
not
like
that. Sauce is kind of doing a little bit of
You told me
both.
people don't shadow no more though.
It depends on your defensive scheme. The Vic Fangio's defensive scheme is like that, where the only times corners on the outside or one-on-ones is on go balls or on routes that you have to maintain outside leverage on. But for the most part, like everything inside that part of the route tree, you're passing those
We also
things
got
off.
guys on the other side. We don't
It's
really
all right,
need to
guys.
shadow.
Let's have a little fun. This is going to be a would you rather of Ahmad Gardner, formerly known as Sauce Gardner.
Two different guys. It's like Two-Face.
First name up, Christian Benford.
Who's having the better season is Benford. Who I think's the better corner is Sauce.
Christian
Gardner.
Benford is better than Ahmad Gardner.
I do know what Joel said. This year, Benford's been better this year, but I'm still gonna go with Sauce.
And the way I'm approaching this would you rather is if I had my pick at corner to lead my defense, to be the best corner on my defense, who am I picking? This is not off who's having a better season.
I'm also taking Ahmad. But
I
Benford
feel
is
like
having
this is
it better.
a little bit crazy. But
Next name, Trent McDuffie.
Trent McDuffie.
McDuffie. He made plays in the Super Bowl. He has the highest lockdown percentage this year amongst every corner.
I like
going
McDuffie a
with
lot.
I still can't believe we took Kenny Pickett this election before.
The
And
corner,
McDuffie's also a much better tackler, much better in the run.
Just better.
McDuffie is an
Scalpel
exceptional
on the run.
corner.
the corner that was selected one pick ahead of him, Derek Stingley.
Derek Stingley.
Stingley.
He's
Christian-
more of a ball hawk.
Christian Gonzalez.
Christian Gonzalez.
I'm going Gonzo.
I'm going with Sauce Gardner. Sauce Gardner first 2 years was the first team All-Pro. I mean, you can't just
He might never
discount
do that again.
I mean, Christian Gonzalez having a
crazy.
tremendous
That's
season.
crazy.
Is it? Why
Sauce
is that-
Gardner,
why is that
we
nuts?
can't ignore that. He's one of the most
Right.
talented corners in football.
He might not never do that again. No
They
troll.
haven't been using them right all year.
Byron Murphy.
Fair.
Sauce Gardner.
Sauce Gardner.
Byron Murphy's having an incredible season.
Unbelievable year.
Sauce.
AJ Terrell.
Sauce
Sauce having
Gardner.
a good year. I'm going Sauce Gardner. Really good year for AJ Terrell though.
AJ Terrell had one really elite year.
This year's been playing very well.
He's
though.
been good, but he had
been a
one
stud.
real legit year that rivals what Sauce did last year.
Devon Witherspoon. Devon Witherspoon also, one of his most underappreciated traits is how elite he is as a run stopper as well.
I'm going to go with Sauce Gardner. I think Witherspoon is great as a nickel back, and he's great around the line of scrimmage and making plays. But trusting one of them to be one-on-one outside corner against the best receivers in the league, I would still trust Sauce over Devon
I'll
Witherspoon.
take Sauce.
This is the closest one that I think we've gotten so far. I'm gonna go with Sauce. I really do factor in the coaching between Mike McDonald and the Jets.
Jalen Johnson.
Damn. Jalen's tough.
Jalen Johnson's incredible.
He had another incredible year.
He did.
Pro
I'm
Bowler
gonna go
again.
Jalen. I'm gonna go Jalen.
I have to go with Jalen too.
I'm going with Sauce Gardner.
Marlon Humphrey.
I'm going Sauce.
Marlon's had a good year, but going with
I'll go
Sauce.
Marlon Humphrey has made so many game-changing plays this year. They've really put him in a nickel position full-time after the slow start to their defense. And he's made game-winning plays. The interception against Joe Burrow when he was covering Jamar Chase televised that route.
The pick sixers.
I think Marlon Humphrey has played at an all-pro level this year. I'm going to go with Marlon
We got
Humphrey.
3 names left. Denzel Ward.
Denzel Ward, 17 pass breakups that leads the NFL. But Sauce Gardner actually has a lower passer rating when targeted than Denzel Ward this year. I'm going with Sauce Gardner.
You know I
also
love
going
me
Sauce.
some Denzel. That's my dog. So
And Denzel has allowed more yards and coverage this year,
there's
too.
a little bias here. I'm gonna go Denzel.
Jalen Ramsey.
Going with Sauce.
Sauce Gardner,
Sauce.
moving forward, Jalen Ramsey, he's still playing good for his
Jalen
age.
Ramsey had a pretty great year this year as well.
Yeah, he
I'll go
is.
Sauce.
Oof. Okay. Last name. The guy who was in competition with him for whatever reason, couldn't tell you why. But the soon-to-be Defensive Player of the Year, Pat Surtain.
Oh, it's
Patrick
easily PS2 wipes.
Yeah, Pat Surtain's having one of the best defensive back years since Stephon Gilmore in 2018. This Pat Surtain.
Love that. And that'll wrap it up.
Ahmad.
The Marlon Humphrey one's the only one that maybe changed.
Marlon Humphrey definitely has some great longevity. He's been a savage for
I mean,
a long,
he's somebody
long time.
he's been producing at a very high level for a long time. Gonzalez got injured his rookie year, and this is his first great season. And this is a good year, but he wasn't all-pro caliber. Sauce Gardner, first 2 years was an all-pro. And this year, he's not even having a bad year, and I think that's the misconception with...
Gonzo's not having an all-pro-esque year.
Well, all-pro means he's one
Top
of the 4
4.
best corners in the league. No.
Can you make an argument for it? Pat Surtain.
Pat Surtain, Derek Stingley Jr.,
Yes.
Marlon Humphrey all having better seasons. And then
Marlon Humphrey
Christian-
flat out's having a better season than Gonzo.
Yes, Marlon Humphrey's been an All-Pro. Yeah.
But so is Gonzo. Gonzo has been one of the best in coverage. His pass, if I'm not mistaken, he's top 6. I feel very safe in that in passer rating.
Gonzalez averaging is allowing a 61 pass rate when targeted.
Yes.
Christian Gonzalez at 70.5.
Which is that, all right, because there was very few that had under 70. That's kind of what my mind was at. I was trying to remember.
And Humphrey has had 6 interceptions this year.
Facts. Yeah, Christian Gonzalez is top 3 in passer rating. Of players that have played at 80% of 694 snaps. Because Gonzo has just been on the field a ton. But if I lowered that to 50, then we'll have Marlon there as well.
It was, yeah, but what I'm looking at is just 20% of 694 coverage snaps.
Mm-hmm.
This is coverage in general. Derek is scored in PFF. Derek Stingley's number 1 at 47. Pastor Tan's number 2 at 57.9. Humphrey is at 61. He's number 3. Then we have Jacorian Bennett, Dante Jackson, who I think he's been good with the Steelers this year. He's been very, very underrated season that he's been having. I got to refresh it.
It's all good. That's what I went to 80% just because I feel like these are the guys that are on the field a ton, which again is it's unfair to Marlon, who obviously deserves recognition in this conversation. But of top 5 of 80% of players that have played 80% of 694, Derek Stingley's 1, Patrick Tan's 2, Gonzo's at 3, Benford's at 4, Byron Murphy's at 5, AJ Terrell's at 6, Jalen Jones is number 7, and Quinyon Mitchell's at 8. Trent McDuffie rounds out the list of players under 90 of passer rating allowed.
Yeah, I think Gonzalez has been great this year, but I don't think he's been one of the best 4 corners in football. You know, we look at the NFC. I like Devon Witherspoon a lot in the NFC. And I think
Gonzo in coverage, though, you could argue it's Surtain. You have Derek Stingley in this conversation. Gonzo might be top 3, top 4 in coverage.
No, he's not better than Trent McDuffie.
Trent McDuffie, I slighted. Apologize. Yeah. Trent McDuffie would be in that top 3. I'll put Gonzo 4.
So that's why
I'm still fine in my top 4.
When I look at the corners, it's just, you know, who's having the better seasons? Derek Stingley and Pastor Tan is the obvious 1 and 2. I think Trent McDuffie is one of the obvious ones too. Even though he has his moments, but so does everybody. Mm-hmm. Everybody has their moments, you know.
Yeah, Trent McDuffie, it was in that middle part of the season. Jalen Watson had gone down. He had to play a new position. We spoke about it a plethora of times. It took some adjustment, but he figured it out.
Devon Witherspoon, not only has been excellent in coverage, but he's the best
run-stopping
stopper.
corner.
He
no
has
doubt.
the most run stops in the NFL this year.
Agreed.
Amongst every corner. So I can't
it's a fair combo there.
Just ignore that. So, you know, Christian Gonzalez I think he's been one of the 8 best corners this year.
Valid.
One of the 4 best corners. I can't say one of the 4 best corners.
There's so many names in that category.
Yeah, Christian Benford has only allowed 200
it's a fact.
yards in coverage this year. Christian Gonzalez at 499.
Yeah, Benford's been a dog.
Benford has more coverage snaps on the year than Gonzalez. So he has much less yards allowed and much more coverage snaps. You know, so I have to take all of that into account. I think Gonzalez is an exceptional corner, but you know, Sauce Gardner for the first 2 seasons of his career was one of the 2 best corners in football. And maybe if you want to nitpick, one of the 3 best corners in football. You can't just ignore that. And this year, this is a down year for him. He's only allowed 1 touchdown in coverage this year, and he's allowing a 79.3 passer rating when targeted with 7 pass breakups, which is which is the same amount as Christian Gonzalez this year. They have the same amount of pass breakups. Mm-hmm. And he's allowed 12 forced incompletions. So Sauce Gardner, he's 6th amongst all cornerbacks in forced incompletions. And that's over Gonzalez, Jalen Jones, Tariq Woolen. So even in a down year from Sauce, he's still been a very good corner.
For sure.
So like he hasn't been like this huge liability. This hasn't been Darrelle Revis washed year.
And why don't you say they've been misutilizing him too, compared to his first 2 years, just playing more in press compared to his own coverage this year?
I mean, right now with the defense just doesn't have a real scheme that they run. Yeah. It's just terrible. It's vanilla. There's nothing to it. And that's why Robert Saleh, you know, he had this defense playing really well. So that's where I'm at with it. But if you look at coverage grade, the top 16, because Sauce Gardner ranks 16th, the players ahead of him in coverage grade are Jalen Johnson, Quinyon, Byron Murphy, Stingley, Jamel Dean, Renardo Green, who's been an excellent rookie for the 49ers, Tarheeb Still, excellent rookie for the Chargers, also another Pro Bowl level player. Gonzalez is 8. Then you have Cooper DeJean at 7, Jordan Lewis at 6. Then you have McDuffie, Humphrey, Garrett Williams, Christian Benford, and Pastor Tan to round out the top 5. And that's another underrated corner this year, Garrett Williams on the Cardinals. He hasn't made a lot of splash plays, but at a point in time, we were talking about the Cardinals as one of like the surprise defenses. They're doing a lot with their scheme, and that happens because of scheme, but you also have to have some players. And Budda Baker was great around the line of scrimmage this year, and Garrett Wilson was a shutdown nickel corner this year. Their defensive line is still pretty terrible, but Garrett Williams has been the best player arguably on that defense this year, and he's only second season. He's having a breakout year, so corner play is volatile year to year. But Sauce Gardner, what I'm saying is that he hasn't been a bum this year.
No, for
sure.
But
anything that Sauce Gardner does, even when he made All-Pro last year, people want to nitpick his game and what he does and how he impacts. Yeah, but every corner gets handsy.
That's a fact.
Every corner is playing like
Some
that.
more than others.
Yeah, but with Sauce, it'll be more apparent because he has longer arms, he has a longer frame, and he's more physical. So.
Nah, he's a dog.
It's none against it. I think Sauce Gardner is going to bounce back, especially if we get a DC like Flores to lead our unit. It's going to have a tremendous season.
He's not leaving Minnesota to come to the Jets unless he's a head coach.
I know.
Yeah.
I want to be head coach. I'm saying if we
it.
got a DC like Flores to be our head coach, that's what I meant.
Just good luck at OC.
But yeah, Byron Murphy's having a tremendous season, and I really want to, I want to give him his flowers, and that's another guy that, when we talk about the All-Pro conversation, I think he's in a conversation with Christian Gonzalez as well. Byron Murphy Jr., he's shadowing, and that's why like his passer rating allowed might be higher than these other receivers, but that's because he's really shadowing week to week the best wide receivers. He has 5 interceptions on the year, and he's just been tremendous. Like, he's what makes their secondary go and why it's been so improved. Like last year, he was more of a nickel corner, and this year he's transitioned more to being an outside boundary guy. So I want to give him his flowers, but if Brian Flores had his pick of like Sauce or Byron Murphy,
he's taking Sauce.
I think Sauce.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you just take the guy you had success with?
I think I would take Sauce. It's just he's just really talented, and I think he's
Shit, Byron could be an All-Pro. Honestly, that's how great he's been.
Yeah, So when I look at Sauce, it's like he hasn't had an All-Pro season, but he's still been one of the 15 best corners in football. And this is him at his absolute worst.
Yeah.
At his absolute worst, he's given up 1 touchdown all year long.
Yeah, but
at his absolute worst.
If you go from top 2 to top 15, it's a big drop off.
I'm not saying that's not a dramatic drop off, but
That's like insane.
79 pass rating allowed, 7 pass breakups. He's 6 in forced incompletions this year, and he's only allowed 1 touchdown in coverage. That's the worst you're getting from Sauce Gardner.
I don't know, man. I just can't forget Keyshawn Boutte in the clutch against Ahmad.
It was zone. It was zone, and the safety was supposed to have the inside help on that. The safety was supposed to cover that
plays,
zone.
Great makes plays.
Hey, but listen, the safety's supposed to have that responsibility. That's what happens when you don't have a
your safeties have been liabilities.
When
to
you
be
don't
fair
have
to you.
a defense that's in sync, it's gonna look like that. I mean, there's a passer 10. The Dolphins dropping 70 on your defense. It's not a reflection on him.
2 years ago.
It's
He had a bad game.
He had a bad game, but it was a reflection on just all the miscues that the defense had.
I'll also argue that's the worst game of his NFL career.
So, you drop 70 on somebody, everything's going bad.
But Chosen scored on him.
Last year, the Broncos defense was one of the worst in the NFL, historically bad, and it's not on just one guy. That's on
it was
everybody.
for the first 3 weeks, and then we figured it out.
Yeah. Really, after I would say week 5, you guys started getting better. But yeah, it's like you for a defense, you need everybody to be in sync because there's no corner that's really going out there and they're shadowing with no safety help. Like every corner is expecting some sort of help over the top. Unless you're Prom Darrell Revis, then that's not a thing. But every corner, they're counting on their teammates to be in certain spots to not make them look bad. And if a defense sucks, like the Jets defense, then things are going to look bad, regardless. So
hate that for you
that's
guys.
just how it is. So the first topic for the NFL portion of the show that we'll talk about is this Colts article because the Indianapolis Colts are eliminated from the playoffs. The Athletic just dropped, I think, a pretty big article regarding their future and their culture. At one point, they had a chance to secure their own destiny. They could have beaten the Broncos. Jonathan Taylor's fumble shifts the momentum of that game. this past week, they play the Giants. They have to win that game, and they get embarrassed. And Drew Lock has one of the best
Giants
games
ever
in NFL history by a quarterback in EPA per play. He was historically efficient. And you're looking at the Colts, and you look at the talent. You look at Chris Ballard, who's been there for 8 years. You look at Shane Steichen, and it doesn't feel like a team that's going in the right direction. And I thought this article kind of highlighted all of those things. And I would say my biggest takeaway from it would be, I think there needs to be a fresh start. I think Chris Ballard needs to be fired from his GM position. Shane Steichen has one more year, I think, to prove it. But
wow.
Him as a play caller, he's regressed so much. Anthony Richardson also can't complete easy passes, so that's hurting how he can call his scheme. The leadership from Steichen, it doesn't seem like he has any command of the locker room. But I think the most disappointing part of all of this is that in this article, teammates had to go up to Anthony Richardson asking him to be better as a leader, to have a certain standard. And Richardson has a lot of talent, but if you have to get somebody to put their best foot forward, to take being the quarterback of a billion-dollar organization seriously, that's probably not the guy. And Richardson has a lot of room to grow and improve and mature. I don't think he's there yet. He's only completing 47% of his passes this year. And with the shifting culture that the Colts have, how committed are they going to be to him if a new GM comes in there? I think there's so many question marks. And right now, everything is on the table for the Colts and what they're going to do moving forward.
It's always hard when your quarterback obviously has leadership allegations or lack thereof. I look at the Colts and understand the concerns of whether or not they are regressing. I do look at last year as overachieving. I do look at when you had a 4-win season, if I'm not mistaken, you end up with the 4th overall pick. You go and you take a project in Anthony Richardson, which in the moment, fans were excited because we knew the tools that AR had and what he could be, the potential, the ceiling, but understood that the floor was very low. And unfortunately, we've seen the floor more than we've seen the ceiling. And when you take into consideration how great last year was, given the fact that you didn't have AR for a majority of the year, you ran it with Gardner Minshew. The offense was pretty successful. Jonathan Taylor was banged up, but that really didn't impact your overall landscape of things. When he was on the field, he was pretty great, especially towards the end of the season. Michael Pittman was healthy. He was playing some great football. You look at this year, this has just been a team riddled with injury, especially early on in the year. The defense got a little healthy. We started to see it get better week by week. But offensively, it's hard for me to go ahead and just point the finger at Steichen, understanding, like you said, Joel, when Anthony Richardson's not hitting passes and you can't execute the scheme the way that you want, it's hard to be successful in that regard. Now, in this past week where you had the report saying it's just soreness, the back is just, we're trying to be careful with it. Now it's coming out that AR couldn't even walk. He was crawling around. That's how much pain that he was in. And I understand Steichen's approach there where you're trying to keep everything in-house, but then when AR goes and releases that, now it's a bad look on Steichen. Now he's lying to the media. I just think that there's a lack of being on the same page. And when you are trying to be a playoff team, you need that at minimum. And we saw them fall off and lose key games down the stretch of the season, and it cost them. But I still wouldn't call it going in the wrong direction because, again, I look at this Colts team that 2 seasons ago was a 4-win, top 4 team. You were a win away, a play away, you can argue, if Goodson doesn't drop that ball in Week 18 last year, or you potentially keep moving the ball downfield, and we might be able to beat the Texans and go ahead into the playoffs. Yeah. And this year, again, we expected a lot better because now we had AR. We saw what Michael Pittman was with Gardner Minshew, Jonathan Taylor. The offensive line played extremely well last year. You were only going to expect that the defense could be slightly better, or at least hope so. And you really didn't see any of that. And still, they were in competition to make the playoffs this year. So I'm still hopeful in what the future is for the Indianapolis Colts. The issue for me, though, is how long are we willing to stick around for the AR experience?
I think what's unfortunate about AR is that not only is his play on the field, it hasn't been improving, but he has injury concerns.
It's a fact.
That's why he missed his entire rookie season pretty much. and he wasn't able to even walk. That's why he didn't play against the Giants. He had severe back spasms, and he called it something that might be chronic within a disc in his back. And this is somebody that the way that you can maximize his play style is by running him into defenders and using his athleticism. And if you remove that aspect of his game because you're trying to protect him, which is being cautious and I think is being responsible, it now removes a layer of explosive plays that you can use with Anthony Richardson. I know it's early, but I think their future is so uncertain because it's so uncertain if Richardson's going to improve, if he's going to remain healthy, he's going to be the starter next year possibly. I think this just falls on Chris Ballard. He's been able to draft well, but he hasn't been able to draft game changers at key positions like quarterback, a true high-end number one receiver. Pittman is a good receiver. Downs is a good receiver. Are they difference makers? I wouldn't say so. And then they haven't been able to draft an edge rusher either. And they drafted Latu over Jared Verse, who now in hindsight, we look at that and we're like, wow, you could have had a potential like all-pro guy.
Hindsight sucks because Latu felt like the obvious edge rusher.
Yeah, Latu was exceptional.
It's been 1 year.
He's more of a speed rusher, and Jared Verse is more of a bull rusher. Wasn't as refined as Latu, so that's why he slipped a little bit. But the Colts right now, their future feels very uncertain because is Steichen's future tied to Chris Ballard's? If Chris Ballard's go, if he goes, is Steichen going to go as well? There's just a lot of question marks with them that I don't have the answer to.
That's fair.
I almost had a sneeze right there.
That's why I was looking at you.
Yeah, that's why it took a minute. I kind of feel like the Colts are one of those organizations that for the longest time, they have drafted relatively well. And every single year, there's that expectation that they're going to take that step forward. But each and every single season, like 2023 a year ago, where they have overachieved, the following season has always been a down year. And in this article, it really highlights how a lot of the players feel like there's no vision in the organization and how from ownership to the front office to the coaching staff, no one is on the same page like you highlighted, but it's really more of a matter of that intensity, that will to win. Where when injuries come, this team doesn't play inspired football down the stretch. This year, we've really seen it specifically. And a lot of these younger players don't have that leadership structure in place, maybe to hold them accountable as much as you would like to see. You mentioned before players taking a side. It might have been someone on the defensive line taking Anthony Richardson aside and being like, you need to be better. And I think having that conversation with your quarterback is kind of a positive thing when you have that long-time NFL veteran. But
that's fair.
You look at all the different mishaps, like AR tapping himself out of a game on third down. Plays like that just can't really happen. Mm-hmm. But I feel like in Indianapolis, it is one of those organizations where it starts with ownership and it trickles down to the players, where you see a lot of these odd situations that don't happen anywhere else. And I think it really is a testament that at some point, even if you do draft well and the culture is not there, you do need to move on from the GM. And you need to find someone who, like maybe what we've seen in Detroit or Kansas City, has kind of instilled that from the top down. And when you don't have that, changes do need to be made. And I think with Indianapolis, they have not made many changes in the leadership structure over the last couple of years.
I think this shit deeper than just firing Chris Ballard, because like there's like you mentioned, Drew, there's nobody's on the same page in the building, like from defense to offense, AR to the veterans to the GM to the coach. Like everything is it's been such a shit show. And we, like me being an Eagles fan, we had the same issues. Hurts, Nick weren't on the same page. There were reports coming out. What changes that? A simple conversation and a whole lot of winning. So what makes it worse? Your team is not winning, and then all these reports are coming out. Now all of a sudden, you're asking a lot from your quarterback in terms of him being a leader. Now your coach is coming out. You can't run the scheme you want to run. It just feels like going from a team that won 9 games with Gardner Minshew, had an opportunity to make the playoffs. You felt like coming into this year, if AR is just a step better than Gardner Minshew, this is a team that can really compete in a pretty weak division. This is a team that can really, maybe make some noise. If not, have a playoff spot, at least be in the hunt, be in the wild card. And they were in that until they blew a complete stinker to the Giants. But you mentioned the Colts have been able to draft well, but I think it's deeper than that. Like their cornerback room hasn't been the greatest in this whole situation. Their quarterback still trying to figure out what his potential is. I know his potential is through the roof, but how close is he to actually reaching? Like when can he actually reach it? Pittman had kind of a down year. Downs, I love Down. The offensive line is whatever. Like this team is just, it's in such a dysfunctional place that I don't even know if firing Chris Ballard. Like, I think if you fire him, you kind of have to get rid of everybody. Like, it has to go from GM to coach to quarterback, because I feel like those three should always be in sync. I mean, you look at Kansas City, GM, coach, quarterback, they're always in sync. Like Tom Brady, Bill Belichick. I think it was, who was it, the GM at the time? Don't even matter.
Well, technically,
Him.
Belichick.
Yeah, it's Belichick.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Belichick's the
for
GM.
longest
so
time,
like they was in connection. Like there's always that for franchises that win consistently or at least really competitive. There's that simple connection with their quarterback, and I think with the Colts trying to find that connection, it's really hard because you kind of drafted somebody who was a bit of a raw talent. You know, somebody who had big arm talent, who was compared a lot to Josh Allen and Cam Newton, like that type of form, and you know it was going to be a lot to work on. But he's also dealing with a plethora of injuries to his body, and now you're sitting here with another year where you had an opportunity to make some real noise. You don't do that. Now you're going to this offseason. You don't know what you have from your quarterback. Like you said, Steichen might have another year, but your roster looks muddy. You don't know what you're going to do with your GM. Yeah, you may draft well, but if your veteran players are walking up to your quarterback, asking him to be better as a leader, that speaks volumes. Like, that speaks a whole different problem than just Chris Ballard.
And Pat McAfee, the biggest
he
Colts
cooked.
fan, you know, he really violated them to the point
That was
where,
a long-ass message,
you know,
too.
he has so much influence, and now you have somebody important in the media speaking about it. That puts a lot of pressure on the organization to now make a move. You know, and I'm not saying you got to listen to everything the media says, but somebody of Pat McAfee's influence and just speaking to the Colts with a heartfelt message, feeling like, you know, they don't have a culture at all, it has to resonate at least somewhat. I go back to this moment to where right after Richardson tapped out of the game, the following opponent was the Vikings, and they asked Brian Flores about it. And Brian Flores said that did you see all that running around he did? I would have been tired too. And he kind of just, you know, laughed it off and was very coy about it. And I think, you know, Brian Flores probably would be a nice leader for that organization if they want to continue the AR route, because it just felt off of that answer he gave, he was somebody that would be more supportive of the quarterback. Because I did think that benching Richardson was impulsive, because they benched him and you saw that Flacco was so much worse, even if he's completing more passes. And then they went back to Richardson, and in the article, it spoke about how players are just like, what the hell's going on here? You bench this guy to then bench the guy you bench the guy for. Like, there's no vision
like
here.
Punishment.
Like, it's just chaos. It's just an entire mess. So I wouldn't be surprised if Steichen is out of there, given how impulsive Irsay is. But Steichen, as a play caller, he knows what he's doing. But as a leader, that really has been the most alarming thing for me, to where I don't think he's shown any signs of being a galvanizer of an entire team.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. Steichen is a great coordinator to me. I think he's one of the best offensive coordinators in football. But as a head coach, I don't think he's going to turn around a franchise. And we've seen that the last year and a half. Like last year, week 18, you've got to win. You've got to win and Drew. You've got to win and get in situation there. You lose the Texans.
That was not on Steichen. The guy dropped the ball.
I get it. I do understand where you're coming from in that instance. But we've seen this continue this year in every meaningful game that they've had.
True.
This team has continued to drop the ball.
But
There's
losing
not
to the
enough
Giants
intensity.
was the last straw.
I can't
That's
blame a
partly
coach
on their
because the
defense.
players are dropping
Their
the
defense
ball.
was
He's
abysmal
talking
that
this
game.
year.
It's
fair.
on your defense, but you know, it was Steichen's response for the whole
Every
team.
big game that they've had, they've lost. I think that's the big thing. Like Steichen and me with this younger team is not the type of, as you highlighted, that galvanizing, resurrecting force that's going to kind of invite life and spirit to this team. They don't really play for anything. I think it's a talented team at many different spots. They have some holes here and there, but I just don't like the way that they've come out flat in all of these meaningful games. And I think that is really indicative of the head coach.
Now, last thing I'll say. You have relatively similar situations where AR gets benched, you go and you put in Joe Flacco. Now for the Panthers, this is Canales' first go-around. Bryce Young's playing arguably the worst that any quarterback is playing in the National Football League the first couple of weeks of the season, first few weeks of the season. He makes the move. He says, it's not me, it's Bryce. Let's put in Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton, week 1, goes out there, executes at a super high level. Following weeks after that was okay. He gets into a car accident. He has to sit. Now Bryce Young's back in there. Now, it's not similar to the Colts because, again, Dalton got hurt, which forced Bryce Young in there, but nobody anticipated Bryce Young to go in there and elevate his level of play times 100 and be what the Panthers were hoping for.
He fake had to, though. He got benched because he was ass.
No, I agree with this. But my point being is Canales benched Bryce.
Yes.
And in a weird situation, in an unfortunate situation, he has to be put back into the lineup. And now Bryce Young's executing at a much higher clip. Now for the Colts, AR gets benched because he's playing horrible. You put in Joe Flacco, who in the one game that he played versus the Steelers, it was one of their most prolific offensive games. Yeah. And then that's where they're just like, maybe Joe Flacco's better. Joe Flacco goes in there and he's horrendous. Let's go back to AR because what other choice do we have? Are we, that's where I'm not.
The difference in the situations is, one, I think Dave Canales is more in tune with what's happening in his locker room than Shane Steichen. I think Canales is a great leader of men, just based off what I saw him do in Tampa Bay, what he did in Seattle with Geno, what he did in Tampa Bay with Baker. The situations are different with the benchings because Richardson was benched for tapping out. If he didn't tap out, he wasn't going to get benched the following week. He wasn't. I know the completion percentage against the Texans was bad, but his receivers dropped about 9 passes in that game, and Richardson threw about 2 touchdown passes that were dropped in that game itself and still made high-level plays to the point that they barely lost to the Texans. I mean, the game was right there for the taking if a couple plays go differently. Bryce Young was benched because he genuinely could not execute anything the Panthers did. And they had one of the best pass-blocking offensive line units in the NFL, and Bryce Young just wasn't seeing the field, and he was taking unnecessary sacks. Like, he was legitimately unplayable at that point. And then he sits, and now he's been playing really well. He has a ton of big-time throws. He's elevating the offense for sure, but he was benched because he was unplayable, where Richardson was benched because he tapped out, and it was more of a discipline, I'm going to hold you accountable for tapping out and giving up on the next play.
So I'm looking at it now. In bad throw percentage, Anthony Richardson is number 1.
Yeah, he's the most inaccurate quarterback in the NFL.
So I say that where there's also, it's a double-edged sword. The receivers weren't great, but he also was bad. So it was a great...
there's no doubt. I'm just saying that Richardson was going to get... He got benched because of the tap out. He didn't get benched because of his play.
But if Shane would have said, we're benching him because he's not playing well, people would have used the argument that you just used about the receivers, and some people would have said, okay, but in the long run, we've seen Anthony Richardson on the field, and he's been one of the most inaccurate passers I've ever seen.
Do you think if they had a better backup, he would have got benched? Like in general?
Well, Joe Flacco just won comeback player of the year last year.
Yeah, but he's old as shit.
Yeah, between Joe Flacco and Andy Dalton was a better backup. I think it's pretty similar.
Okay.
Last year, Joe Flacco was a revelation.
I think Bryce got benched though because he was just completely horrible.
No, yeah. Like Bryce Young, Richardson couldn't execute the short passing game playbook. He still was able to create explosive plays. Mm-hmm. Bryce Young
couldn't do anything.
He wasn't able to do anything. Like reading out a blitz, reading out a coverage, seeing an open receiver and throwing it to that spot. He just was.
Oh, he came out on the other side.
He just did not look like somebody that had confidence at all.
It's an unbelievable turn of events for Bryce where he was able to learn and sit for those few weeks and really take it as a lesson for moving forward in his NFL career.
Harder to
Like I'm not where I want to be. And it's fair. It's true. I may be upset, but I can learn from this and I can come back from this. And he most definitely has. This Bryce is Alabama Bryce. This was the Bryce we were all watching at Alabama when he was competing for national championships, when he was winning the Heisman Trophy, getting outside the pocket, extending plays, trusting himself while pressure's in his face, delivering throws with anticipation, great accuracy. This Bryce has been everything the Panthers thought they were getting when they traded up to number 1. And
also we got to take into account that when Richardson was benched, he was benched and he had played 9 games in his career at that point. Mm-hmm. So... he got benched for the discipline issues for me, because in the Texans game, just watching that game back, he didn't play poorly to the point that he was supposed to get benched. Like, there were so many receivers that dropped passes.
But even on his comeback.
There were touchdown passes that were dropped. He came back against the Jets.
But I'm saying, his comeback still hasn't been good. He had a drive
He played well against
the
the
Broncos.
Jets, and he played well against the Patriots.
Two of the worst teams in the league.
Yeah, I know. But still, he played well against them. I'm not saying his comeback has been phenomenal.
And he had a great drive against us.
This isn't a conversation about who Richardson is as a quarterback right now.
It's
a conversation about the comparison between when Bryce got benched and Richardson got benched, which I felt like there were two different situations.
My point also being, if AR doesn't turn it around, you will automatically point the finger at Steichen and Ballard, where you look at another situation in Denver Broncos. We went and we traded for Russell Wilson. That trade was horrendous. It ended up costing us 2 firsts, 2 seconds, which turned into Boye Mafe, Devon Witherspoon, and Charles Cross, 3 impact players for the Seattle Seahawks. Where we do have Bo Nix, now people are appreciating the Zach Allen signing, the draft pick of Nick Bonito, Jonathan Cooper, Pat Surtain, Riley Moss, Jaquan McMillan, Quinn Miners, bringing in McGlinchey, who's been one of the best right tackles in football, bringing in Ben Powers, who's been one of the better interior linemen. It's like now that you've got that figured out, the quarterback, which is the most important position, you get acknowledgement for all the other stuff that you've done. Right. Until the Colts either fix AR or get their quarterback solution, they're going to be asking for his job.
I do think the difference with the Broncos is that
they had an infrastructure.
Bo Nix is like one of the most NFL-ready quarterbacks we've seen. He's going to be turning 25 in like a month. And in the Colts and the Panthers case, the common denominator is how early they rush young quarterbacks out. And Bryce getting benched was that ability to relieve the pressure off himself, that he's no longer supposed to be the Cam Newton who turns around everything. No, he can kind of just gain back that confidence that he sort of lost. And you look at the Colts, one thing Pat McAfee hired, which I think mentioned, which was an excellent point. Anthony Richardson's one of the biggest projects we see in NFL history. He's thrown out there week 1, but Jonathan Taylor's in the holdout. He's not out there until a month later when AR's on injured reserve, out for the rest of the year. Maybe not at that point, but he was out for 2 games, came back, and was on IR right after. And McAfee was like, he almost didn't have a chance because you come in the NFL, you're immediately thrusted out there week 1 without your best weapon who's holding out to get a new contract. And with all of this dysfunction, it's not providing a good example. And meanwhile, we're thrusting all of the expectation on you to go fix this offense. And I think it can be a really challenging thing for most young quarterbacks at 21. Bryce was 22, AR was 21, to really overcome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I just feel like with the Broncos thing, they have an elite offensive line that is the best pass protecting unit in the NFL. The Colts allow some of the most pressure in the NFL. Their offensive line, it's been held up by reputation only this year. Will Fries, who was one of the highest graded offensive guards before he got hurt 6 games into his season, he was playing really well. But then you have Bernard Raymond out there, who he's improved, but he's a little bit of a liability. The replacement guard for Will Fries has been awful. Ryan Kelly was hurt. Braden Smith was hurt for a couple games. I mean, the Colts were dealing with at least like 3 to 4 backups on their offensive line on a week-to-week basis, and they're allowing some of the most pressure in the NFL, so you don't have that consistent offensive line play. So you don't have that consistent running game. And Jonathan Taylor's been inefficient. Like he has the total yardage numbers, but in terms of his ability to break tackles this year, that's went down. His breakaway run ability, that's went down. He's had some moments. But all in all, like Richardson has not been good. He's been inaccurate. But the infrastructure around him, like John is mentioning, has been a mess. And I just think the Colts players pointed that out by saying you bench AR and then you instantly bench Joe Flacco. There is no vision. There's no consistency. And all in all, what did benching AR really do? Like, it didn't really do anything, for his development. All it did was kind of turn the organization against each other even further and have the players just, come up with some like unnecessary things about how to manage that quarterback situation. Because the Colts players, from everything I've read, they didn't really care or were bothered that much by Richardson's tapping out. They were disappointed in him, and they schooled him right after, like, "No, listen, that's not what we do. That's not the standard." But it wasn't to the point where they all were out on him and wanted him to get benched. But his habits, study habits, and his habits in terms of just preparing to be an NFL quarterback, it hasn't been there. He was recommended a book by Sam Ellinger, the backup quarterback, Atomic Habits, that's a very famous book, to kind of better himself with his preparation and all that. So I think it starts with just having a culture to begin with. And Shane Steichen just is not setting any culture for their organization right now.
Colts are the Colts, man.
Damn.
Really post Andrew Luck. Really post Peyton Manning. Andrew Luck never had an offensive line.
And when he finally did, he decided to retire. Love him for that.
It's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate for the Colts. Now, The NFL Pro Bowl rosters were announced. And we're going to go over the AFC first, position by position, and see where we think there were some snubs.
Okay.
At quarterback, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, and Lamar Jackson.
They got it flawless.
Perfect.
Running back, Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon, and Jonathan Taylor.
They missed. James Cook 1,000% should replace Joe Mixon. James Cook had almost 50 less carries than Joe Mixon and had, if I'm not mistaken, 12 less yards, had 5 more total touchdowns than Joe Mixon. James Cook also did not miss time. This is a guy who also has not played 50% of snaps since early in the season.
Yeah, Cook leading the NFL in touchdowns, averaging almost a full yard more per carry, and that's in spite of him having that toe injury in that like second month of the season where he wasn't his full self. So I do agree with that.
Joe Mixon.
What about Tony Pollard?
Tony Pollard is an
It's a
honorable
great
mention.
name.
He's a nice name. Yeah.
I think Tony Pollard has been excellent for the Titans this year. Joe Mixon, I know he got the numbers. He got a lot of volume.
I mean, he only had
He was averaging 4.1 a
yards.
carry. Yeah, exactly.
He didn't even crack 1,000.
I mean, he's part of the worst rushing offense, if not one of the worst rushing offenses in the NFL this year. James Cook has been more efficient.
Give
he
you
has
guys-
more touchdowns.
43 more carries Joe Mixon has than Cook. And again, 12 more yards.
He has more. James Cook also, this is more of a running back stat, yards after contact. When you're contacted, how often do you break those tackles and you gain more yards? Joe Mixon is behind James Cook in that too. So James Cook has been a more efficient back, and even when accounting for offensive line play and just singling out running back and what they do, Cook has been better as well. I thought he was a snub. Fullback, Patrick Ricard. Really, he's one of the only fullbacks that exist in the AFC.
He's right.
Wide receiver,
Like the Dolphins fullback.
Alec Ingold.
Buffalo. Got a nice little full. I think it's Gilliam. He plays fullback sometimes.
Wide receiver, Jamar Chase, Nico Collins, Jerry Jeudy, and Zay Flowers.
They missed.
They did.
Brian Thomas Jr. should be a Pro Bowler in his first year.
Brian Thomas Jr., I think, was the locked in Pro Bowl. He's second in the AFC in receiving yards, and he didn't make the Pro Bowl.
He should.
That's
I don't
ridiculous.
know how Zay Flowers got on the roster.
Nico
I
made
don't know how
it.
Jerry Jeudy got there.
Well, he had
He's
11.
like top
Had
4 in
1160.
yards.
He had
a
like
better
one
case than
blow
Zay.
up game.
Hey, brother, you top 4
That's true.
yards. You gotta
I mean,
get there.
you can't take out the 235 game, but you're right though. Without that game,
Nico making it was off the sole fact that he was on pace for an absurd
In
number.
11 games, he almost had 1,000 yards.
Correct.
I think for number one, Brian Thomas, he has a better case to make it over Jerry Jeudy or Zay Flowers.
Everyone
it
but
doesn't really
Jamar.
matter.
Everyone but Jamar,
Exactly.
you could argue.
I would argue between Jerry Jeudy and Lam McConkey, I kind of think Lam McConkey deserved the Pro Bowl nod this year. He's been the only
I
weapon on
didn't
the
even
Chargers
have a
offense.
problem with Jerry Jeudy, honestly.
I didn't either.
I was fine with it.
I was happy for him, truthfully.
If it's between
went back
Zay
to
Flowers and
quarterbacks.
Lam McConkey, I would have went Lam McConkey. I think Lam McConkey had
I
an
agree with
exceptional
this.
year.
Jerry Judy's last 7 weeks, he went 94, 20, 108, 64, 235, 85, 142, 73,
Jameis Winston
79.
experience. It was a
Yeah,
movie.
I can't say I'll take Judy off.
One dud.
There's too many high profile.
One dud.
Yeah, it was
Too
just
many
one
good
dud.
games.
Like in the beginning of the year, I get it. He was garbage.
Because
But-
Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, but
was
like
garbage.
his back end year,
And then Cooper had.
Think about it.
Second
Literally,
most
the
drops,
back end
right?
got him to a band.
Yeah, because he was like the third option that passing
Yes.
game, and Amari Cooper wasn't playing like to his.
Yeah, it's really just like
so.
on against the Bengals, he had 18 yards, 1 reception. Against Commanders, 1 reception, 16 yards.
And that was early in the year. Or
Yeah,
no?
he just
Yes.
had duds, like a lot of duds. But if he would have had Jameson all year,
No, could have got spooky.
could have got dark.
And even still, he got benched at the end of the year. With James got benched, and the numbers they're not terrible
And DTR is playing. They're trying to.
for real.
But
See what
Brian
they were
Thomas, Brian Thomas having more than double the touchdowns Zay Flowers has, over 100 more yards with Mac Jones the most recent last couple of weeks, and his play has not dipped. I think he, like you said, was probably one of, if not the biggest snub this year.
And they really opened up the playbook for him with Mac Jones. Not with Trevor, with Mac Jones.
Which is crazy because Trevor's skill set, like making plays out of structure
Hey.
downfields, works best. In
Brian Thomas Jr.'s last 7 games are Jerry Judy's.
Brian Thomas Jr. It is close.
Yeah, it is very close.
It was the last 3 weeks for BTJ where he has gone bonkers.
Yeah, listen, Jerry right there.
Yeah,
That's
he
all I'm
is.
gonna say. Like,
He
I
is.
can't take Jerry off.
I'm
Zay
not going to
Flowers can
disagree.
go.
Yes. And honestly, and I love him like a brother, Nico Collins. If you want to take BTJ over Nico for this season, for the sole fact he got injured, I understand.
Yeah,
I
Nico was
disagree.
a tough one because you're kind of going off of his efficiency rather than what he did as a whole.
Correct.
And he was, quite clearly trending towards like a 13.
One of the best seasons we've seen.
Yeah, right. Nico made Pro Bowl after like week 5.
You're cooking.
Yeah.
He walked off the field of that Bills touchdown, and that locked his Pro Bowl.
It makes perfect sense though that the Jaguars have opened things up for Brian Thomas Jr. in Lawrence's absence because
had no other choice.
Mac Jones can't do what Lawrence can do. He can't throw the ball down the field like him. So they have to scheme up ways for him to get the ball. Okay, we're going to use you on these jet sweeps. We're going to use you in a screen game. We're going to use you on these little 5-yard dump offs to where Trevor Lawrence, it's like, I could just throw this ball 20 yards down the field to you.
Yeah.
And we can get plays like that. And when Mac Jones is more manufactured, just how they got to use him.
Can I ask a question, though? Why wouldn't more... Like, I know you have a gift where you have this quarterback that can do all these incredible things that others can't, but why not just make it simple for everyone? Like, if you're going to make plays like that for Mac, why not just give them to Trevor as well, where if you need him to go out of structure and make these insane plays, you'll have time in the game to do that too.
I think they would have done it.
Right.
I just don't think that they knew he could do it until they put it on his play.
I agree.
So now that he's shown it, I think next year they're
kind of
gonna.
like when the Vikings didn't play Jettis the first 2 games of his rookie year.
Yeah, next year they're gonna go into it and he's gonna get
hopefully
so many different touches from different places.
Hopefully they bring in Ben Johnson because they've tried to put Trevor in a box. They had Brian Thomas in a box, and those 2 guys you should open up everything for. Really
now offensive tackle, we had Deion Dawkins, Laramie Tunsil, and Rashawn Slater.
Shout out to Deion Dawkins.
Fine with this.
The only things that I would change would be Garrett Bowles and Teron Armstead making it. Laramie Tunsil has been great in pass protection this year. He just has a shit ton of penalties.
17.
Yeah. So that's why
it's Jaren Jackson
was it false starts?
Fouls.
Was it a ton of false starts? Is that what it was?
Yes.
Yeah.
So if he's had some holdings as well. So if you want to pin that against them, then I get it. But Garrett Bowles, the Broncos have the best pass protecting offensive line. And they have no Pro Bowlers on the offensive line. So I think remember, they're not getting recognized.
Watching the Texans game, and I swear to God, Laramie Tunsil had 3 straight false starts.
There's one obvious name that we should have had on offensive line.
At offensive guard, they had Quentin Nelson, Joe Tooney, and Trey Smith.
There's not a chance that Trey Smith deserved to start over Quinn Miners.
And at center, they had Creed Humphrey and Tyler Linderbaum, which means the Chiefs had all 3 of their interior offensive linemen.
Which makes sense because the tackles are dog shit. However,
insane.
Trey Smith making it over Quinn Miners is insane. Quinn allowed 1 sack, 4 QB hits, and 6 hurries, where Trey, to his credit, has given up 0 sacks. That is also because you have the greatest at avoiding sacks maybe in the history of the game. You allowed 21 hurries, if I'm not mistaken, as well.
Yeah, he allowed 28 pressures to Quinn Miners 11. So
come on.
Quinn Miners was more efficient all year long. And like you mentioned, the sack thing, that's more of a quarterback thing. Patrick Mahomes just being able to get out of tough situations. But Quinn Miners was better than Trey Smith this year.
Yeah, Quinn Miners is the best right guard in football.
And then at defensive end, we had Myles Garrett, Trey Hendrickson, and Max Crosby.
They cooked.
The only one I would change would be Max Crosby. I think one of the Texans' edge rushers deserves it. Whether it's Danielle Hunter or Will Anderson, I think Max Crosby, he was the best run defender at the edge position this year. And if he played the amount of games Danielle Hunter played, the numbers would have been there. It would have been better than his. I wholeheartedly believe that. But Danielle Hunter did play more, and the Texans are a top defense this year. And it's been mainly because of the addition that he has brought to the team and his edge rushing presence. He's dominated this year. And looking at the total stats, he beats Crosby, like I said, most of that because he's just played more. He's played 4 more games. But I think Hunter should have gotten or Will Anderson Jr.
So you're using the argument that I had for BTJ over Nico, so I'm not going to be too mad about it.
Now, defensive tackle, interior defensive lineman, Cameron Hayward, I thought that was great. Chris Jones, obvious. Nnamdi Madubuike over Broncos.
Come on.
Zach Allen?
It's a joke. You look at his rankings amongst defensive linemen. In quarterback pressures, first with 65. Run stuffs, first with 20. Run stuff percentage, he's first, 6.6%. QB pressure percentage of a minimum of 400 pass rush snaps, second. Stop EPA, third. Sacks, tied for third. And double team quarterback pressures, he's tied for fourth with 14. It's not even a conversation. Zach Allen's a legitimate all-pro and won't be making the Pro Bowl.
I don't have any qualms with that. Although Matabuke has been a part of the best run-stopping defense in the NFL.
Cam
I think
Hayward
that's
gets
the
it.
bulk of his case.
Cam Hayward gets it because he's a legend, and he also is in conversation
Amazing
to be an
season.
All-Pro as well.
Yeah.
I can make the argument that he has been a top 3 D tackle in the game this year.
Chris Jones and Cam Hayward, to me, they're like my 2 locked all pros this year. I think they've been that good. Matabuke was interesting because I don't think he's had the pass rushing production as Zach Allen. Like, if we just compare them, it's really not even close. He has 73 pressures, Matabuke has 53. He has 12 sacks, Matabuke has 8. He has 27 quarterback hits to Matabuke's 7 quarterback hits. He has 34 hurries to Matabuke's 38
You wrote all this
hurries.
down?
He has,
Were you prepared for him to say Zach Allen?
No, that's what
Zach Allen's a Pro Bowler to me. Yeah. So 37 defensive stops to Matabuke's 23 defensive stops. Zach Allen wipes them, like, in almost all these stats outside of, like, overall PFF grade. For some reason, PFF's, like, low on Zach Allen, but when I've watched him, he's just wrecked the game. You know, he's an awesome player, and he's having a weird, rare breakout in, like, year 7. Like, journeyman is now breaking out onto the scene, but he's been exceptional. So Zach Allen should have made it, in my opinion. Like, I think it's crazy that he didn't make it.
Broncos should have had a lot of players make it, truthfully.
They only had 3, right?
We had Benito, we had Mims, and we had
PS2?
PS2.
Yeah.
And now at outside linebacker, Nick Benito, T.J. Watt, your boy John,
Damn straight.
and Khalil Mack.
So
Shut up, Matt.
why didn't Nick Benito deserve to be a Pro Bowler?
He did.
Okay, glad.
Yeah. I mean, Nick
Had an
Benito.
incredible season.
I never thought Nick Benito didn't deserve to be a Pro Bowler. I thought he didn't deserve to be in a DPOY conversation.
I'm with you. I reached out to him. I congratulated him. I said, "Yo, congrats, GOAT."
Did he answer?
Good job.
I don't know. I haven't checked.
Good job.
I
Nick
hope he
Benito.
does, genuinely.
No, yeah, Nick Benito has been awesome this year. Obviously, has the 2 defensive touchdowns.
It's crazy.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
I said, "Congrats on the Pro Bowl nod. Well deserved, Brody. All pro soon." He said, "Appreciate you, my guy."
Yeah.
That's all
Is
I
it an
know.
emoji in there?
100 and a flex.
There we go.
That's what's up.
Emoji matters the most.
100 and fingers crossed.
Emoji matters the most.
That's my dog.
Bigger than the words.
No, but yeah, that's weird. How
Jess is cooking some glorious shit.
No,
right now.
she is a
Yeah,
magician.
she's chefing the shit up right now.
When you invited us over that one day and I couldn't come over, I was so upset.
she's about to start selling plates.
She needs to,
Tough.
honestly.
We've been thinking about it.
She'd make a
Power
fucking
play.
profit.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
is elite at cooking.
Yeah, I tell her that. I'm like, yo, you should like low key pursue that.
Just
you know?
open up a
make
restaurant.
plates, start making plates, build up some clientele. Like I'll support it 100%.
You have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if I
I'd,
didn't have to, I would.
I'd support that shit too, honestly. Like, her cooking is just, it's one of one.
It's elite.
It's
It's
different.
elite. It's very good.
And I think she's cooking some chicken thighs and
Smell it. No, it's
Bro,
chicken.
what did she make for us? The barbacoa?
barbacoa with rice and
I
beans.
still
Wow.
think about it to this
She
day.
calls it the Mexican party plate. That's what they serve at Mexican parties.
That's
She didn't make the potato salad. She said if she makes it into a plate, she's gonna have the rice, beans, the barbacoa, and potato salad too.
Need that.
Yeah,
Need
She's
that
Mexican?
bad.
yeah.
So what would you say, like, is a difference? Like, if there's one difference, obviously I wouldn't figure out the difference, but what would be the one difference between you are El Salvadorian?
Yeah.
So what would be, like, the one difference that distinguishes, like, an El Salvadorian and a Mexican?
I think cuisine. I think that's the biggest one. Mexicans, obviously, you have like so many famous Mexican foods. The only famous Salvadoran food is pupusas.
Yep.
Well,
And that
explain
is,
to me.
they're so freaking good. And that's the only thing that they really have.
It's like dough, cheese.
Okay.
Yes. It's like, think about like a tortilla,
I know
but
that.
like a closed off tortilla with like meat or cheese
It's a
inside
little
of
thicker.
Okay.
it. Yeah. So that's how
Good.
it is. I would say like what would distinguish us? I don't know. Like, are you talking about from a looks perspective?
Just in general. So, like, food was a good answer. Like, yeah, I'm assuming you're saying they are better at making food than you guys?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Mexicans are one of them ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then
Mexican food is elite.
I don't know. They're both Central American countries, so they
I knew
both
that.
are within like the same realm. We both have like indigenous looking, people within the population there. Also have a lot of like people that look very European. So I wouldn't say there's nothing that really distinguishes it. Both speak Spanish. It's really nothing. Probably just the flag. The Mexican flag is green, white, and red, and Salvador's is white and blue.
Interesting.
That's really the only thing.
I like that, man. That was it.
No, I gotcha.
Because you're Spanish, he's Spanish. It's clear distinguished, like,
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, you look much different. You look much different, so. That was all.
That was a weird question, Riff.
That wasn't that wrong.
No, we were
Nah, that's pretty
talking,
normal.
and I just wanted to know because I know.
Well, I should say it caught me off guard because it's very hard to distinguish like something like that.
Yeah, I get that. You probably nobody ever asked you that in a while.
No, like nobody's ever asked me like what distinguishes like two cultures.
Yeah,
You know.
I just because I know people like me would probably generalize you guys are just Spanish, right?
Okay,
like,
I see.
Yeah, so I would like like you're Puerto Rican, not him.
It's gotta be something, man.
No, but I'm like you're
We're
Puerto
on
Rican,
to him.
you're
We're on
El
to him.
Salvadorian,
One day at
she's
a
Mexican,
time.
so you guys are just like Spanish, you know. So I was like, what's the difference in all of it? Like, what changes it?
But like so if you saw Drew for the first time, what would you think he was?
I would think he's 1,000% Puerto Rican.
Wow. That's huge. I get so many different things. I've gotten Italian. I've gotten Colombian. I've gotten Middle Eastern. I've gotten Puerto Rican.
No, I think Italian for sure. But if you're saying like you tell me he's Spanish, what Spanish would it be? It would be Puerto
and
Rican.
you would think I was Mexican.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I've known you forever. That's hard.
He's
Yeah.
treading
Yeah,
water.
get close.
I've known him since
So
like
is it
second grade.
because my tone of skin is darker?
Yes.
That's why you think
Yes,
okay.
yes.
So I guess to answer your point, like Mexicans, they have people that are obviously my skin tone, but then they have people that are like lighter too.
My skin tone as well.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, a little
Oh,
bit.
they,
I've seen a little darker, like a little darker Mexicans too. Like
For sure.
They like the dark skin tone. I haven't really seen a white skin like around
No?
your color Mexican. No, not really.
you know who is like that?
Who?
You know my boy Josh?
Yes.
His-
I didn't know he was Mexican.
No, not him.
Oh, okay.
His girl. He's Costa Rican and Dominican.
He's Dominican.
He's Costa Rican and
Okay.
Dominican, yes.
Could you distinguish the difference between a Japanese person and a Korean?
No shot. I'll tell you the truth.
This
No.
is getting muddy.
I'm just gonna be honest with
Getting
you.
muddy.
Listen, I'm
This is
not gonna.
getting
I will
muddy.
be honest with you.
No, it's a similar question
It
to
is.
what he asked me.
It is, but I couldn't tell you.
Kind of is, but you know.
I would
whatever.
say
What would you say is the one
hate you.
characteristic that they have?
What's wrong with you? Stop!
Don't answer that, Rick.
Jesus Christ. No. Please don't.
I know I was gonna
Fuck.
say it's within their face.
Say yourself.
You.
Say yourself.
Oh, okay.
Jesus.
No, I really had a genuine answer.
No, he's setting you up, bro.
Oh, he's a sicko.
He is. Oh,
I'm
my
sorry.
God.
Yeah, no, I genuinely had an answer.
Yo, you're nuts, Joel.
I had an answer.
Oh my God.
It would have been in the face structure.
Okay. Can we keep going on with this Pro Bowl list?
Could you tell the difference between somebody from Kenya and Jamaica?
No,
No.
not a shot.
I get it. No, I respect
What about
it.
African and Jamaican? Can you tell the difference?
If they talk, yes. Yeah, like if they talk for sure. You can like Jamaicans have that thick like real Jamaicans have that thick ass
I
accent.
think you could.
Yeah, you can definitely tell.
We have some friends in Kenya, and I feel like I can tell like the difference a little bit.
Yeah, you can tell for sure.
Elaborate on that, John.
I really can't.
No, I understood what he
Yeah.
meant. He has friends
Yeah.
that are from Kenya.
Close family friends. Yeah.
There you go, John.
Yeah.
There you fucking go.
Oh, he's tied in.
Yeah. No. Wow.
Appreciate that.
Oh, I didn't say anything crazy.
Yeah. No, I could tell pretty comfortably. Yeah. For sure.
Oh no, so I think to answer your question about Salvadorans versus Mexicans, you know,
Do you
something
would you,
that
like,
distinguishes Mexicans.
If you
maybe
see me on the street, would you think I was black?
you wear
Yes.
sombreros.
Yes.
Well, he didn't say all that now. He didn't say all that
I
now.
didn't say that.
You distinguish it. One is wearing a sombrero. One is.
Oh my
That's
God.
how you
So
distinguish.
if you see me on the street, you think I'm black?
Yeah, 100%.
But then you find out his name is River Maxwell Brown. and
I
now
would
you're-
think like, but I would
you're
think
thinking.
you're. I would think you're American black. I wouldn't think you're like African black.
Because
if
there's
that
like
makes sense.
legitimately people that walk up to me speaking Spanish, thinking I'm Spanish. No, for real. Like it
That was
happens.
funny. Last
way
year in
more.
our league
I guess you
for
could pass a little
men's,
bit for Dominican.
I was the only kid on my team that
A
didn't
little
speak
bit.
Spanish.
Dominicano.
I'm in peace.
Hola,
Stop.
coño.
I don't know about Dominican. But it'd be like old ladies that are Spanish or like old guys that are Spanish that walk up to me, and I'd be like, I don't speak Spanish.
I understand where your question stemmed from because, you know, a lot of the time people just look at Spanish people and they're just like Mexican. Like that's usually
Mexican or Dominican.
how every Spanish person is generalized.
Yeah, it's really Mexican, Dominicans, Puerto Ricans. That's like what I know most.
Yeah, that's why it's hard to answer the question because, you know, a lot of Spanish people look similar,
Yeah, they do.
especially in Central
I was
America.
gonna say in Hackensack, there's a lot of Peruvians.
Mexicans.
Yes, we had our fair share of those. We also had a lot of Colombians. A lot of Peruvians, though.
We do. Yeah, we do.
Yeah, I
Actually,
played
a
soccer
lot.
when I was younger with a lot of Peruvian kids. I feel like that's where, if I didn't know you, that's probably what I would have guessed. El Salvadorian wouldn't have been my first one. Mexican most definitely would not have been near the top of my list.
It's not El Salvador is such a small country that it's really outside the radar. I haven't met a lot of people that are from El Salvador.
Both your mom and dad are from El Salvador?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm 100%.
Tough.
I could understand why like somebody would think I look like Mexican though, because I just think that a lot of people just think Spanish people look Mexican. You look at my mustache. Oh shit, he's Mexican. Nothing wrong with being Mexican though, just to clarify that.
My cousin actually would hate me if I said this, but the song's gone. He made a song called "Bitches Think I'm Mexican" because everybody would call him and ask him if he was Mexican, especially when he was younger. So he made this whole rap song about how people think that he's Mexican. It was legitimately one of the best songs I ever heard. I shed tears to it. So much so to the point that to this day I ask him for my birthday, send me the track. He won't do it. He's so ashamed of it.
So
Wow.
who's Spanish on your side? Your
It's
mom?
very
Everyone.
stereotypical. Was the
It
song
was.
very
That's
stereotypical?
all it was. Yes, it was.
Everybody?
Everyone in my family is Puerto Rican.
Your dad?
Yes.
Yo, he screams Italian.
He's 100. Like he's more Puerto Rican than my mother.
Yo, what the fuck?
He was born in Puerto Rico. My mom's Puerto Rican, but she was born here.
He like screams to me mob boss.
Here.
He has a
In
ponytail.
Yeah, bro. I'll be honest. The way he moves,
really
and talk,
does have
he
fun.
screams mob boss.
Well, he's
to
just
me.
a scary dude.
He is a very scary dude.
He's a lot less scary now. If you would have met him when he was early 40s, late 30s, it wouldn't have been a fun experience.
Yeah, he sounds like a Brooklyn Italian guy sometimes.
No.
Like sometimes
You
he
could
gives
tell.
me that vibe.
He
he's
definitely
Puerto
has
Rican.
become American. Like, let me not, because obviously Puerto Rico's a territory in America, but like his English speaking side, he's really
like
embraced.
River, baby.
If I were to
Italian.
guess, like what he would be, it'd probably
Does
be.
he call you Poppy?
He does.
Yes,
It'd probably be Cuban.
He does call me Poppy.
He got the jewelry on.
he does.
Yes, that's.
You see his earring?
Yeah.
I haven't seen the hearing.
Yeah.
I've seen the jewelry.
Longer hair. He doesn't talk like a Cuban though, but just like aesthetic wise, I can see it.
I understand.
Yeah, dressed in like those short sleeve kind of
During
like
the
Hawaiian
summertime,
shirts.
dude, he's a whole other shade. It's insane.
Yeah.
For real?
Oh, like he looks like me now during the summer. He's darker than you.
Guess your question just made me think deep about these things.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta ask the deep
It's really
questions,
hard
right?
Crazy.
for me
We were
to.
talking about the Pro Bowl and we got here.
I can't. No, I can't look at somebody and be like, yeah, that's where they're from.
Yeah.
Because it's just difficult. Because
Irish
people look different.
Irish people.
There are some coaches that I think you can.
Yeah.
Like I think for the most part, like I can look at somebody and say, you're Spanish, you're white, you're black, but I can't like go in depth and be like, yo,
Yeah.
are you from Jamaica? Like, no,
Yeah,
I can't do that. Like, I can't. Do
I
that.
know when my friends are like Irish or not. When I meet someone, I can tell.
What type of white are you, John?
I was gonna ask him that.
I'm Italian and I'm Irish. Yeah.
Okay, I could have guessed Italian.
You're Irish.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Fun
John
facts.
Tortorelli is Italian.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really? You just screamed Waldwick. I didn't think like Irish or Italian.
He's doxing
Waldwick's
me
a
now.
town. man.
doxing me.
Like, you just screamed you're from Waldwick.
Well,
You
to
just,
be
that's what it
fair,
is.
everybody knows where we reside.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
all know
right.
Hackensack.
Yeah. Wait, you don't live there. I didn't dock you.
Yeah, I do.
You still live out in Waldwick, 77,
No, brother,
30.
what the fuck?
Now he lives in Waldwick. No, I
Italian,
could have guessed Italian. Irish shocked me a little bit. Because
Yeah.
usually Irish people, like, I can,
both your
different
parents
hair
Irish?
colors.
My mom's Irish. Yeah.
And your dad's Italian?
Yeah.
Nice.
Do you tan at all, John?
Oh yeah.
Good for you.
There was one summer when I was playing basketball like every day in the sun. My friend's like, "Damn, you're like really dark to where like you look like you're different." Like I'm like, "Okay, I'll take it."
It's a win.
Yeah, they're
I
like
like that,
telling me
man.
I
Shout
look
out to
light
you.
skin. I'm like, "Okay,
Maybe you are light skinned.
who knows?"
Great
it.
conversation, fellas. We're really moving the race.
We're getting deep
conversation
in our
forward.
in our friendships. That's all it is.
We're getting deeper in just the race relations between us. I think us four, diversity here. This could change the world right here. That's what we need more of.
3 minorities.
That's
Yes.
a fact.
3.
Brother, you're not.
You're not a minority.
You're not a minority.
Hey, the Irish famine happened.
No comment.
All right?
Okay.
No comment.
St. John can be a part of this.
Sure.
Italian.
Appreciate that.
Italian is actually like the lower level of white that I've heard of.
That is true.
Yeah. So,
is
you
true.
barely made the cut, John.
Irish is not getting you by. What's getting you by is Italian. On the minority scale.
Gotcha.
Shout out to you.
Shout out to Ireland.
You vote in blue?
What?
Just kidding. Let's
Yeah.
move on. Outside linebacker. Nick Bonito, TJ Watt, and Khalil Mack. I'm okay with
They
that.
bodied it.
Inside linebacker, Roquan Smith and Zaire Franklin. I thought Zaire Franklin was a major, just... He had a lot of tackles, so let's get him in the Pro Bowl, but I don't think he was a Pro Bowl level player this year at all.
Who else
Dion
would you have?
Henley,
Okay.
I feel like from the Chargers, had a better year, especially in coverage. Henley is one of the best coverage linebackers in the league this year. And Leo Chanel. Nick Bolton is amazing for the Chiefs in his own right. Leo Chanel is a little bit better than him.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, a little bit might be a disservice
Might be
to
lowballing
Leo Chanel. Leo Chanel is a game-changing player.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't have been mad if he made the Pro Bowl, He means so much to the Chiefs defense.
So much so that it's going to be very easy to walk away from Nick Bolton.
Exactly. No, exactly.
I'm not
Like,
even exaggerating.
They probably won't pay Nick Bolton
because of
they
him.
have Leo Chanel.
Yes.
Yeah, he's so good.
Do they do that like every year where they just let a linebacker walk?
I'm just going to be
Yeah,
honest,
but
bro.
let
They just
Tranquil
don't
go.
miss.
Yeah.
They don't miss.
Then they just let who they
Veach.
just let
Willie Gay and Tranquil.
They just let positions that aren't the highest value walk. Like
they can
linebacker
fill it.
makes sense.
It was
Let
a
Snead
risk.
go. Let
That
Snead
was
go
a
for his
risk.
injury history, and it's looked pretty
That
good
was
on
a
their
risk,
side.
but Jalen Watson, obviously, him coming back is enormous. And you had Trent McDuffie, so you're just like, all right, if half the field is covered,
gonna,
we're
like,
good.
let
But
Trent
Jalen Watson's a
McDuffie walk?
luxury. No, I don't think so.
No.
At the end of his contract, I mean,
I know.
who knows?
It depends on who they draft.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying,
if they
like,
draft players that
he
can fill
started
his
doing
role,
his
then
thing.
yeah.
That's crazy.
I think he has an impact.
McDuffie was a first, wasn't he?
Yep.
Yeah.
21st pick.
The
You know what
5th-year
20th
option
pick
helps
was?
them a lot in
Kenny
this.
Pickett.
Kenny Pickett.
Derek Stingley, Passer Tan at corner, Marlon Humphrey, and Denzel Ward.
I
Now
love
we
Denzel.
had this conversation already. I think these four players are great. Joel, I think you'll probably go a little bit more in depth on this. I think Gonzalez has a strong case to be the fourth corner on there over Denzel Ward. Now I know Denzel Ward leads the league in PBUs, but understanding the amount of yards that he let up, just Gonzalez in coverage was one of the best coverage corners in all of football. When he's on the field, you understand his impact, the passer rating. He was one of very few to have under an 80 passer rating allowed. And especially when it comes to the amount of coverage snaps that he did play. But other than that, I really like the three names listed other than Denzel.
I feel like, Denzel Ward could have been replaced by 3 players. I want to shout out Tarheeb still because I thought he played at a Pro Bowl
New
level.
Jersey.
But I don't think he should have been in over Denzel Ward if they were cutting it that close.
I agree.
Trent McDuffie, he has the highest lockdown percentage in the NFL.
Yep.
I thought he should have been in over Denzel Ward.
15-1 team.
Yeah.
Come on.
Christian Benford, Christian Benford has only allowed 200 yards in coverage. The exact number is 279. He's only
been
allowed
insane.
2 touchdowns, 5 pass breakups, a 72.3 passer rating allowed. He's been awesome. And the Bills they're one of those teams that they have a great record, but they just have 2 Pro Bowlers that represent them. And I think that's kind of a disservice because you have somebody like Christian Benford who's having a top 5 corner level season who's not getting noticed in this. And then Christian Gonzalez, 7 pass breakups on the year, 2 touchdowns allowed, 499 yards allowed, a 70.5 pass rating allowed. He's been awesome too. So I think all 3 of them, they have a case over Denzel Ward. And if I was subbing Denzel Ward out, it would be one of those 3 with probably the leader
Benford.
being Christian
I
Benford,
agree.
and then number 2 McDuffie. But they've all had Pro Bowl level seasons.
I love both Benford and Denzel, and I love what Denzel does. He shadows. He'll guard tall, skinny, big. Doesn't matter. Wow. He does. He
He's
does
just
his
like
thing.
you.
Yeah, he is. He's physical. He's strong.
Tell me.
He's aggressive. He'll get in your face.
My God.
He can really cover. So I love Benford too, though. Benford really is the guy in Buffalo's cornerback room. It's Teron, it's Razul, but it's really Benford's the best.
How about that corner room?
Oh, it's special.
Doesn't get much better than that.
So at safety, free safety was Minka, and strong safety was Kyle Hamilton and Derwin James.
Kyle is a dog.
I'm going to be transparent with you, man. Minka got in because his name. And you know it. And you know it. You know it. Brandon Jones, you could argue, is the best free safety in the AFC. And that's also because Kyle Hamilton split time at where his true position actually is. If we're going by true position, Kyle Hamilton, in my opinion, is the best free safety in the AFC. Brandon Jones this year in coverage has been the most consistent. And as a tackler, too, he's one of the best tacklers at the position. What he's able to do in pass breakups, big plays. Brandon Jones has been, especially a season removed from moving on from Bronco legend Justin Simmons, for him to go and play at this level. He deserved to be the free safety over Minka, no doubt.
How do you feel about that, John? Him downplaying your boy
I'm
Minka?
not shit-talking Minka.
Saying he shouldn't be a pro
He
player.
should not be in comparison to Brandon Jones.
John, that feels like...
John knows it's true because he started by covering his ears with a smile on his face.
So you're saying he got in because of name value?
Yes.
Speak, John. I'm waiting.
No comment.
Oh.
Can you
Plead
just
the
take
fifth.
that? Can
Plead
you
the
take
fifth.
that no comment as a comment?
He did plead the fifth.
Plead the fifth.
Now, the kicker, we have Chris Boswell.
The boss. There, hey,
Best kicker in the league.
amen to that.
Some said Cameron Dicker.
Best in the league?
Yep.
Brandon Aubrey.
Nope. Chris Boswell.
Brandon Aubrey is better than Chris Boswell.
I saw your tweet about Jake Moody. I died.
Bro, what happened?
Is he like 24 though? He's still young.
Well,
right?
this was his second year, but
He got some
Third
time.
round
in
pick.
Michigan, he was a dog, All-American. He gets drafted, third round pick, was pretty solid last year.
Down year.
Terrible this year.
Down here.
I think we've seen that so many times in the past. Roberto Aguayo, second round pick. Don't take a kicker on day 2. Ever. I don't think there's very few exceptions where it
Would
has
you take
worked.
Brandon Aubrey with a first round pick?
No.
How does one as a kicker go into the draft? Like,
Yo, Sebastian Janikowski was a first rounder.
He was. That was the first name that I thought of as like a kicker.
Did you know that?
no.
Sebastian
One of the best kickers
Janikowski
of all
had the record for longest field goal ever.
Getting
Imagine
64
like
yarder for a
He's
while.
different.
Imagine going to the bar with all the football
He was a
players.
lefty.
And you walk up to a girl and you're like, yeah, and she's like, hey, what position you play? I'm the kicker. Just
Kickers get a lot of slight. If
Yeah.
you're good, you're cool as fuck.
okay, but if you're not good, shit's over.
I mean, you got one job, man. Kick the
the
fucking ball.
Adam Vinatieri's
Make
a
it.
goat.
Kick the fucking ball.
He's
man.
a legend.
Kick the ball and
And
be
make
prepared.
it. Make sure you're accurate.
Justin Tucker, it sucks that he's having a down year
was
right now,
legend.
but dude,
Was a legend.
he is a football demon.
Kick the fucking
It's
ball.
crazy they
man.
had Jacoby Jones and Justin Tucker for the longest time. One of the greatest return mans and one of the greatest kickers of all time.
Facts.
Who was the guy before Jacoby Jones?
John Harbaugh product.
Are you thinking of Torrey Smith? I was gonna say it's
Thinking
not
of a
him.
Raven or a kick returner?
A kicker. Thinking of a kicker, not
Oh, you're
Jacoby
thinking Billy
Jones.
Cundiff.
Billy
Kicker.
Cunn? Yes.
He was the kicker.
No, never mind.
Wow, you just cooked. Yes.
Returner.
It was somebody else that was a kicker. King.
Marquette?
Yes.
That's a punter.
Punter. Yes.
He played for the Raiders.
He had
Samora,
aura.
Yeah.
He was cool.
He had
Yeah.
aura. He had mad aura.
He was cool. And he came to the Broncos. He didn't even play a game.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Why?
We just cut him.
I
Yeah.
don't know, probably just wasn't good no more as a punter.
You're just not good kicking. That's so
I
crazy.
don't know,
man.
because that's like the only thing you have to work on, Connor, right?
You literally your whole career just work on
Yeah.
kicking
Is there
the
a
ball.
position with more pressure?
Then punting?
Quarterback, technically, yeah.
Offensive
The
line.
kicker. Because
yeah.
kicker, it's a sink or swim position.
He's
if
cooking.
you miss 2 kicks, your confidence is shattered. And now
What
you don't
about
have the
center? Like
confidence
if you
and-
snap the ball wrong twice, you're cooked.
In terms of pressure,
I feel like center, you fake at best.
but the whole game can rely on you. If we win or lose if you make or miss this kick.
Here's another thing I'll say to that. I'd rather have that pressure than to barrel into 300-pound men every other snap.
I like
Oh,
that.
definitely
I like
agree.
that take. Yeah.
I definitely agree.
Yeah.
But also, I agree
yeah.
with John's
I
point.
feel like if you're a center, you could fuck the whole game up. We wouldn't even get that far.
You're spitting.
Yeah, like, what are you doing? Why are you snapping the shit that way? Why are you calling the wrong? Like, you know what I'm saying?
I don't know.
Kicker is
It just seems like
lock
kicker
in.
is like a lot of it is just really on you. Can you make the kick?
Can I
but
also be honest with you? It's
Placeholder matters
so
too.
much harder than people make it out to be.
I feel like
100%.
What's really worse is the guy holding the football.
Yo, you see how quick they got to fucking
Yeah.
catch? Push.
Yo.
Hands better not
And
be
if
sweating.
you slip, you're getting bulldozed.
Apparently, it's dependent on how you catch it. If you catch it and the laces are a little bit towards you, you push. If you catch it and the laces are that way,
So
you
much
have to
practice.
pull, place it. You have to do this all in like a
fast.
second, 2 seconds time.
And you have to make sure it's good so he can kick it right. And if you don't, it's cooked, bro.
Yeah, there's so much attention to detail, even in the positions that don't get
Just nuts.
heralded like that. NFC roster: quarterback Jared Goff, Jaden Daniels, and Sam Darnold.
Would love if my guy Jalen got a nod, but I'll be honest, he was not more deserving than these 3 gentlemen.
I don't hate it.
The one I've
growth.
heard the most was Baker Mayfield.
My brother did say Baker Mayfield got robbed, but he understood the 3 names.
Like, I think Baker Mayfield, he had more total yards and total touchdowns than Jaden Daniels, but Jaden Daniels
He's more deserving.
led more fourth quarter comebacks, had a better QBR, led more game winning drives.
Yep.
Yeah, you look at the turnover worthy plays.
turnovers.
Baker Mayfield has 25 on the season. Baker has more turnover worthy plays than big time throws on a year.
Really?
Jaden Daniels has 11 turnover worthy plays.
Are you with Theo Ash that Baker's not good?
No, Baker Mayfield's a good
He went too
quarterback.
far.
He was
That
bugging.
I think there's a middle ground with what he said. Like, yeah, Baker makes stupid mistakes, but to say he's not good, he's good.
I think he's overanalyzing the mechanics.
I was hyped how much attention that video got. People really got mad.
No, they should have, because I feel like he went too far off the scale.
Yeah.
He did.
Like, Baker's good.
But he made some decent
he
points.
did. The process was cool.
Yes.
The result was like,
Well, he made
Very well
decent
said.
he made decent points as to why Baker Mayfield isn't like a top 10 quarterback.
Yeah.
But like if you're trying to back up your claim of him being bad, then no, obviously not. He's
It's
not
also
bad.
tough because he is an Anthony Richardson stan,
oh, that brother sucks.
but he was shit talking Baker
Yeah, it's nuts. Baker clears him.
because
So-
Baker's footwork is not great. His decision making at times is
good.
not great.
But
That was the
that brother's electric.
Carr.
Yeah, facts.
Brother is electric.
He is electric.
Running back, we had Saquon Barkley, Jameer Gibbs, and Josh
Nobody else
Jacobs.
matters.
Can I also say this was a great 3?
Yeah.
Bijan not making it is tough because I think Bijan was
does he
one of the
take?
few that he was top 5 in rushing and top 5 in receiving at the position. The only one that you could argue
Jacobs.
would be
No.
no.
Jameer Gibbs has been better than both.
Exactly why I say that. I would say the one that you could argue would be Jameer. I say Josh because no, Josh is the offense. I say Jameer because there's
has been
so
OD
many,
this year.
and he has more receiving yards.
I think more
he has more
touchdowns, too.
touchdowns. Jameer, these 3 were the deserving.
He shares
but
the
I heard the
backfield.
Bijan crowd and I understood, but he wasn't better
I'll
than
tell you
these
what,
3.
though.
Looking at Jameer Gibbs' stats, they're better than Aaron Jones. You know, so I mean,
No,
Josh
yeah.
Jacobs. They're better than Josh Jacobs. So to me, it was really between Bijan and Josh Jacobs, and the separator was Josh Jacobs has more yards after contact than Bijan, and he has more touchdowns on the year. I thought Bijan deserved to get in. It's just unfortunate that he's going up against 3 players that are having elite level seasons, as is he. But, you know, looking at the AFC, the only deserving one in the AFC was Derrick Henry.
Running back wise,
Yeah, like Jonathan Taylor had great volume numbers, but between
Bijan would've been number 2 in the
JT and Bijan clearly had a better
yeah,
year.
yeah.
Like Bijan had the 5th best running back season in the NFL this year. He's not in the Pro Bowl because he's in the NFC.
Running
and there's
back,
more
the running back
yards.
room was ran by the NFC.
let me ask you a question: did Achane deserve the nod over Joe Mixon?
I'm not a big fan of Joe Mixon, so you're not gonna ask me.
Achane or Jonathan Taylor? So let's get
Wasn't H.N. like dog shit without Tua?
bad.
I don't think H.N.
Did have
enough.
1,200 at purpose.
Yeah, the numbers might be there, but I
But
don't
JT
know.
had
Just
1,200
watching
all
him.
rushing.
Talking about H all purpose?
Yeah.
He had 14.
I thought it was 7 and 5.
He had like 800 receiving yards.
No.
I mean, they don't
Wait.
run the ball well. I mean, what were you looking at, John?
Oh no,
It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. All good. All good. All good. All good. It was like 750 rushing. Yeah.
He does
Yeah.
1378.
Yep.
Which is insane.
Damn.
Yeah.
It's basically 14.
Yeah. So.
But to the point that like of the Bijan thing is like that I feel like, oh my God, Bijan didn't make it. He definitely should have made it over one. No, like the guys that they put in there, it makes sense.
Shout out
Kyle
to Hubbard.
Juszczyk,
Shout out.
fullback.
The
I
goat.
never mentioned.
That's another guy. I mean,
goat.
if he was in AFC, he would have made it too. You know.
Facts.
Wide receiver, Justin Jefferson, Amon
list.
Ross St.
No,
Brown,
it's not.
CeeDee Lamb, and Terry
A.J. Brown
McLaurin.
should be on the list.
Terry McLaurin.
I don't care who you take off. A.J. Brown had 30 less receptions than CD. I think like 20 less receptions than Amara. He's right up there in yards. He missed like 3 or 4 games.
Yeah.
If he plays every game, we're talking about A.J. Brown having like 1,400 yards and like 10 TDs.
Who, I mean, I don't
Well,
disagree.
he has more yards than Terry.
Yes.
Here's the thing. I think with AJ Brown, I think he has a case to be in it. Did
Terry
I
had
look
12
at the
tight
wide
ends.
receivers here?
A.J. had 7.
Go ahead, bud.
Did I look at the wide receivers here and say, oh man, one of these guys, they didn't deserve it over
deserve it.
AJ?
Nah, facts.
No, I thought all of them deserved it. But McLaurin is second in the league in target EPA. He's second in
Now we're
receiving
getting,
EPA per play.
we get advanced stats for receivers now, too.
Amon
I
Ra's
got
number
advanced
1.
stat, 3 drops in that.
Oh,
five year.
Daddy's one?
Yeah, Amon Ra's number 1. But most of that is due to touchdowns.
Maybe he's good.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Most of that is due to the touchdowns though, because if you get a touchdown, the EPA obviously
I was going to
goes
say,
up more.
him and McLaurin
Yeah.
are Top of the league.
But AJ Brown still, like, if you're looking at it objectively and looking at AJ Brown versus Terry, I mean, AJ had more yards. He was 10th. He was better in yards per route run. Yak over expected was also better in plus 158.
AJ's one of them once.
McLaurin had 440 routes that he ran this year, and AJ Brown had 324. So he had 116 less routes that he ran, and he had more receiving yards.
Yeah,
so when we're talking about like a season, even a season mano a mano, AJ Brown deserves it, but I don't think anybody didn't deserve it.
We lost one game with him in the lineup.
Falcons. No, I'm sorry, he didn't play.
Yeah, the Commanders.
Yep. Thank you.
Time.
Now, tight end, we have George Kittle and Trey McBride.
Perfect.
Kenny Pickett, fucking Kenny Pickett.
Offensive tackle, we have
Smith.
Lane Johnson, Penei Sewell, and Tristan Wirfs. Jordan
Wirfs
Mailata is the biggest snub to me. I thought Tristan Wirfs should have made it. He's
I'm
he's been a rock for
Hey, brother,
the
we got
Buccaneers.
3 guys up there.
See, but that's what I'm saying. Like, who are we getting rid of?
It's between, like, the last spot would be between Lane Johnson and Penei Sewell for me. You can go either way with that. Jordan Mailata, I thought, was the best left tackle in the league this year. He was the best run blocker in the league at left tackle this year. The Eagles' runs, a lot of them, they run to the left side more than the right side, and they're just dominant. But looking at the pass rushing snaps, too, like, Penei Sewell has allowed 1 sack. Mailata allowed 1 sack. Sewell has allowed 5 quarterback hits. Mailata's at 0. Sewell has allowed 22 hurries and 28 pressures. Mailata allowed 13 hurries and 14 pressures. And Lane Johnson only allowed 10 pressures, and Wirfs allowed 11 pressures this year. Sewell was worse than all 3 of these dudes in pass protection.
Demon, man.
His run blocking carries him a lot. He's a great pass protector too, but just in this conversation, his run blocking will carry him a lot, but Mailata does it at the same level. So I thought Mailata was the biggest snub because I do think he's been the best left tackle in the league this year.
Is he really a snub, though, if all 4 deserve it?
I thought Mailata was just the number 1 guy. That's why. Like, I thought if we were picking this, he would be the first guy I name.
Yeah.
And then the debate is more so between Sewell and the other dudes and Lane Johnson. And
I don't hate it.
Yeah. Mailata is just, the Eagles have so many offensive linemen.
Well, we have all our guys made it.
Yeah, Landon Dickerson made it at guard.
Cam Jurgens made it.
Tyler Smith, Chris Lindstorm. I thought that was good. At center, Frank Ragnow, Cam Jurgens.
You go from fucking Kelsey
Offensive line
to...
view. I forgot our offensive line coach's name. He's like the greatest ever. Like, he's
Stoutland?
He pumps
Jeff
out
Stoutland.
just dudes. Big.
They call it Statlin U.
Shit, listen. I never have to worry about that with our team.
I don't even think Cam Jurgens has been
That good?
I think he's been the worst player on their offensive line.
I'm saying,
Like
look at the
Mekhi
guys.
Becton has been better than him.
Mekhi's been OD
That's like
this
Luke
year.
Wattenberg being the worst member of the Broncos offensive
No,
line.
like
Doesn't matter to me.
Yeah,
He's good.
our line is so crazy. Like, you're probably not wrong.
The
Like,
only player I think
thank you for Mekhi, by the way.
could have made it over Cam Jurgens is Drew Dalman from the Falcons, but like really it's whatever.
Mekhi plays what position for you guys?
Right tackle?
Right guard.
Right guard.
Yeah. Right guard.
He made the Pro Bowl too?
No, he didn't.
No.
I was like, what?
Guard was
But he
Dickerson,
was
Tyler
nice
Smith, and
this
Chris
year.
Lindstorm.
Like, he was even Tyler Steamy coming in doing his thing. You know what I'm saying? We got some dudes, man.
Yeah, Mekhi is just like so athletic, and that's what makes him so valuable, like in the run game, because they can just pull him and they can get him to the second level, and he can get there quick. So their running attack is just really amazing. That's why I think if Saquon plays the last game, he would easily break the record.
Listen, I want him to play.
I don't want to.
Apparently, he practiced. Yes, no,
I
today.
want him to break the record.
So,
I don't.
he practiced today. Smitty and AJ did not practice.
If
today,
he would have broke
so
the record last week, I would have been screaming like an idiot.
I say give him a half.
I just feel like I understand.
But then you have to start the all linemen.
I think
They
they're
want the
starting
record.
already. I think they're probably starting already.
Are they?
Yeah,
Some of them
because
are.
teams don't really sit their offensive linemen. Like when you look at the Chiefs, their offensive linemen I think are still going to play versus the Broncos.
Listen, give him a half. We're playing the Giants.
Outside of a couple dudes.
Yeah, give him a half. If you can't, it's like 100 and some change. If you can't do it, fine. But the linemen want it. Saquon wants it. His family wants it. The fans want
Is
it.
Tooney playing?
Probably not. No.
Like,
All right, that's huge.
That's legendary right there.
Yeah, I'm with you. Oh, for sure.
Yeah, like, come on, just one half.
Yeah, I get it.
Like, if we're scared about injury, he can get hurt the first.
Like him
playoff
rushing
game.
for 2 bands is already big enough.
We need that record, especially with the way Eric told out. He don't want him to break it. We got to get that, man.
Eric was preying on downfalls too. When AP was breaking it, he wasn't rooting for him.
Listen, I get trying to win a Super Bowl, and I get trying to make it, but sometimes there's things deeper than just winning playoff games.
What are you looking at, Johnny?
So apparently, this isn't the right. I'm looking at last year. It's got to be that she's inactive. I'm trying to pull up
Oh, okay.
because it was saying it's not the wrong matchup. Didn't have the Broncos.
Actually, Joe Tooney's not really listed in here. It says their injury report versus the Broncos. The players that are confirmed out are Pacheco, Jawan Taylor, McCole Hardman, and Jalen Watson. Doubtful is Chris Jones, Mahomes, McDuffie, Bolton, Hunt, Karlaftis, Kelsey, Justin Reed, and Drew Tranquil.
Okay.
So the offensive line might still play.
Facts.
On to the next one. The defensive ends, Nick Bosa, Micah Parsons, and Rashawn Gary.
How do you feel about Rashawn Gary?
I don't think he deserved to make it this year. But there's not a lot of other edge rushers that really are in the conversation because they list most of them like an outside linebacker.
I was going to say, is Ginkle outside linebacker?
Yeah, he is. That's why I think the other edge rushers, I think Carl Granderson from the Saints has had an incredible year, but he plays for the Saints. Yaya Diaby is another one for the Bucks. And Brian Burns for the Giants. I thought he's had a pretty good season too. So Rashawn Gary has been a terrible pass rusher, but he's been so great against the run this year. But no, I don't think he's played at a Pro Bowl level this year. He's
Do
not.
they have Brian listed on the outside too?
No, he didn't
Brian
make
Burns?
it. He
Okay.
he didn't make it. No. So probably if I was switching, I'd probably put Brian Burns over Gary. Interior linemen: Jalen Carter, Dexter Lawrence, and Vita Vea. I thought the biggest snub of the cycle was Leonard Williams not getting in.
Vita Vea?
Yeah, I would put Leonard Williams over Vita Vea. Vita Vea he's been the best interior defensive lineman in the NFC. Dexter Lawrence, when healthy and locked in, of course you give him the nod, but the Giants are a mess. Jalen Carter has flashes where he's just the best, but consistently all year long, it's been Leonard Williams. That's why I was very surprised that he didn't make it because you can argue the biggest reason for the Seahawks defense to turn around this year.
I don't disagree at all.
Looking at outside linebacker, Jonathan Grenard, Van Ginkel, and Jared Verse.
Wow. What a three.
Yep. Inside linebacker, Fred Warner and Zach Bond. Thought that was perfect.
Super team.
Yes. Oh, no,
Corner,
the Tennessee team's OD.
Jalen Johnson, Byron Murphy, J.C. Horn, and Devon Witherspoon.
We're back.
J.C. Horn was the biggest surprise for me.
J.C. Horn has
been
had
really
a good year.
But he's gotten cooked a lot this year.
Hey, he doesn't have help.
Mike
What
Jackson,
did I have written down?
his corner opposite of him has been good.
I had DeMondre Lenore as someone who could have had the opportunity
say
over JC and
Horn,
Quinion.
fresh off like 2 or 3 knee injuries, having a good year.
Spoon gets a lot of love because of how elite he is at stopping the run. Obviously, really good in coverage too. But in terms of pure coverage, Lenore and Quinion statistically were better than both Spoon and Horn. That's kind of where I had it in my notes. But regardless, I understand Spoon getting in. He was amazing. He is.
I don't hate QM not
That's what
getting
props him up. That's what props up Witherspoon because of how great he is against the run. Like he's really elite. You can argue he's the best run defender at the corner position in the league.
Yep.
J.C. Horn, his season's been up and down. Like he's had good moments. He's also had really bad moments. Like so for me in totality, like do I think Quinion has been better than him? Yeah, for the entire season I do. Lenore also, yeah, I do. J.C. Horn, it was a bit odd for me. And
I give Lenore some love too because Charvarius Ward, he rightfully was missing some time. He understandably so was stepping away from the game of football. And Lenore had to go ahead and fill in one of the best corner shoes, and he did an excellent job.
Now, the other big snub was at safety, Kirby Joseph didn't make it.
Which was ridiculous.
And that's because they had one free safety spot that went to Xavier McKinney, who I agree with, by the way.
Has to be.
But then there were 2 strong safety spots, and it went to Buda Baker and Brian Branch. If there's a line safety that should have made it between Branch and Kirby, I kind of think I lean Kirby a little bit.
Really?
Like 9 interceptions.
Yeah.
He just was so amazing this year.
Crazy.
Like I think Kirby Joseph should have made the Pro Bowl.
I don't know. Well, it was on your side. Damn. I'll say this. Why don't they have 2 free safeties?
You just watched me struggle.
Well, sorry, you're closer.
That's
Why
a good
don't they have
question.
2 free safeties?
I don't know. It's the same reason why, like, when you look.
He got it. You trust Riv.
Oh yeah, Fee.
Oh, he might have sold actually. Oh no. He
Trust
clicked the wrong
Riv.
one. Yeah. Oh, there it is. There it is.
I didn't.
No, he might have sold because now it might be the slideshow.
It might. Let's see.
Hand me the remote. Hurry up.
That's all Joel's fault.
How is it my fault?
Yeah, I know.
It's
It was a
slideshow.
slideshow.
My fault.
They're releasing emails
you
out
should
here.
have an elite slideshow in the background next show.
It's on my photo album. If that's what it is.
Damn.
Yeah,
You should
yeah.
have make it like a personal album. Just have like all our cops.
No, it's weird what the Pro Bowl does because there's only 3 tackle spots. Why not make it 2 left tackles, 2 right tackles, 2 strong safeties, 2 free safeties? It's weird. It just doesn't make much sense.
I agree, because you have guys like Kirby Joseph who are super deserving. Garrett Bowles is another example where they're left off and it doesn't make any sense.
Like, I guess what they do it is like you have 2 tackles and then the third is like the swing tackle.
You know who else could have made it? McGlinchey. Some bullshit.
Maybe.
Can you believe that?
Possibly. I don't know.
Can you believe how great
McGlinchey-
McGlinchey has been this year?
Do I watch McGlinchey and I'm like, oh, that's a certified Pro Bowler?
You should.
No.
You should feel that way.
I don't feel
Especially after how spicy you were talking about him. One of the worst overpays of the offseason.
He was.
Respect him.
At the year.
And he's been great the last 2 years for
Well,
us.
Did I say it this year?
You shouldn't.
I didn't say it this
Smart.
year. Yeah, because I did.
Better to be quiet than loud.
Is he
I
better
agree.
than Morgan Moses? I don't
Yeah.
know about that. Morgan Moses is
Oh my God, stop.
different.
Stop.
What about the right tackle from the Ravens, the rookie Rosengarten? Rosengarten is phenomenal. Let's
McGlinchey-
talk lineman.
Unless I'm blanking on someone, McGlinchey is the best right tackle in the AFC. Who am I blanking on? No one.
Well, who were the 3 that made it?
The tackle from it was Tunsil,
Well, he's not the best because Joe Alt's better.
rookie.
He's still better.
Rookie.
He's still better.
Rookie has to earn his stripes, man.
He has.
No, he
I
hasn't.
think he's only allowed 13 pressures this year.
I think McGlinchey has allowed. Oh, let me not talk out of my ass. I know it's something exceedingly low. Left tackle was. Oh my! I'm in the NFC. Well, Dedoy, son. I'm selling.
Selling bad.
Is nobody else looking this up? Just trusting that I'm gonna come
We
through.
do not care that much.
I care because
Let me
Brian
look at-
O'Neill. Brian O'Neill is one of those names on the Raiders right tackle.
Yeah, he's on the NFC.
Who?
Let's look at that. Wait, Brian O'Neill on the Vikings. What are you talking about? He's
no,
amazing.
wait, no, we're talking on offense.
said-
For the AFC,
before
it's
you said
Deion
AFC.
Dawkins, Laramie Tunsil, and Rashawn Slater. Some great
Deion
names.
stays.
Okay, so I'm looking at just the tackle position. Joe Alt is the 8th highest graded tackle in pass protection this year. Spencer Brown for the Buffalo Bills too is
Okay,
really good.
Get to McGlinchey already.
Yeah, let's go to the pressures. Joe Alt, he allowed 20 pressures. Spencer Brown has allowed 17.
Can you get to my brother?
McGlinchey's at 18 pressures allowed this
Stop
year.
fucking playing with McGlinchey's name.
Nobody's
Joe
playing with
Alt.
his name.
No, you just said Joel was better. That just blew mine.
Wait, no, okay, my bad. I'm at pressures. Now I'm at truly at pressures. Sorry.
Okay. What were you
Pressures.
at before?
It says, let me see. What was I at before?
You're gonna make me pull a PFF myself, huh?
There's 2 things. There's like pressures allowed, and then there's like in true pass sets, your pressures allowed,
Okay.
which is like different.
Uh-huh.
So let me look at true pass sets. Joe Alt has allowed 14 pressures. Spencer Brown allowed 11 pressures. They both play right tackle.
Good name.
McGlinchey has allowed 14.
So what were you looking at before? I'm sorry.
There's a difference between pressures in general and pressures in true pass sets. Like for example, true pass sets are like in drop back situations
Okay.
versus pressures allowed like on a rollout, on play action. Those are like different. Those are charted differently.
Garrett Bowles was better than Deion Dawkins.
You can make an argument.
We're just so good, man.
You can make an argument.
Deion Dawkins was elite this year.
Why are they only showing left tackles? I'm done looking at this.
Yeah, because PFF doesn't do it by like right tackle.
They only
left
just
tackle.
do tackles.
Yeah, but like the right tackles in the AFC, you have Joe Alt, you have Morgan Moses, you have Spencer Brown, you have Mike McGlinchey,
Was it who?
you have Titus Howard,
Who do we have?
Mike McGlinchey.
Oh, nice.
You have Titus Howard
We
on the
won,
Texans
baby.
as well.
Fuck yeah. Love my dog, man. They said it was an overpay.
On the
I do it
Dolphins,
3 times over.
There
you
go.
have Kendall Lamb. Can I name every right tackle in the AFC? I
Can
probably
you?
can. Let me go.
Patriots.
I can't.
Luck.
I can't.
Did
with
Orlando Brown go back? Not Orlando Brown. I'm
Trent
sorry.
Brown?
Trent Brown.
No, he's on the Bengals. He's actually injured for the year.
Facts.
Yeah, the Bengals have Armarius Mims.
Yep.
The Steelers have Broderick Jones. The Ravens have Rosengarten. The Browns have, I believe, Conklin because left tackle is Trishan. Jedrick
Yep.
Wills. AFC South, I know Walker Little has played left tackle for them recently, so that means their right tackle is
You have the
the
Jaguars?
rookie from last year.
You have the Jaguars in your bag?
Yeah, let me see. It's the rookie from last year. He came from Florida, I believe. Something. Damn, I remember who he is.
Do you have the Raiders in your bag?
The Raiders.
Is the guy that John just said.
No, that was Brian O'Neill in the.
Excuse me.
Colton Miller's their left tackle.
Yeah, I was thinking Colton Miller.
The
but he's
Raiders'
not
right tackle.
That's a tough one.
I think it's on. Fuck. I think it's like I don't know.
Munford.
Yeah. Fuck. Yeah.
The Jaguar one, I think. You're thinking.
I can mention the interior. They have like Andre James and Jackson Powers Johnson.
That's the Raiders.
And let me see. I'm on AFC South. Texans.
All right, we got a
Titus
whole
Howard.
show. It's all right.
Yeah, we do.
It's all right.
Who's
We
the
have so
Titan-
much more,
Who's the
actually.
Titans' right tackle?
They just got him. Last year.
J.C. Latham
No,
is
no,
a
no,
left
no,
tackle.
no. Skronsky.
Skoronsky's
I
their
think
right
he's guard.
guard. He plays
Does
guard.
he play guard?
He
I
plays
I think he
guard.
played left
Damn,
guard.
he fell off.
So right tackle, I think it's like Nicholas Pettit something. I don't know. He's not that good. But yeah, we could just move on.
No, never mind. Yo, J.C. Latham didn't have a good year.
He's got better towards the end.
He allowed some of the most pressures in the league, though.
And that's why when a rookie is good like Joe Alt, it's very impressive.
Charles Cross was also dog shit this year.
No, he's not.
He allowed 44 pressures.
Charles Cross has been good this year.
44 pressures is a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah, but look at the overall offensive line grade.
Wouldn't that be attributing to everybody?
It is high. It's very
Wouldn't that be
high.
Attributing to everybody?
Yeah, but pressures allowed isn't the end all be all to just
okay.
measure offensive line play. Yeah, Charles Cross has been a better run blocker this year. In pass protection, he can struggle against like faster guys. So he's not like an excellent pass protector. He's just all right. He really just thrives in the run game.
He allowed 33 hurries and 44 pressures.
Yeah, best Seahawks offensive lineman though.
That sounds nuts.
Not
He
saying
is he's the best.
Hamer
one.
Abraham Lucas.
Yeah,
Next topic.
it's Charles Cross. Abraham Lucas has like chronic knee issues. Okay, NFL Pick'em Week 18.
Fuck, forgot we had to do this.
Browns versus Ravens.
Ravens by 100.
Ravens are 19-point underdogs. I mean,
Ravens are favorites. 90-point
that's
favorites.
sorry.
It's all right.
Took me
Are they
back to the last
sitting everybody?
topic. 19-point
No,
favorites.
they have to win to the division.
The
I'm
division
going with the
still
Ravens.
stakes to look at a clean W.
Bengals versus Steelers.
I do have the Bengals winning.
I would take the Steelers in this one.
How about you? I want you to go first.
I want you to go first. This is your team.
We know where you're picking.
All right, well,
No,
I'm
he
taking-
doesn't. He's going to take the Bengals.
No. Well, I want to know where he was going. I know it's going to
chest
the
is
Bengals.
hurting.
I'm taking Pittsburgh. I think it'll be a great game, but I think our offense moved the ball effectively. Kind of be a bounce back week.
I think this is going to be a bounce back week
Bengals need it.
for
They both need it.
the Steelers.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I think the Steelers are just a better
I
team.
want them to go to the Bengals.
I still have nightmares of when Russell
So
Wilson.
you don't think the Bengals are going to get in?
Well, they need a lot of help even if they do win this game.
If
And-
they lose the game, that I'll be shocked.
Well, it just removes them from winning entirely, getting in the last spot. But I still have nightmares of Russell Wilson throwing for 400 yards on his defense.
Don't sleep
Even
on
in
this.
Joe Burrow's best game of the season versus the best defense, arguably, of the season, they almost lost because their defense was that ass. So I look at that and I say, listen, you got a good defense with the Steelers whose offense can be a little bit more consistent down and down. For last time they played them, they just dismantled them. I'm going to go with the Steelers. I feel like they also desperately need to win this to want to win the division as well. Panthers versus Falcons.
I do have the Falcons winning.
I'll go with the Falcons.
I'm going with the Falcons. Must win.
I'm also going with the Falcons. I'm hoping that Bryce Young has a great game that season, though.
Amen.
Commanders versus Cowboys.
I have the Commanders.
Cowboys won last time.
Commanders are in, right?
They are in.
So it was
But they need a win to get a seed over the Packers. Because if the Packers win and the Commanders lose, the Commanders will be the 7th seed.
Yeah, I feel like okay.
And
I'll
that's
go
the
Commanders.
difference between facing the Eagles and facing like the Rams or the
They'll be on the
Bucks.
road regardless, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll go with the Commanders, but I wouldn't be surprised if Dallas wins.
I'm going with the Commanders as well.
I'm going to get some clean sweep. Commanders as well on my end. I do think the Cowboys, though, could have an upset. They've been playing for McCarthy's job second half of the season. So
Bears versus Packers.
Green
Taking
Bay.
the Pack.
I'm going with the Packers.
Green Bay don't want to come to Philly, man. in the
also going
playoffs
with the Packers. This is a big win for them.
in January.
Jaguars versus Colts.
Have the Colts winning. Jaguars win this game. Colts. Maybe you
Jaguars.
guys are right all along.
I'll go Jaguars.
All right.
I think this is a bounce back week for the Colts. No way you can get embarrassed 2 weeks in a row, right?
No way.
So
Right.
I got the Colts winning this.
The Jaguars beat them earlier in the year, correct? Based off what I'm looking at. I'm trying to pull it up real quick while doing the stamps. Yeah, the Jaguars did beat them in October. So I think every year the Jaguars are kind of bound for that win over the Colts, but I do think the Colts are going to get this win. They're not going to get swept.
Excuse me. The Jaguars do beat the Colts relatively often.
At home for sure.
Fact.
That was their first win this season. So
This clean sweep Colts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next team: Bills versus Patriots.
Even with them sitting everyone, I'm going to take the Bills.
I'll go back. Patriots. Drake May's
questionable.
I'll go Bills. But Bills, they're not playing anybody. But I'll still go Bills.
The Patriots play like the Bills awfully tough.
they do. We saw
That's
that
right. Last
literally
game.
a few weeks
I mean, yeah,
ago.
last game. Yeah.
And if you only have like a half of Josh Allen, does that result in a loss?
I don't know. Bills are still liable to whip their ass.
If Josh Allen doesn't play, I could see Mitch Trubisky easily throwing this game away from them.
Yeah, he might be
So,
playing like one drive.
I'm tempted to go with the Patriots, and I also am going to realize that the first overall pick, they probably won't pull out the way the Giants did, so I'll go with the Bills. They'll find a way to lose.
Yo, I'm not sending my picks later until Dehls sends his.
Okay, I'm gonna go with the Bills. Giants versus Eagles.
Eagles.
I'll go Eagles just because.
I'm going Eagles. Even their backups, I think, could beat the Giants.
I agree. I'm going with the Eagles.
Saints versus Buccaneers.
Got the Bucks. They're getting into the playoffs.
I got the Bucks as well.
Clean sweep, I'm going with Tampa Bay.
Texans versus Titans.
Texans don't need it. They're in. I'll go Titans.
I'm taking the Texans. The Titans legitimately stink.
They do.
Will Levis is starting as well.
Oh, yeah, I'm going with Texans then.
I'm going with the Texans. Wait, the Texans might be sitting people too. They
They
don't need
should-
a win.
they should
They are.
be.
They are going to sit people.
Oh my goodness.
It's really ass versus ass.
That's why I'm taking the chance on the Texans still being dogs.
Texans ass. You going with?
I think, yeah, I don't trust the Titans. 49ers versus Cardinals.
I have the Cardinals.
This is another.
Purdy's
ass
not
versus
playing.
Ass.
Oh, yeah, easily Cardinals.
Yeah. Josh Dobbs versus Kyler. Give me Kit one.
Chiefs versus Broncos.
Denver.
The Broncos should win this one.
Denver gets in.
Yeah, I'm also going with the Broncos. They're going to seal that playoff.
What if Carson Wentz spoils everything?
I could easily see that happening.
Yo,
Yeah.
Drew.
Carson
I,
Wentz
you get a
could
week
I
off.
said it.
You get a week off.
Thank you.
You get a week
I will
off.
not be here.
You get a
If
week
we
off.
do not make the playoffs, I'm missing the next
That's
episode.
terrible.
I'm just being
No,
honest.
Carson Wentz ruining the. This is a year for
I'm
you. It's
being
nuts.
I really
transparent.
could see him playing a good game.
No,
No, not against us.
This is the Chiefs.
Listen, you better don't
Best
put it in
coach
the
in
universe.
football.
No one's
Best
playing for
interior
them.
offensive line.
This
That's
game
gonna
means
play.
something to Carson Wentz.
This game means something to me.
It means
winning.
everything to Denver right now.
It does.
Chief back
In Denver, right?
I believe
So
so.
pick them, John.
Losing in Denver to Wentz,
Oh,
you can't have it.
my
Can't
team,
happen.
I'm
It
going
can't.
with the. I
Yeah,
might
be bold.
This is gonna be a game time.
You know what I said?
decision.
Every week I vow to pick Kansas City
For
Chiefs.
now, I'm going with
It's
the
insane.
Broncos, but I might sleep.
Nah, pick
I
the
might,
Chiefs.
I
Go
might
with your
sleep-
gut.
Pick
I
the
might-
fucking Chiefs, you
I might-
coward.
Ooh.
You know what?
Yep. Yeah, John. Yeah,
No,
John.
Fuck
Yeah.
you. I'm going with the fucking Chiefs.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
John.
going with.
Idiot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Stupid
The
fuck.
way he's talking
Yeah.
to you, we don't like that, John.
Yeah, I'm
we
not
don't like
taking
that.
that.
We're not taking that.
Dolphins versus
Yeah,
Jets.
that Monday morning for you.
The
I
Dolphins.
won't be here. I won't be here if we
Yeah,
lose.
even worse.
The Dolphins. The Jets.
the
are
Dolphins.
I'm going
Even with Snoop.
Dolphins.
I'm going with the Jets. Potentially Aaron Rodgers' last game is going to go out with a bang.
I
Let's
might be
go.
there.
New York Jets.
Vibes.
I'm thinking about going, but it's at the same time as the Bronco game, which kind of sucks.
Chargers versus Raiders.
Chargers.
Chargers.
I'm going with the Chargers.
I'm also going with the Chargers.
Seahawks
of
versus
wins.
Rams.
And
Go Rams.
a game that doesn't
Oh,
matter at all.
oh,
I'm
damn.
I'm
going
going
to
with
take
the
Seattle.
Seahawks.
I'll just take
Yeah.
the Rams.
And the last
going
game of the
Seattle.
season.
Brother, take Seattle. Rams
I'm
starting
taking
going.
Seattle.
Why does Seattle
Seattle's
play
going to
anybody?
play players
Why?
because pride.
They don't have nothing to play for.
Exactly.
And no, the Rams are literally playing no one.
Yeah.
I'll go Seattle.
I did you a favor.
It'd be hilarious if Seattle still loses the fucking game.
That would be hilarious.
Vikings versus Lions.
You already
San
told me
Luis.
who you're picking, right?
I'm going with the Vikings all day.
I'm going Jettas.
Woo!
One pride, baby. We are winning the division for the second year in a row. Oh, trust me, he's done that more than
It's a
once in his
horn.
life. Bless you.
Thank you. You're insufferable.
What are you talking about?
You have 40 teams.
This
The
game
Vikings,
definitely
I've been
means more
talking
for
about the
Detroit.
Vikings for a minute, bro.
Just
I have
no,
Vikings
no.
merch.
What
have
record did you have
everything
of them
merch.
coming into the season?
Well, I'm not talking about this year. I'm just talking about.
All right,
I've been
fair
talking
enough.
about the Vikings for like years.
brother,
now.
you have everything merch. You literally have everything in here.
Not everything.
Got a lot.
You have everything in
So
here.
then why'd you call me a bandwagon last year with the Rams?
What do you
got the
mean?
Rams towel,
No, it's
the
because
fake
they
Rams
were
towel.
good and then they were bad. You didn't talk about them, and then
Why would I talk
when they
about
made
a
a
bad
run,
team?
you were like,
To
"I'm
be fair,
here
you didn't
again."
talk about the Vikings till they were kind of.
I've been talking about them being contenders since the beginning of the year.
Ooh, that's not even possible.
Yes, I have. What do you mean? They started out like 5-1.
You didn't call them contenders at 5-1.
They were 5-0.
You
at
picked
one
against
time.
them like six weeks in a row.
But still, I said
I
they were
don't know.
contenders.
You have to find
100%.
that. I'm not gonna say you're telling the truth or you're lying.
100%. I
You
mean,
have
the
to find
Vikings started out the season. They what 5-0.
No, then you had Green
then they
Bay.
lost to
You
the
had
Lions.
Green Bay as being the best in the division.
Yeah, that's my
Prediction.
before the season prediction. But based off what was happening in the evidence,
When did you change that?
When the Vikings started beating the shit out of every
Everyone.
team.
Did you change
Yes,
it?
yeah, they're playing like.
Everybody did the same thing. They adjusted accordingly to the Vikings, which is fair.
Obviously, they're
They
playing
had
that
to.
well.
Yeah, they're a legitimate contender. They're great.
I
I'm
do
not gonna
think
say
They're
you're
just
telling
going to
me.
lose this game.
this game means more for Detroit with how much
Easy.
they've lost in their defense. They're going to need that home field advantage
He's
a
spitting.
lot more.
It means the same to both teams.
No, but you're missing.
No, but they're
I
banged
think
up.
The
Vikings
Vikings can handle, being the 5th seed and not having home field advantage a lot better than the Lions because of the Lions' mass injuries in the defensive end.
It matters
It's been
to
a
both
group
equally as
ravage.
much.
I did. That's not what I'm
understand
saying.
John's point.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying is what I'm trying to say is that the Lions need this
They need
win
it.
more
They need
than the
it.
Vikings.
They're hurt.
Obviously,
But
both
who's the better
teams-
team?
The Vikings are the better team. That's
So
why.
who's winning?
I had the Vikings winning.
Okay.
The point
listen to
stands.
this guy
I got
when he
it. I
speaks.
stopped
The
asking
point
you questions.
stands. The Lions need this win more to be that one.
I
seed
agree.
Alabama,
No, but we don't
and
agree.
that-
We think they needed the same amount. That's
No,
what we're
but
saying.
I'm agreeing with John.
Yeah, we're just saying we think they needed the same amount. That's all.
How
That rest
injured
not
they've
gonna
been.
get those players back. They're done.
Well,
He's
it's one
fake
less game
cooking.
to play.
It's
one
correct.
less game to
It's
play.
the same thing for the Vikings.
No, but you guys are just
No,
not
stop
hearing
adding
him.
me to that. I hear him.
All right, that's it.
I understand what he's saying. Like the Lions have to win this game because they want the bye because they got so many
Yes.
injuries. Neither team wants a pathway to where they
course
don't got
not.
home field
Duh.
advantage.
All right, this is what I'm really.
No,
I
John,
got
John,
more.
don't explain. You're good. I got you. You're good.
I
Trust
got
me.
more.
Do you
The
like? I'm
Vikings
thinking
Joe's
defense,
not
defense.
hearing
the
you,
Vikings
bro. He not
defense is
hearing you.
elite. You can't go on a Super Bowl with this type of defense the Lions
Yeah,
have.
I agree.
You can't win 4 games, 3 games that way in a row.
Joel's
The
not hearing
Vikings
you,
can.
buddy.
I think
Yes,
their
I
defense is
agree.
good enough to win 3 games.
They can still do it as
Yeah.
the wild card team.
So you're saying the Vikings, they're the better team. Therefore, the Lions need to get home field advantage in a bye
Shocker.
because
the better
they're the
team
worst
needs it
team.
less. Shocker. The better team needs it
I mean, what's the
less.
point of that? You
Yes.
picked the Vikings, right? You picked the Vikings. You picked the Vikings.
Yes.
But
They're
no,
the
you're
better
trying
team.
to make him.
Can the
No.
Lions win 3 playoff games with the defense they have?
He said no.
So ultimately, it doesn't
Why
matter.
Are you not
So
listening
ultimately-
to him?
so ultimately-
John, don't respond. John, trust me. Don't
ultimately-
respond. He's just choosing an argument for no
No,
reason.
ultimately, it
He's
doesn't
choosing
matter
an
if they get a
argument for
bye
no
or not.
reason. Don't respond. Don't respond. You're good.
I didn't
Bro, I'm
You're
crazy.
good.
I didn't play.
You're good. You're good. Oh my God! It's not
crazy?
fucking rocket
A little
science.
bit.
Yes.
My goodness.
My God.
Just a little
Don't
bit.
don't acknowledge shit.
Just a
Drink
little
that
bit.
water.
Just a little
Enjoy
bit.
it.
That shit
That's
is
it.
hilarious, though. He not hearing you, John. He not hearing you. at
No,
all.
he's
I
not.
ain't hearing that. Pick the Lions, boy.
He picked the Vikings
Pick the
already.
Lions. Nah, I want you to pick the
Don't-
Lions.
don't-
Stand on
don't.
it.
You're good.
It
You're
means more
good.
to them, right?
You're good.
It means more to them.
Why
John,
is he
pick the
being a
Lions.
dickhead? Now he's
can't.
being a stop.
It means
I know,
more to
I know,
them.
exactly. Ignore him. Ignore him. John, stay strong. Exact. Good shit. Good shit.
That's funny as shit.
You're picking the Lions because it means more to them, right?
No.
Okay.
I'm picking the Lions because I just think they're going to win this game. They're going to outscore them.
Okay. So it doesn't mean more to them.
I think it does.
Doesn't mean more.
No, John's right. It does mean more.
Thank you.
If they lose, they're in a well worse position than the Vikings,
means so
obviously.
much more.
But if the Vikings lose,
can
like
handle
John said, they can still go on a run.
They would play Rams.
It would be the 4, so they
Yeah.
would play the Bucks.
Oh, okay.
Good call.
I'm with you.
Yep.
So Detroit, if they lose, they have to go to Tampa Bay.
Yeah. They could still win that game for sure.
Now I see what Joel's talking about
No, but now they're on the road.
against Tampa Bay.
No, but the whole way is on the road.
Bro, basically what he said is
Whether they're
that
home or away, the defense is
I don't
still.
Forward.
regardless
we
if
gonna
they're-
get
they-
caught. We
regardless
have
if they
a
get-
whole other
if
half.
they get
is a
if
semantic
they
shot.
get home field advantage or not, the defense is still gonna
I
suck.
also get what he's saying. Like whether they get home field or not, the defense is nothing's changing that. The home field don't change.
The Vikings and the Lions both, if they don't win the division, they can still beat whoever they play.
It's
in the
also
wild
different.
card.
Like Bucks can go out there and they've already shown they can beat the Lions. They've done it. This year, they've done it already. And now you're on the road in that game as well. May not be ideal, especially if it's raining over there in Tampa. Who knows?
Okay, so very quickly, There's 3 things that are the most important storylines going into Week 18 that we're going to run through very quickly. Number 1, who gets the last AFC playoff spot?
Denver Broncos.
I'll go Denver. You got Denver, you got Miami. I know everybody wants to see Cincinnati get it, but I just feel like there's too much to wish for Cincinnati to get in. Denver, it's pretty simple, man. Just beat the fucking backups. Do your job.
The Chiefs are resting everybody. The Broncos should win this game.
It should. And if you don't, you didn't deserve to get in the playoffs.
Agreed. Wholeheartedly.
Now, John, you have the Chiefs winning.
have the Chiefs
so
winning.
who's making it?
Miami.
It's a great question. Oh man, now I really
You're begging for Cincinnati.
put myself in
to
a corner.
Good.
Yeah.
I told you you're a fucking dumbass.
Now you have to make up something.
And now you lost me because you had me before and now you lost me on this one. Sorry.
All right, so let's think about this. The Bengals aren't making the playoffs because they're going to lose the Steelers. Secondly, the Dolphins are going to
could
win.
beat the Jets.
The Dolphins will beat the Jets.
That's what I'm saying.
So
They beat the
by
Dolphins.
Woohoo, 2 is in the playoffs. Oh.
I'm hype if that's the case. But
can't
it's
be
not
hype.
happening.
You can't be
Exactly.
so
I only say because he's out this game.
Yeah.
Sucks.
So you got the Dolphins making the playoffs, John.
Stupid fuck. You're a stupid fuck.
This is Tua fan telling you.
Well, this is how it would go. If the Broncos lose and the Dolphins win,
You
they would make
literally
the playoffs.
have no choice but to say the Dolphins.
Sorry,
Dolphins
pal.
make the playoffs.
Like you have no choice.
Who wins the NFC South?
The Buccaneers.
Buccaneers.
Tampa motherfucking Bay.
I got the Buccaneers too. I think they take care of business. And the last game that matters, the Vikings versus Lions. Who gets the number 1
Minnesota-
seed in the NFC?
Minnesota takes the North.
One pride.
I'm going with the Vikings. This is special season that they're having.
I agree. Best team in the NFC North. Vikings, Eagles, NFC Championship game.
Truly
Let's
crazy
do it. Round 2.
that we have 2 14-win teams facing off in Week 18. Never seen this before. I've got the Vikings getting a win, sealing their fate, winning the NFC North.
So
job.
you're not flipping to the
Well
Lions.
said,
You're locked
well
in.
said,
He
John.
never was flipping to the Lions.
No, I'm asking you. Just like you
I
don't
just
want to.
I just don't understand.
It's just the game was so
Nation,
more
here we are.
meaningful for them and where they have to be in the playoffs and what they have to go through. So, going into the game knowing all that information.
I think you're taking meaningful as opposed to. I think it is more important for the Lions to win as opposed to the Vikings
More
because the
vital.
Vikings are a right now
I think,
cleaner.
well,
kinda the same
that's
thing.
that's where I'm disconnected because I think it's equally as important for both teams.
It's fake the same thing.
Not really, because the
you're missing
Lions
it.
being the 1 seed with how their roster currently is with all their injuries would be a huge benefit as opposed to them losing.
It's really-
now they're the 5th
it's
seed.
really-
The Vikings are the 5th seed. They still can go on a run.
It's as simple
Yeah,
as
but it's
this.
still meaningful for them being the 1 seed from where they
Of course
came
it
from.
is still
that's
meaningful.
fine.
We're not
Both
saying
teams
it's
want-
not meaningful.
The point is, the Vikings can go to the Super Bowl as a wild card. The Lions cannot. That's my opinion.
Correct.
Can the Vikings go to Super Bowl as a bye week team as the number 1 seed?
No shit.
No,
I
I'm
don't- I
asking
don't see
you,
it.
John.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I said they can go as a wild card team. The Lions.
No, he's actually-
all.
no,
Do you
no.
understand what that means?
no, no,
If they
no,
can
no.
go as a wild
Drew,
card,
Drew.
yes, they can go in as the 1 seed.
Dude, we're
Drew,
talking
he's
about the
actually-
Lions.
No, he's
The
actually
Lions?
as the
Oh,
Lions.
apologize.
Yeah, I thought you said the Vikings.
So
I thought so
no,
too.
Can the Lions as the number 1 seed with the bye week go to the Super Bowl still?
I think they could.
I think they could
even
too.
even if they were to face the Eagles in that pathway,
No, but the Eagles are 2.
they would have to meet each other in the NFC Championship game.
Question.
Apologies.
Just for clarification, just want to ask this question.
I don't know if anyone's beating the Eagles.
Two hypothetical situations. Let's say the Lions get 5th seed, right? You two would pick them against the Bucks, right?
The Lions?
Yes.
I would favor the Lions in that
John,
game.
you
yes.
also picked them against the Bucks, right?
Yep.
So let's say they get past the Bucks. If they play Philly,
Philly.
you pick Philly, right?
Easy. But I'm
Okay.
taking Philly over everyone.
Okay, so let's say the Lions get the 1 seed and they get the bye and they play Philly in the second round.
No,
You're
they
still
wouldn't
take-
play- they
I'm just saying,
wouldn't-
you're still
No.
taking Philly.
Wait, who? Minnesota, you're saying?
No, the Lions.
The Lions would only see the Eagles if they're the 1 seed in the NFC
So
Championship
the only team
game.
that can beat the Lions to you is Philly.
If they're
in
the 1
playoffs.
seed. Absolutely.
Okay.
If they're the 1 seed, the only team that can beat them is the Eagles. If
So
they're
that's-
the 5th seed, the Bucks have a path to upset them
Wow, really?
because the Bucks already beat them this year.
So-
this defense is banged
the
I
up.
home
think-
field
I
is
just
switching
think
them?
when-
last year's one
That's
score
it?
fair.
The 1 seed would be playing the worst seed of whoever moves on to the next
Listen,
round.
I just think when measuring Super Bowl teams, you can either make it or you can't. If the Eagles were a wild card team, I still think they could make it
but that's-
because they have the roster to do it. The
So you don't think
Lions,
if Tampa went to Detroit, they can't beat the Lions?
Say it again.
You don't think if Tampa was hypothetically going into Detroit, they don't have the same chances? They're still playing the same defense.
And again, but
I think
It
y'all
would be-
overrating the
home field
advantage.
advantage. No, I'm
to
not.
a bad,
I'm not.
to a
Detroit's
defense
home
that's
field
banged up.
advantage is OD.
I think
Yeah, but their
it's-
defense is
I
banged up
think
regardless.
really comes down to playing one less game. That's
That
like
too.
one of my
That's what it
biggest
comes.
things.
But if you're a Super Bowl team, you're a Super Bowl team. That's where I'm going. That's where I'm at right now.
I think the Lions are
You can either
borderline
win or
contenders.
you can't.
My point is the Lions are on the border, and having the 1 seed could swing their
The
chances.
Lions
of
are
making
still
that run.
contenders.
Yeah.
I'm not taking them
I
away
just
from being
think injuries
contenders.
have really dampened
My
their
favorite
season.
by far
Simple as that.
is the Eagles.
Yeah.
But there's 3 contenders in the NFC. 4. Respect the Rams.
Ooh,
Nice. Solid take. I like that.
dark horse.
They're a dark horse.
Dark horse.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Why?
Actually,
Why
I
would
don't
you
know.
favor the Rams over the Packers?
Oh,
I don't think the
one reason
Rams can
only.
beat the Vikings or
Matty
the
Stafford.
Eagles.
Huh?
I don't think the Rams can beat the Vikings or the Eagles.
I
Well, they beat the Vikings already this year.
I'm talking about in the playoffs. Like the regular season, yeah, like Tampa beat the Eagles too. But I think
no.
now
This Rams defense is very good.
so is the Vikings.
It is, but Matthew Stafford's on the other side too.
It's a fair point. I don't hate that. That's a good ass answer actually.
I just think the Rams more than the Packers because of how well their weapons are. Specifically, Puka and Cooper Kupp play with their quarterback. I think that's what maybe makes me a little more confident in them.
No
So
doubt.
you think the Rams are better than the Packers too?
I think they're neck
Same
and neck.
level.
Same level is a fair assessment, but I would bet on the Rams before the Packers. Yeah, that's not even an indictment on the quarterback. There've been a lot of drops.
Now
this
we
year,
need to
that
see
Packers
Green
team.
Bay
Agreed.
go to
Jordan
LA.
Love is number 2.
Or 3 in drops. Yeah, I think he's 3 behind
Excuse
the
me,
Cardinals
he's
and
4.
Bears.
He's 4. Excuse me, because 1 was Rodgers, 2 is Herbert, 3 is Bo Nix
and what?
in most drop
Yeah.
passes.
And just
Okay.
in drop
Maybe I was looking
percentage,
at a
I think
different site then.
drop
I saw the
percentage for
Cardinals
sure. Jordan Love is like higher than all of them.
I would love Green Bay to
drop
go
percentage.
head out to LA and play them. That would be a banger.
Yeah,
game.
Dontavian Wicks and Jane Reed are both like top 10.
Yeah.
in
Oh no,
drops.
Jaden. Excuse me, Dontavian Wicks literally 1 in drop percentage.
Not surprised. Yeah.
But he's also, I think, number 1 in separation. He's a conundrum.
Yeah.
He's good. He's his catch.
If you can't catch it.
Poor man's Deontay Johnson.
Now we got some NBA stuff to talk about.
Breaking news. So we're talking about Jimmy Butler and obviously what's been going
So
on.
the Jabari Smith news.
I did see that.
What happened?
Jabari broke his hand in shoot
4 to
around
6 weeks.
out of 4 to 6.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about Jimmy Butler. Obviously, was asked a question of whether or not, can you bring your joy back to playing the game of basketball while being on the Miami Heat? He said probably not. Now, he just got suspended for 7 games by the team for conduct detrimental to the team.
7?
He got suspended 7
28
games.
minutes ago.
They probably should trade him during that time.
I was going to say, this was also now where Shams reported initially that he requested a trade. He wants to be traded. The Heat came out, said they're not trading him. Jimmy Butler's agent came out and basically ridiculed
Jimmy's agent
Shams
is cooked.
for lying and putting out a false report. But now it's reported that, I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. It's crazy as fuck. Shams reported he will literally go to any team as long as it's not the Miami
Shams
Heat.
stood on business. He said this was the story that I believed in the most, and now he looks like Jimmy's agent kind of looks nuts.
Well, he was right all along. I
Yep.
think the Heat probably just didn't want to make this public yet, and they wanted the Heat to trade Jimmy Butler behind closed doors and not make a big deal out of it. But the Heat probably didn't buzz, so Jimmy Butler made it, and he made a big deal out about it. Here's the thing I'll say about Jimmy Butler. I don't like the way that he's conducted himself this year. I think if you're on the final year of a deal, you have to play out that year. It's clear with the way that he's playing, he's disengaged. He really doesn't care. He just wants to be traded, and that report is accurate. He wants to play for any team that's not the Miami Heat. There are a couple hurdles in that because he has a big contract, making $49 million per year, and teams probably don't want to trade a lot of assets for what could be a 1-year rental. Now, has Jimmy Butler's contract demands, are they going to change if he goes to a new situation? That's possible. The other layer to this is that Jimmy Butler just went through one of the most life-changing tragedies that anybody can go through. He just lost his father not too long ago. And that has to be brought up in this case because Jimmy Butler, in saying the comments during the playoffs about the Heat, for Pat Riley to be so aggressive in attacking him, knowing probably what Jimmy Butler is going through personally and not give him that grace, it definitely rubbed Jimmy Butler the wrong
Had
way.
to have.
And Pat Riley, who's somebody who's stern, he doesn't, I think, just from what I've seen afar, he doesn't buy too much into the emotional aspect of things. That's somebody that is very hard to work with when they cannot level with, you emotionally in a tragedy that you went through. And Butler, I can, imagine him not feeling joy playing for the Heat. He's not getting a contract. And this is the place where, he got the news, life-changing news. How can you blame him for not having joy in a place that currently is also causing so much emotional trauma for him? So I think that what's best for him is a new situation. When I look at all the situations for Jimmy Butler to go to, the Suns is very unrealistic because Bradley Beal has to be in the deal. Nobody really wants Bradley Beal. The Mavericks is also pretty unrealistic. The Rockets could be a potential destination. I think the best team for Jimmy Butler that I want to see him go to, that I think it can shift the odds in where we view this team in competing for championship, is the Memphis Grizzlies. Ooh. I think the Grizzlies, if they can trade, they can trade Marcus Smart, they can trade Luke Kennard, and they can trade Brandon Clark to make the contracts work. So the only real valuable player they're giving up in that is Marcus Smart.
Brandon Clark.
And Brandon Clark's also really good. Yeah, you're right. And you maybe attach like a first-round pick.
Not that big now.
You can get Jimmy Butler, and you think about the Grizzlies roster with John Moran, Desmond Bane, Jimmy Butler, Jaren Jackson Jr., Zach Edey. Off the bench, you have Scottie Pippen Jr., Jake LaRavia. Jalen Wells is playing really well. Jay Huff, who he's had some good minutes for them when he's played off the bench. Like, this team is insanely deep, and you add a player like Jimmy Butler with his defense and his mindset to a team like this that I think they do lack some real veteran leadership. I think that puts them into like serious contender talks if Jimmy could go to Memphis.
Now, I wouldn't mind Jimmy to Memphis, but you're also, I don't know. Memphis has been playing some great basketball. Obviously, the defense has been all world. Jaren Jackson taking a step up in his offensive game, something that's pleasantly surprised me. But even still, you add Jimmy, now it's still a lack of spacing on the squad. That's where I understand the logic behind it. Now we're just going all in defensive identity, which fair, especially Jimmy Butler in the playoffs. Now you have someone that can really go tit for tat with John Morant down the stretch where the ball doesn't necessarily always have to be in Ja's hands, but Jimmy Butler has shown that he can also play off ball in those situations where you have Bam being a majority of the playmaker in Miami as well. This would be a strong destination for him. I understand that. I like Houston a lot, though. The one that would be intriguing, whether you go and you package, it's Dylan Brooks. Would Jabari be in that deal as well? Because I'm trying to make the money work. Whereas you're trying to get to 40.
Fred in it.
Excuse me, that's who it is.
And
it would be Fred.
One young player.
Would you do Fred and Reed in that deal? Because Reed's basically a DMP.
If I'm the Rockets, I wouldn't trade any young player that's valuable.
I'd trade more picks than young players.
The only young player that I'd probably be willing to give up is Cam Whitmore. That's it. But Reed Shepard, Jabari
Reed
Smith,
literally is a DNP.
Yeah, but he's also a rookie.
Top 4 pick.
I think Cam is younger than Reed.
I think no.
He might
be younger.
Reed was a freshman.
Yeah, but I think Cam was young.
I don't think so.
If they're not, if he's not
same age,
they might be same age.
Now I only say that where the idea is Jimmy can ball handle. Obviously, he can play make. He could be the lead ball handler for you, but also now Amon has an opportunity where now if you really want to see what he can do as the primary ball handler, this would be an opportunity for that as well. Obviously, by trading Fred, it was also
same age.
Okay, that's pretty lit.
Reed Shepard's a little bit older.
He's about a month, yeah.
But also,
it's hard
Reed
to
Shepard, he's probably gonna get the reins next year. Like once Fred VanVleet's gone, because he has a a team option.
Can't trade Reed Shepard.
So
but Fred also means a lot for their defense as well. That's kind of
the
he
package,
does, especially on the perimeter.
I agree,
it's
but
a lot of money.
You can give him off.
You need $49 million, but you're gonna have to aggregate Steven Adams 12,
Fred and
Dylan
Jock
22, and they're at 34, so you need another 15.
Fred 42, Jock 8, 50.
Yeah,
that's 50.
Part of why
it's
you
an
give
ugly package though.
First round pick, 2 second round picks.
You got to think about it. I don't think right now we have to come up with a world-shattering trade package for Jimmy Butler. He's on the final year of his deal, and
you're gambling with his stand.
Any team is going to be non-committal to paying him $50 million per year. Mm-hmm. There's no team out there right now that says I want to give Jimmy Butler $50 million for the next 2 seasons.
I could see a world where Houston, if they do trade Jimmy, they give them like a Fred contract.
Yeah, that's
it's
reasonable.
like a 1+1, a 2+1, something where the money is front loaded and stuff like that. I could see it work, and I don't even think Houston getting them, it wouldn't even be that bad.
Let me ask you guys a question. Random name. The Hornets.
Why?
You trade why? Because
You're just wasting him at this point.
Well, he'd go to any team.
I think that was exaggeration. I really don't think he means any team.
But why would the Hornets do it?
He ain't a culture setter.
Detroit.
And you put a culture setter next to LaMelo Ball as well. Hopefully Brandon Miller can stay healthy to what some you put Bridges in that deal with Josh Green. You get that's around 40-ish. You can go and you put a pick in there if you really need to. You bring in Jimmy Butler. You have LaMelo. You have Brandon, Jimmy Butler, and you go and you have Mark at the 5. The 4 spot would be a tough one to fill, honestly, but already as is, the talent is limited there in the front court. But I mean, I don't dislike it where you need somebody else that can create beyond the court, which Jimmy also, you can argue, hasn't been there too. But you've already gone through phases of this season without Brandon, without LaMelo.
What do you trade though?
Like I said, Bridges, and you put in Josh Green with a first, maybe a couple seconds, not sure. But regardless, I feel like if we're just throwing a team out there that I was given the possibility of 29 other squads.
Right.
You know, I'm trying to think of one that
I want Jimmy to go to a contender.
But
the only
as a
downside-
basketball fan, I want him to go to contender too. But I say in the sense of if Miami wants to smack Jimmy in the face and be like, you know what, you said anywhere, okay, sounds good,
Right.
Charlotte.
The only downside to that's the Hornets have 7 wins right now.
Yep.
They're on track to have the 4th overall pick. You have to go on to the lottery. I don't think trading Jimmy is going to make any difference in this next half year.
That's
And
fair.
Also, I don't think his attitude and behavior will mesh well with LaMelo Ball's attitude at
He ain't
all.
gonna like none of that shit that's going on over there.
LaMelo's going to have like those like alien emojis and stuff like that. Dreams of like, get me the hell out of here.
We're
Like,
gonna pull up in the little
think-
Mario Kart school.
I don't-
Jimmy like,
He said anywhere.
I don't think their attitudes mesh well.
Yeah, I
at
think
all.
that was more of a hyperbole to showcase how much he doesn't want to be with
But,
the Heat.
but let's have fun because it's kind of basic to just be like, you know what?
I think
Contender.
Memphis.
I just don't think the Hornets are fun. It just seems like a waste of Jimmy Butler's time.
I don't disagree too much there.
I liked Memphis. I think, listen, Memphis right now, they're, looking at it from by the numbers in EFG, they're top 6 at the rim. They're a solid, middle of the pack, mid-range team. They're 12th in mid-range percentage. But the three-pointer, like the non-corners, they're 8th in the league. So that's something really impressive. They're not good in the corner, or 22nd in the league, but non-corners, so around the top of the arc, they're pretty good at the three-ball. So they've been a pretty relatively efficient offense, even with John Morant, trying the jumper more and not being efficient at it, but taking more jumpers this year. You have Jaren out there, Santi Aldama. So, I would hate to give up Clark. I would rather give up Huff
it's been good
than
for
Clark,
them.
because I think Clark, he gives you that lob threat. He gives you that versatility, guarding 3 to 5s. He's a really good rebounder. But if you can, because John Morant, it feels like he's coming with a different attitude. Same thing with Jaren Jackson. I feel like Derrick Rose being on the roster last year really, and I hate to say this because I don't want to make it sound like I'm calling Ja not a man, but it really, D Rose on the roster last year really helped Ja mature into being a much better leader off the court. And then last
Nothing wrong
year,
with saying that.
last year Jaren Jackson needed that type of year to kind of come into this year and be his own. Bane is starting to wake up. I think Smart gives you that leadership in the locker room. The only problem I have with Jimmy is I rewatched the Pelicans game today because I wanted to see what type of energy he was giving off, and it was really bad.
It's giving nothing.
Yeah, he
was
was
bad.
jogging up the court, didn't really offense. He kind of stood around, and it's funny they still won the game. The Pelicans are so bad, but like Jimmy really was just giving non-committal energy, and I feel like this is blind faith, but I really feel like if he goes to somewhere else, he is prepared to give his all 100%.
You know how Jimmy goes.
Yeah, he really does not want to be in Miami. You can see it all over his face. And I think Memphis gives you that, not that move where Kevin Durant with the Golden State were like, oh, they're going to win it all. When LeBron got the big 3 in Cleveland, like, oh, shit, this is unfair. But no, Jimmy to Memphis gives you that, this could be fun.
Hell yeah.
This could be something that
Like they could
shake
match up with OKC.
Yeah, they can
if
shake
that
the
happens.
West up a little bit. This is a team that can maybe be a little bit more frightened with a little bit more time. Because I think Jimmy still has it. It's just about putting them in the right spot. And I think with Ja, Jaren, and Bane, they still need a little bit more seasoning to their growth. They haven't really played much in the playoffs. They've been injured a lot. So I don't hate Jimmy to Memphis. I think that's a cool-ass destination. I don't know if it's on the market, but I think it's a cool-ass destination.
The Grizzlies make the most sense because they have the most amount of assets. They have that need with a couple of guys being hurt. But the Jimmy Butler landing spot that nobody's talking about is the Cleveland Cavaliers. This is an opportunity for the Cavaliers to get the small forward they've been searching for 5
God.
years.
Make me
The
nuts.
craziest
Boston
part
were
about
coming.
this...
That would stack a
The
deck.
craziest part about this is the fact that the Cavaliers can make it work financially if
Jared
they
gone?
aggregate No, they could trade Jarrett because you have to make it worthwhile for the Heat a little bit and gain that center to pair alongside Bam would be perfect.
Bro.
But if you aggregate 4 salaries, they can make this work by saying out Karis LeVert, Max Strus, Dean Wade, who has been a very good shooter for them off the bench, and then lastly Isaac Okoro.
You're sending a lot.
You're sending a ton of 4 rotation players.
Who'd you say? Karis?
Max Strus, Karis LeVert, Dean Wade.
But the Cavaliers are one of the deepest teams in the NBA.
I was going to say,
Even
Karis and Dean have been really good.
All their
You're right.
Yeah,
But you do have to give them something, and you're getting Jimmy
you get
Butler.
Jimmy.
Jimmy Butler is someone who in the playoffs will play 40 minutes a game for you, and off the bench you still have Ty Jerome, Sam Merrill, Georges Niang, and you open up minutes for Jalen Tyson. I think, yeah, fair enough. He hasn't been shooting. He is your twin, but he hasn't been shooting too well.
That's the playoff bench.
He's hard to watch.
I mean, the playoffs are going to be a 7-8 man rotation. I mean,
But
I don't know why you're laughing.
he's
at that.
right.
Ty Jerome and Sam Merrill.
No,
a
Ty
pretty
is
good
cool,
start.
but hey,
And Sam
sorry,
Merrill.
not Drew. John, let's live in this
You're
world.
opening up minutes for Jalen
I
Tyson.
agree. Let's
But
live in
this
this
Ty
world.
Jerome's been great this year, but this is gonna be the first time in the playoffs.
Let's live in this world where Jimmy does head to Cleveland, right?
It's okay.
Sam Merrill too is gonna be his first time in the playoffs.
Ty should be fine. Ty should be okay.
When you have 4 All-Stars
Sam
and you're
should
starting
struggle.
5, you're not going to have to
You
worry
would literally
too much
have
about
5
the bench.
All-Stars. You would literally have 5 All-Stars.
And if you want
I
to
don't know
beat
who
the
you
Celtics,
disrespected.
He keeps disrespecting Jarrett. That's twice now.
Stop fucking doing that.
nah.
Stop doing that.
What's wrong with Jared Allen?
Don't disrespect Jared.
He's good.
Big J, don't do that, bro.
I don't have him as
I
an
love
all-star,
the
but
Butler
he's
to
an all-star
Cleveland
caliber
destination. I think if they could get
that would
Jimmy
be
Butler,
arguably best starting 5
yeah,
in the league.
it would be amazing. They're gonna be a true contender. There's no doubt about it.
That second neighbor might kick their
there's
ass.
just-
You
is
just
a-
need Donovan to
2-year
start
deal.
kicking up.
There
Why
just
would he do
is
that?
there's
Just
just is a
in
lot
general.
of depth you're
Bro, they're
giving up.
blowing teams out.
It is,
You're-
but this
you're
is one of
giving
the
up
deepest teams in the league. right
Karis LeVert. You know, Ty Jerome has been great, but LeVert's their best player off the bench when creating for
Shoot, like
himself.
39%.
Yeah, like
LeVert
he is
has
super
been-
valuable for them.
LeVert has been super valuable. Is not better than Jimmy Butler.
No, of course not.
Max Strus has been hurt most of the season. The 5 games he's
Like,
played,
I-
he's been superlative.
like, I
D
understand.
Wade's been really versatile.
I love
Dean
Dean
Wade's
Wade.
really
Strus is
good.
more
I love
of
me
a-
some Dean Wade.
I don't really care about
about
Max
Dean
Strus
Wade?
like
It's
that.
funny.
Dean
I
Wade.
was the first one to the Dean Wade party. All of y'all are second.
He's a great
Man.
role player.
I know.
But
Really
John,
good
let me,
role player.
John, let me. Dean Wade. We wouldn't even talk about him, brother.
Wait, did you just make that up?
No, him and John Conchar. for a
You
long
talk
No,
more
John
about
Conchar fucking
John
sucks.
Conchar.
Like, I need you to know that from the
I'm batting
bottom of my heart.
500.
Actually,
What
the
do you
Lakers,
mean?
the
Come on.
Lakers literally denied Memphis because they didn't.
I'm still-
not the,
I'm
like,
still
the
on
Nets
this
because they
point.
didn't want John Conchar.
I'm still on
They
the point
lost.
about the bench because I
They
do
lost.
think we're just overlooking it. We're just glossing over it. You're seriously telling me you trust a bench who the first 3 off the bench are Ty Jerome, Sam Merrill,
How about George
and
Niang
Niang?
instead of Dean Wade? He makes more. George Niang makes more than D Wade. How about him instead of D Wade?
Then you're saying too much to the Heat. 'Cause
Jo-
there's-
what?
Money wise.
Too much money.
That's what Fanspo told me.
Yes, Joel.
Okay, not player wise,
He's
right?
just having none of John today.
My goodness.
Yeah, he's sick.
Nah,
of
he's,
it.
Okay.
he's done.
What did you do to him?
He's aggravated with me today. I don't know why.
No, I'm just saying, like he's too much.
But
What do you mean,
Jalen Tyson,
elaborate?
I understood what he
Jalen
meant.
Tyson's minutes, he's been one of the better, more impactful and ready-made rookies at the
He
wing
cool.
spot. You still have some wing depth. And the point that I was making is when you acquire Jimmy,
I asked you a question,
think-
you didn't answer it.
Give me a second. I want to highlight this part.
He's
Jimmy's the
not
type
feeling
of
you
guy
today,
who will
John.
play up to 40 minutes a game in the playoffs. I think his kind of leadership could instill and spark something even more in Evan Mobley and his confidence. And along the way, Jimmy Butler in the interior, I think is going to make life easier
Before
for the backcourt.
before you ask me, before you go on your
I
spiel,
think
because I
he
know
makes
you're
life
ready. I
easier for
know.
the backcourt.
I'm not
ready
gonna say too much.
just
I wanna
just
ask a
quick-
question
just
on
quick
Can you
question.
switch Strus and Niang?
No, you ain't.
No,
Strus makes like
Strus is
16
making
mil.
15. Yeah, I wish you could.
John,
Well, actually, I don't know. because
John.
I'm fine saying Strus.
John.
I'm good.
John, they're sitting at 29-4, or something.
29-4.
Something ridiculous.
72 win pace.
72 win pace. The vibes are immaculate.
Yeah.
The starting 5 doesn't even play more than 30 minutes.
Yep.
They're blowing teams out.
Our 4 best bench players. Here you go.
Do
One
you
second.
think, and like the
not the
vibe,
four
the,
best
I was gonna say
Their
it's
best bench
literally-
player staying. That's Ty Jerome.
Yeah.
Second best.
Karis
I'm sorry.
LeVert.
I'm sorry. Second best. You're right.
yeah.
I view Karis LeVert as a swing starters. That's why I said that.
Okay, swing starter,
Anyways.
bench player. Anyways, do you think Jimmy Butler coming in, trading those guys might shake up what Cleveland has kind of built in this department? Like, do you think
Could.
they risk that?
It could, but you want to know what you have to do? You have to beat the Boston Celtics. In order to beat the Celtics, you need the wing power, not the wing depth. You need the star power at the wings to hang with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And I like Isaac Okoro as a role player, and I like Dean Wade. As much as I like him, I know they cannot hang with the Jays. And beyond that, the Raptors in 2019 had a very good start to the year.
Yep.
They're still like, we got 7 Valanciunas off to get Marc Gasol, and Marc Gasol was a needle mover for them. I know their personalities are a lot different.
laughing?
But when you want to win a championship and the right move comes
I agree.
about and you do
That's
have
a lot to give
hole,
out.
it's a huge
What is
risk.
this, 5 seconds?
But I don't look at the Cavaliers with that current win duo and say they can beat the Celtics in 7 games. I think they can push them to 6. I think they can push them to 7 maybe. But I don't take them to win unless you make the type of move to get Jimmy
So what are
Butler.
they, 5
You're
seconds and 4 players?
absolutely correct. Jimmy Butler is a needle mover for them.
Come.
Is the bench not a serious problem?
Would you rather worry about we don't have a star to match up with the Jays or 8th man off the bench? Or
They
third guy
have
off the
4
bench?
all-stars.
Well, what's been the ingredients for their success?
They have a good
Their
bench still. They're back. I mean, you have Sam Merrill shooting
Look,
the cover off the ball.
I'm
and
asking
then
you the
Ty
simple
Jerome.
Well, he's
question.
also playing off of the bench guys
Can
of
I?
Levert,
I'll
of
ask
Ty,
all
and
you.
shit like
I'll
that.
ask all you 3 this question. Okay, just answer it for me one by one.
You can also stagger minutes with Jimmy.
You have to.
You
That's
could.
what I mean.
You have to, but
You'll
do it now.
always
It's a
always
great-
have a ball
It's
hand.
a great
yes.
opportunity.
No, they do it now.
I'll start with you.
Talk
Riff.
to me, gang member.
Huh?
Your best
Pick a side
3
gang member. We're good.
Your best 3 players off the bench being Ty Jerome, Sam Merrill, and Georges Niang. You trust that in the playoffs?
I trust Ty Jerome.
You trust Jalen Tyson? I like me some Jalen Tyson.
He's a rookie. I can't really give you any feedback on that. I trust
And
Ty
also
Jerome.
with no Dean Wade, they have no big presence off the
Sam
bench either.
Murrell is. I've watched a damn near every Cleveland game. Sam Murrell is really good when he's hitting the 3 ball. He is different than Garland, where they both get hunted, but Garland can hold his own. Murrell cannot, which is why he's a little dangerous. Where if he's streaky, he's not streaky, but if he's missing that 3 ball, you sit him down pretty quickly.
Are those 3 players? I'll ask you. What's your answer to this? No.
You're probably the weakest 3
Simple.
going in out of the top.
Thank
10.
you.
It's no. That being said, you can live with it if in the playoffs my starting 5 is probably going to play upwards of 38 to 42 minutes.
I understand it, but even with how many minutes you're playing, you still need to allocate some bench minutes.
Benches win now.
John, do you trust that bench?
Not a whole lot. Not much, no.
Okay, that's my biggest concern with this deal. I love Jimmy Butler going to Cleveland. I just think Cleveland would give up a lot of what has made them really good this
What's
year.
the deal
Max
for the
Strus-
Grizzlies?
It's really Luke
make
Kennard,
one.
Brandon Clark, and
You said Marcus Smart.
Marcus Smart.
I really think the difference with that is Cleveland just has to worry about Boston.
Yeah.
With Memphis, even if you do get Jimmy, you still got to worry about Dallas, a team that's had your number. You still got to worry about
OKC,
OKC.
Also
Denver.
with
Worry about
Memphis, I
Denver.
didn't even mention, but like they're deeper than the Cavs. As crazy as
yeah.
that sounds,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just
Easy.
you know
Easily.
your starting 5
Yeah.
would be Ja, Desmond Bain, Jimmy Butler, Jaren Jackson Jr., Zach Edey. Off the bench, you would have Scottie
Aldama.
Pippen Jr. still. You would have
Aldama.
Jay Huff. You would have Aldama. You would
Gigi
have Jake
Jackson
LaRavia,
and Vince
Jalen
Williams.
Wells, Gigi Jackson,
keep
Vince
going.
Williams.
Shit doesn't
I mean,
stop.
like they can trade.
They've been cooking.
Yes,
Yeah, like
they can
14
trade
rotation
3
players.
players that are good
still be
rotational
fine.
players
And
be
have 5
fine.
more.
With the Cavs, I'm like, okay, I really don't like. Listen, all respect to the season Ty Jerome is having. In the playoffs, he's gonna get hunted,
He's not even playing a lot of minutes right
and
now.
we have to see. We have to see how
Why
he
is
plays
he
in the
going to get
playoffs.
hunted?
On
He's
defense, he's
slow-footed.
100%.
Okay, but
on defense.
offensively, he knows how to handle the ball.
I know, but Karis LeVert
he does.
being Karis
He's one of the
LeVert,
best players in a pick and roll.
Karis LeVert is their best player off the bench when handling the
To
ball.
be,
And having
Ty's
that
only playing about
responsibility.
18 minutes a game now.
I was gonna say the players that are playing the most off the bench. Okoro's playing, averaging like 22 minutes a game. Dean Wade's averaging around 20 minutes a game. That's
it's-
where it would. The 3 that you mentioned that would hurt. Obviously, it would hurt to lose LeVert. It would
lot.
hurt to lose
Dean
Dean
doubt.
Wade.
LeVert,
Okoro,
Wade.
you live with, but you're
all-
getting
he's
Jimmy. You're getting Jimmy. Like
I mean, you're getting Jimmy. I know
shooting
that,
balls,
but
limited
this is the thing
attempts.
with the Cavaliers.
if you got to keep Okoro, would you be okay with it?
I'd obviously.
I'm
rather
only
keep-
asking Joel.
Yeah, that's another wing
Yes,
defender.
agreed.
He's the
Because
best perimeter defender.
Outside of Jimmy Butler would be their only wing defender.
Correct.
Oh, wait,
That's it. Well, Mobley too, of
yeah,
course.
yeah, I was
But
gonna
I'm
say,
talking
you're
about
talking about Garland?
I'm talking about like in
Big
the
Mo,
forward,
Big Mo.
real the forward position. I know Mobley's like he's like a tweener.
He can guard
but
everything.
Really, outside of him, you can't put George Niang on somebody. You can't
Hell
put
no.
Todd Jerome on somebody. You
put
can't put
Manny on
Sam Merrill on somebody.
Right.
So that's where like Max Strus, even though Max Strus isn't a great defender, he's somebody that's serviceable.
Instead
Dean
of
Wade can
Okoro,
play
can you
defense.
put in-
Okoro can play defense.
Can you put in Niang and the trade will work or
Okoro
no?
makes 12. I'm saying it would have to be instead of
I
Wade,
tried
Niang.
that. It didn't work on fans, but
'Cause you would need, like,
then the
somebody else from
Then the
Jimmy.
Heat are taking like $1 million too much. I think this question comes down to: would you rather those 3 rotation players who have been superb in their roles, or Jimmy Butler? And I would be tempted to have Jimmy Butler on my team.
I would rather the flexibility that
But he's right.
No, Mitch, 45, 41, 81 splits.
No, I've been talking shit. I'm talking shit.
Oh,
I'm talking shit.
I would rather have
talking shit.
the flexibility that
Thought he was
keeping
shit.
those 4 on their contracts gives me
Right.
for the next 3-4 years. Because they're one of the best teams in the NBA. I think,
Right.
can the Jimmy Butler move take them over the top? It can. I think they're contenders now, though.
Scary.
I think they're a really great team now.
agree.
They're figuring things out.
Are they legitimate contenders?
Yeah.
They're not the best team in the East. They're not the Celtics. I think they're in the category with the Knicks right now, where things got to go right for them to make the finals. But
Things have to go right, as in the Celtics have to get injured.
or it's just about shot making. If in a series against the Celtics, you need Donovan Mitchell to play his best brand of basketball. You also need Darius Garland to play his best brand of basketball. And I think that's the biggest question mark that we have right now. That is Garland going to show up, and also you need the Cavaliers to dominate the interior in a series
I was
like
going
that.
to say, dude, Mobley offensively, that's really what's been a huge boost for them
Yes.
this season. I mean, his ability to roll, his ability to handle the ball.
3-ball looking real cool in limited
Like
minutes.
we
Calm.
see all the time, teams they make these great trades and then they lose all of their depth and part of their identity. And Jimmy Butler is like, okay, are the Cavaliers already giving all-star level contracts to Mitchell, Mobley, Jared Allen, and Garland? Are they going to also attribute that to Jimmy Butler after this season? And then they're going to have no flexibility to make any moves to improve
the
their
scary
depth.
part.
That's a valid point.
So for me, like I'm looking at
To be fair, though, do you think Jimmy would accept his player option to play with them next year?
he could, I'm not going to rule that out.
He sees they make a little deep run, they have a chance. Jimmy has played with, to a lesser degree, more deeper teams with Miami, but less top end talent.
Yeah. Right.
And he's given
This
the
is
Celtics
insane.
talent.
Listen,
Yeah.
I think the Cavaliers' destination is a great spot. And if Jimmy Butler gets traded to them, I think they can compete with Boston and potentially beat them without a
like
doubt.
regular season,
I
though.
do think there's some question marks about them in that depth. The bench really becomes thin to where I don't think the Grizzlies have those same concerns. They have G.G. Jackson, Vince Williams, Jake LaRavia, Santi Aldama, Jay
that's the
Huff,
best spot.
Scottie Pippen Jr. Even if they trade 3 good role players, I think they suffer a little bit with their big man because Jay Huff has to now take a step up. But they still have like so much depth to where the Cavaliers, it's more of a question mark. It's more of a, what's going to happen if we need, 10, 15 minutes of somebody in the playoffs, people that have never played in the playoffs.
Understand
ask
that.
you a question.
My bigger question with the Cavaliers would just be the spacing. If you have Jimmy next to 2 bigs, you don't take a high volume of threes. Now, if you try to force the ball off of the hands of Donovan Mitchell, you're not looking at a second established floor spacer. That'd really be my biggest concern.
And I guess the other thing for me is like, it's about the needs of both teams. I think the Grizzlies need to make a move like that to be in the conversation, like where I think they can genuinely compete for a championship. I think the Cavaliers need to make a move
They just
like
need Cam Johnson.
Yes, I think they need to make one of those moves. I don't know if they need to go star hunting. I think they need to go fitting around my star hunting. That's what they need to do. So with the Grizzlies, I feel like it's more like they need to make a power play, and they also have the assets and the players and the depth to make a power play where it won't hinder them.
How about we go on the opposite side and talk about Cavaliers? What about OKC? Would you trade Lou Dort, Aaron Wiggins, and Isaiah Joe?
For Jimmy Butler.
Yeah,
Like in a heartbeat?
yeah,
Yeah.
I would.
Pretty
Yeah.
comfortable.
There's another team that I could legitimately see trading for him. Like the assets they have really are unfair.
Right.
But that starting 5, oh my Lord, have mercy. And Chet hasn't even played
Right.
in a while.
I don't know how I'd handle myself if you had Isaiah Hartenstein, Jimmy Butler,
I'll be
Chet
honest, I'm
Holmgren,
not ruling it out.
Jalen Williams, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
You want to know why
be
I
in
might rule it
euphoria.
out? Because I don't see the Cavs happening because I don't see the Heat trying to make the Cavaliers better in conference type deal.
Right. He
Fair.
is stubborn. He is stubborn.
Do I think that they'll also send Jimmy to the best team in the league?
We saw Greg Popovich opt to send Kawhi to Toronto, a different country. So, yeah, I don't know.
You know
I
what
think
mean?
when it comes to Pat Riley,
spite, he sent to a
maybe
worse
he's
place.
that emotional that he's going to do everything out of spite. I think he has to.
Hornets may not be that crazy.
He has to hold himself in check and accountable a little bit. The Dwayne Wade era in Miami ended poorly, partially a lot to do with Pat Riley.
I agree.
The Jimmy Butler era is ending poorly because Pat Riley is trying to be just like enforce his authority to the max end. And he also has to appreciate Jimmy Butler, and I hope that he does send Jimmy Butler to a place where he can thrive and not try to sabotage
D-Wade was
his
sending
season.
some interesting signals during his speech when his statue was being revealed.
Yeah.
Interesting signals about the team needing to be on the same page. The players within the organization need to be on the same page, and that's how Miami's always been. So feels like he knew a little something. Of course, it's Wade County. With Jimmy, it's just really about Riley. I get it. You'll have cap flexibility if Jimmy walks this offseason. But, and at the same time, I know we always say, this guy has done so much for you. Give him what he wants. You really don't have to give him shit of what he wants. You can do whatever you want. It's your team. At the same time, if you get a sweet deal for an expiring 35, 36-year-old, don't be stubborn, man.
I'll take a first round pick. Like, I think you're gonna get this dude away for nothing. Like, I think Pat Riley and the Heat, what they should do, I don't know if they will do, just take the best available offer to you.
Call it a day.
And
you're playing okay basketball right now. You'll probably make the playoffs. Yeah. Like, just take your L in peace.
It sucks because you've been waiting on Tyler Hero to really develop, and this is the year he's finally figured it all out.
Yep.
Most likely will be an all-star. Like, there's a strong chance he makes the all-star team.
He's winning fights.
And now, I don't know if he won.
No, he got ragdolled.
He won the fight on
He
the
won the
court.
battle.
Yeah,
he won the war and lost the battle.
He got ragdolled.
I don't know if they play again, but he won the game.
He won the war and lost the battle.
1,000% lost that fight.
Yeah.
What would you rather?
Win the war.
I would rather lose the game.
I want to win the war.
On live television.
I'll be honest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because he was
That's
killing.
rare. Yeah.
Hero was killing.
That is true.
He
got ragdolled. Amen.
Yeah, that's a bad look from
He
Hero.
got slammed.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
He got
but he got took by the jersey and thrown on the ground.
Yeah.
It was kind of whack of him, but
it was worse because he hovered around talking and didn't jump in. It was just like, damn, he got me. Let me back up and just see what I can.
He got thrown to the floor too easy.
Let's let Terry Rozier lock in. And Terry Rozier
was
he's really like that. So
that was tough. But you know what? It sucks.
he played a great game though.
It sucks because you've been waiting on Tyler, and now it's Jimmy and Bam that are like, we're waiting. When is it happening?
Yeah,
It's not going to happen for Bam. It's too late.
It's over.
It's too late.
Hey, whoa.
Careful now.
Defense. You can't never forget.
Tyler Hero's the best player on that team.
Drew just ushered. Do I care? Yeah, you should care.
You should care.
Where's the offense?
It's getting better lately.
Get me back to 20 points. I need back to 20
He
points.
only did 20 points like once.
Twice.
It's crazy, man. Jaden McDaniels gets slandered, but Mr. No Offense, all defense guy.
Actually, first of all,
He played well yesterday against the Celtics, actually.
First of all,
Yeah.
Jaden McDaniels cannot hold a candle to Bam Adebayo.
Yeah.
He's right.
Second of all, the playmaking gap
Joel,
is bigger than the handle gap.
Joel, like we're always like I'm always ready to be with you, and then you bring in Jaden McDaniels. Like, who cares
Bam
about
is a better
him?
ball
cares
handler
about
than
Bam?
He
you.
is Mr.
Everybody.
Whoa. Jaden McDaniels is
You
Mr.
care about
9
Bam?
points.
Me personally?
I mean,
Yeah. You don't. Yeah.
Bam is 2 times the offensive player.
Yeah, I knew 20 points twice was cap. It was,
Once?
Yeah, once.
19?
19.
Yeah, fuck you,
How
man.
about 20 and 5?
I was close.
Yeah, you're wrong though.
How?
that.
19 what?
Can't give you that. It's
I knew
19.1.
it.
No, 19.1.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I can't give you that.
All right.
19.1. Jaden McDaniels really stinks, right?
I'd rather have Zubac than Bam Adebayo.
You're lying. Wait, it depends. What team?
Come on.
The Clippers.
Oh, okay. Wow. Bam makes their defense all time.
That's crazy.
You think that's crazy?
Zubac is one of the most underrated players.
James
in bat.
Harden would make-
You can make the case most underrated center. That is crazy. Yeah.
James Harden to make Bam look like, fuck.
Who has better
Jesus.
a better offensive game, Zubac or Bam?
Zubac is a better post player.
Done.
He's a better post player.
Okay.
7 feet.
I think he's just a better scorer of the basketball.
I like my centers being post-up players.
Not necessarily.
No,
This is like Zubac's first
he's
real
just not
year.
missing around the rim.
Who do
where
you
He's
enjoy?
a great post-up
Who do you
player.
enjoy watching on offense more?
I'm crying.
I don't
care.
Zubac or Bam Adebayo?
Point Bam.
Bam. Well said. I
what's
like Bam
wrong-
handling the ball.
What's wrong with you?
I like Zubac. He has some swagger to him.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do.
No, you don't.
What's his number?
Yes, I do. 41.
I don't know. I'll check.
He is right.
Yeah,
Oh, he is?
I think it
Okay.
is.
Come on. Don't test me on my Zubac
So you think
knowledge.
Zubac is a better player than Bam?
Where is Zubac from?
Nah, he's playing better right now.
Is he really?
You doing that to me with Sauce Gardner, I'll do it with Bam.
Oh,
Ahmad.
you were close. 40.
Oh, it's 40?
Yeah.
Okay.
First
I
of
was
all,
confident.
it's
in
He
Ahmad.
said he's right.
It's Ahmad, and Ahmad plays defense. And you know what Bam has never lost? Defense. Because he's always top of the league. Sauce.
Doesn't feel
I'm
like
sorry. Ahmad, you just tell he was like top 15. He's dropped. Bam had never dropped to no top 15 defender. Come on, brother. L.
He's kind of right.
He's dropped to like barely a top 30 player.
That's fine. It's a lot of
He
talent. in the
might
league.
drop even more.
Sabonis or Bam?
Oh my
Straight
God.
up.
Sabonis.
Damn.
Guys.
It's always forever going
You
to be
stay
offense
sleeping
versus
on
defense.
Sabonis, man.
What has Sabonis done in the playoffs? And then tell me what Bam's done in the playoffs.
Fuck that. What
Bam's been
like,
number 2 on a championship caliber team.
Sabonis'
ain't never
coach
gonna be
isn't
that.
even on the
Sabonis
team
will never
anymore.
be that. That's partly because he's not good enough. I hate to break it to you.
Sabonis,
You've
you
got
asked
the
him to
18th
shoot a
best player in the
three-ball.
NBA,
What is
the
he shooting
18th
now?
best team.
You see these shooters
John,
from three
what are you
ball?
talking about? Sabonis has been one of the lone bright spots for the Kings this year.
Literally.
I mean,
You're
the
not
reason
watching
why.
like the beam basketball,
nobody is.
respectfully.
The
He's shooting 41%
the reason
from
they're an
three, if I'm
average
not
team is because
mistaken.
Sabonis and
On
De'Aaron Fox
two
are not
attempts.
good enough. That's why.
What has been shot in years prior?
One
are
year
the
he shot
Heat?
3.
What
The
are,
Heat have been to the
Indiana.
finals twice.
And
what
shot
are they
what?
about to be?
The Heat went to the finals
32.
twice.
Because
respect him.
Jimmy
Last year he's
Butler.
at 137.
Because solely Jimmy Butler, yeah, okay. Because Bam didn't lift up their defense every single
did.
year with
All
that
right.
much help.
That's it. I'm
defensively.
going advanced.
I mean, come on. He led the NBA
Bro,
Finals twice
bro,
behind the back of his
The
defense.
Miami Heat are about to build around Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero once Jimmy Butler's gone. What
think
is that
that
team?
sucks.
What is
But
that
like
team?
building
that
around
doesn't mean
Sabonis
as
isn't
much
better.
as him bringing the finals twice with Jimmy Butler. That doesn't.
What do you mean?
You know exactly what I mean. You're just avoiding
Sabonis
the
as the
reality
what,
that Bam is
what
a better
is your
player
ceiling
than
with
Sabonis.
Sabonis as your second best player?
Yo, pull up the on and off. Hurry up.
I got you. I'm doing it.
I already
First
have
round,
Sabonis.
maybe you get to the second round.
Sabonis,
you
right?
get
I already
perfect
have it.
matchup. If everything goes right.
Yes,
A
if it's,
bad year for the Heat was getting knocked down in the second
yes,
round.
if
So-
Sabonis' best teammate is De'Aaron Fox, that's the ceiling. If Bam Adebayo's best teammate was De'Aaron Fox, what's their ceiling?
You can apply that logic to
don't
many
even know what
players.
they're
The
arguing.
difference is that
My
DeMontis
God.
Sabonis holds you back in more ways than Bam Adebayo.
How?
does. How? Okay, he's not a good rim protecting center. He's
Well,
not a floor
that really
spacing
matters.
center.
On and
Those
off.
are two of the most important
On and
things
off.
that complement
On and
a
off.
player.
Let's
getting
get analytical, baby.
I'm getting there.
On and off. If you look at Sabonis, he's in the 82 percentile. He makes them 5 points better when he's on the court.
That's good, but that's really
82
not life-changing.
percentile.
For a star player, that's not really
Who
that
also is leaps and bounds better offensively.
Better scorer.
What is Bam? Can you search that up?
I'm doing it right now. I'm doing it right now.
come
I'm
on.
sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm supposed to rely on you here.
I'm
We're
here.
supposed to be
Here
a
we go.
tit for
Here we
tat.
go. So what was his?
Plus 5.5.
Yeah, minus 5 points per possession, minus 5.
They're 5 points.
well,
better,
that's
I think.
what I
defense,
mean.
right?
Correct.
Shouldn't that
Defense.
be defense?
Okay.
Well, overall, how
wait,
how
yeah, I
is
thought
that?
you
Well,
said
his
their
point
point
differential is
differential.
8.8.
That's what I was.
Okay.
That's what I was asking.
I like that
about.
more.
He's in
wasn't asking about
86
defense.
percentile. No, I strictly went defense because you were talking about him being a liability.
Let me
Bam-
go on the advanced
Go ahead.
tab and tell
Bam
me.
is
Oh,
in
shut up, John.
66.
No, sorry. You proved it right with the defense.
schooled his
Yes,
ass.
he proved
I
it
got
right with the
analytical
defense.
on him. Respect Sabonis. If you're
I'm about
not
to say-
watching
You
Sabonis,
didn't even look at. You didn't
respect
even look at the right defensive
No,
stat.
I did. I looked at points
The
per
best
possession.
stat for a rim protector is opponent shooting at the rim. You didn't look at
He
that.
looked
right.
at the on-off numbers. Don't
That's all
worry.
I was doing.
I'll
All right,
do
so-
it.
Literally all I was
Team stat.
doing.
Cleaning the glass has it. Offense and defense is split it up.
Yes.
So on offense, he's in the 66th percentile. On defense, he's in the 83rd percentile.
What's
what
Bam
you're
Adebayo's
His worst year.
point differential when he's on the court?
Plus 2.4.
There you go. In his worst season.
And
so.
who's Sabonis? Sabonis is at
8.8.
8, right? Okay, yeah.
Listen, this was a hit.
Like, respect Sabonis. Like, I'm not here trying to slight Bam. All I'm saying is you just disrespected the fuck out
You're
of him.
disrespecting Bam because you don't
No, I'm
recognize how
not.
valuable he
No,
is.
I understand how valuable his defense
Sabonis
is.
and Velez can knock down in the first round or being a plane.
Congratulations, he plays for the fucking Sacramento Kings,
He played Kevon Looney.
the Golden State Warriors.
The Sacramento
Fuck
Kings
you!
who made the first playoff appearance in
you
decades
go.
because of Sabonis.
Because Sabonis,
Yeah, he was one of the biggest reasons. What are you talking
one of
about?
the biggest reasons. Yeah,
It
you're
was him and
acting
Fox.
as if he's the main reason.
It was him and
why.
Fox.
You're acting.
Well,
as
he
if
was
he's
the
reason why.
he was the main reason.
Keegan Murray was up there.
He was good. He was the main reason. Was he
He's
the
also
only
main
reason?
why they
No,
weren't good enough to be more in a first round exit. So
I don't disagree.
They ran into the Warriors.
They literally ran into the
They're a
Warriors.
dynasty.
They literally lost to
Draymond
one
got suspended
person.
one of the games.
They lost to one person.
Stuff.
Yeah, they lost
He
to
had
one
50. It went
This
7
wasn't-
games.
This wasn't the same. I
It
mean,
went 7 games, and Curry. It took him having an all-time great
hold on,
game.
hold on.
person. This wasn't the same
John,
one. Who are you? about
listen
to
up.
say?
when Draymond got
John,
suspended. in
listen
one of the
to
games.
Joel
John,
right now.
listen up. I got the numbers on defense.
I'm pulling them up too.
Domantas Sabonis,
Bamonte.
less than 6 feet. Domantas Sabonis, his defensive field goal percentage is 59.4. Bam Adebayo's less than 6 feet is 65.6.
Stupid motherfucker! You fucking respect Sabonis.
What year is this?
This is this year.
This season?
You fucking
I think-
respect him.
I
He
think
does
you're
everything
missing
for that.
context. I think you're missing context.
Domantas
in this
Sabonis' overall defense field goal
Yeah.
percentage is 47.9% this year. Bam's is 48.6%.
I want you to look at this and show me, and you can read off those stats of Domantas Sabonis' opponent shooting. It's all blue because he's one of the worst rim protectors.
How about we look
in
at
the
this
league.
year?
That's all blue.
Yeah, we're gonna highlight the 35-game sample size over the 7 years.
What do you mean? I'm talking about this year.
We are talking about this season.
I'm not talking about this season because Bam's worst season.
You! Now it's a loophole.
Bam's worst season.
So you're just
Now
gonna
that's a
take away
loophole.
Bam's worst
No
year?
shit, it's his worst season.
No.
That's why we're
They
shitting
don't-
on Bam.
They didn't want to acknowledge. I was talking about Bam's best
Here we go.
seasons when they went to the finals twice. I was not talking about this year.
I'm
Drew,
talking about what Bam is now.
the LeBron stat. Defensive
Fucking
LeBron.
LeBron.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Oh,
A lot of blue in there.
Here we go.
Yeah, we're getting really analytical.
We're getting really
This
analytical.
is
up
super
here.
analytical.
This is so pick a side, but we have to do it. Domantas Sabonis, positive, 78 percentile. Positive. Bam Adebayo, 94th percentile.
He's
this year.
Nice. Bam is a better
He is,
defender. We
he
never
is.
said Sabonis was a better
No,
I
defender
didn't
than Bam.
do that.
Let's lock
point
it
was
off.
that Bam's the better
Let's,
player.
LeBron.
I got to do both.
You got to be fair.
Oh, LeBron. Sabonis, 94th
Oh my
percentile.
God, he's him.
Who the hell are you talking about?
No, hold on.
Stop talking
Hold on.
about
Yeah,
him.
I'm
Negative
Bam
way.
Adebayo, higher than the Sabonis on the defensive end, 77 percentile.
Oh, okay.
So
All right.
they're basically the
I
opposite
understand.
of each other.
I don't
So,
really-
Who
I
would you
don't-
pick? Who would you rather? Here we go.
I don't really value Sabonis in the same light because he
Crying.
limits you in more ways than Bam Adebayo. And that's the crux of my argument.
Whatever,
and
man.
It's evident in the 2 finals appearances the Heat made, whereas the Canes have never been out the first round, Sabonis.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the main point that I'm arguing. I'm not even dismissing Sabonis, 'cause I think he's a wonderful offensive player in his own
Wonderful.
right.
Now he's
He
does
fucking
some good
lying.
things.
Now he's trying to save his ass.
No,
I'll
I'm
say-
not. You're wrong. You're missing the point.
No, I heard.
Bam
No,
was
you
the number
were.
John, everybody's missing
on
the point today
2
on you.
I know.
Everybody.
Bam was the number 2 on 2 separate finals teams, and he made critical plays in that 2020 series versus the Celtics that without him did
Agreed.
not get out the conference finals.
Agreed.
But Sabonis does not space the floor, and he's not
does
a rim
space the floor this
protector.
year.
His second best trait is rebounding, which is nice, but it's not as valuable as Bam's versatility or rim
All right,
protection. on
breathe,
defense.
breathe.
That's
It's
so
okay.
stupid. It's one of the dumbest conversations.
What do you
Bro,
mean?
Sabonis is not on Bam's level. That's the point.
Oh my God,
That's the
why do
point.
you sound like this?
Oh my god.
I'm not trying.
So
to...
who's better this season, Bam or Sabonis? Who's better?
Sabonis, and that shit don't
That's
fucking
all I'm
matter.
saying.
So you just said
It
Sabonis
don't
not on
matter.
Bam's level, but
It's
Sabonis
a
is better?
30-game
I have
sample
more
size.
advanced analytics.
30-game sample size.
Crafted
Holy.
offensive plus minus.
Who was better last year?
Wait. It was close. Fuck.
It was close last
Bam,
year.
I would go Bam.
He said it's not close.
Yeah,
no,
not
'cause
close is
Bam was a
insane.
good ass offensive player
He was.
last year. That was
Look at the
different.
last
was.
5
He
years.
was.
It's not close. It's
But last
clearly
year,
Bam.
Clearly
Sabonis
was
Bam.
amazing.
Bam was in a
But he
different
was-
tier.
Bam was
Bam's
good
a
on
top
offense.
20 player.
Yeah, last
Sabonis
year,
was
agreed.
never a
Bam
top
Adebayo's
20
not a
player.
top 20
No,
player.
last year he was.
What are you
Last year he
talking
was.
about?
He was.
No,
Last
he
year
said
he
he
was.
said
This is a hate hater.
You're
That's how
saying
that's a
now.
fact. It's so to dismiss the Heat every single year.
But
When
that
they
has
went
nothing
to
to do with the
finals,
fact-
you had them lose in the first round, the second round, the third round, and the
Drew,
finals.
shut up.
What's the relevance?
He's had this coming.
Because
What's
you
the
never,
relevance?
you always
Drew, he's had this
dismiss them.
coming.
You always
He's
dismiss
disrespected
them.
John all
You
show.
never acknowledge them.
He's had it coming.
And you
He
always
has to
dismiss
fight.
the whole show.
That doesn't
Every
matter
year.
to this
Yes, it
conversation.
Yes, it does.
We're talking
Because
about
you're
Bam
biased.
Adebayo
That's
and
why.
Domantas Sabonis.
That's
I'm
why.
not biased over Bam Adebayo. He's had a terrible offensive
And you're
season this
biased
year.
towards Sabonis because anytime you would praise him, you would get Kings fans to praise you.
I'm not
but the reality
biased
was,
against
the Kings
Sabonis.
fans knew they would rather have Bam Adebayo over Sabonis.
Kings fans know they'd rather have Bam over Sabonis. What are you talking about, John?
Any kid fan watching knows they would take Bam over Domantas Sabonis and they would sleep well off fucking
John,
night.
you were the same person that had the Kings missing the playoffs 2 years ago when they were the 3rd seed. What are you
That's
talking
a
about?
lie.
You
That's
had
a
them
lie.
missing the playoffs.
That's a flat out fucking
And now you guys
lie.
got caught.
And I
So what
have
are you
the
talking
fucking-
about?
I have the receipt. Riff,
Yeah.
2 years ago, I made a TikTok that you criticized and you stitched yourself about the Kings making the playoffs. So you're literally incorrect.
Wait.
That is a load of fucking
Can you give me that
bullshit.
video? Give me that
I
video.
will right
Yeah,
now.
give me that
I'll
video.
look it up.
Give me that video.
Bullshit.
Oh my
wait,
He's
wow.
pulling up the
Why does
receipts.
it always have to be me?
Because you were the one who it was like, this is a bad take.
Did I get a lot of likes?
John, has Sabonis ever been on the team that actually has the ceiling to make it far in the
yeah.
playoffs?
I think no.
Has he ever
not
been a part of a
entirely.
roster like that?
No, but I kind of know what the outcome would be anyways. I don't think if you put him next to Jimmy, he'd be probably going the second round, but I still think he holds him back in the second round. So
Didn't you have the Heat losing in the first round when they were the 8th seed
to the Celtics.
to the Bucks?
To the Bucks?
when it made the finals.
Before
When
Giannis got hurt, I had the Bucks winning that series.
Okay,
And then Giannis
so
got hurt.
even with Bam and
Rick,
Jimmy
why do you
Butler,
have
you
so
had them
many
losing in the
fucking
first round.
TikTok
What is it?
accounts?
Sabonis has never been a part of a team that you realistically can say, oh yeah, they can make it very far in the playoffs.
I agree with
so to
that.
measure him based
I
off
agree with
of
that.
how impactful he can be in a situation like that, we don't know. We haven't seen it.
We do know.
You're
We do
measuring
know.
him based off
We
this
do.
Kings situation, who they don't have the
do.
roster to make it far.
Two of the most important things is a rim protector to go on a playoff run and your floor space net at the 5. And honestly, a lot of the time, Sabonis in the playoffs will be schemed against to where the dribble handoffs and all the assists when Kevin Huerter wasn't making threes was less valuable. I think he has really unique strengths, but those don't translate as well to the playoffs as Bam Adebayo's elite traits because those are more necessary.
What translates to the
Papa, but this
playoffs?
whole conversation started off talking about
Yes.
this season. You've turned it into an overall who's better.
In the last
this
5
season,
years.
it hasn't been close. That's
Yeah.
what I
At
was
no
arguing.
point- at no
We're
point
arguing
was
right
I
now,
arguing this season.
moving forward, Sabonis and Bam Adebayo as your second best player,
I would still
it can
take
net
Bam.
you a similar ceiling. There's no way you've watched Bam Adebayo on offense this year and you think he can legitimately be the second best player on a team that can go to the championship
this.
moving forward. Jimmy Butler did a lot of the heavy lifting for the Miami Heat.
On offense.
Caleb Martin was what? The second best player in the Eastern Conference
On offense.
Finals? Yes, this is offense, of course, but that's such a big part of the game. That's a big part of the game.
I agree. No,
And Bam Adebayo is not a top 20 player in
yes,
the
he
league.
was. Riv, what do
Is
you
he
think?
right now?
He was
No,
talking last
no.
year.
This year,
He said
no.
last year.
But in
Overall,
past years, yes.
overall, if you're measuring all the NBA players, is Bam Adebayo a top 20 player this year?
This year, no.
You just asked me that question. I told you twice.
Is he
I told you twice.
Okay, this
Last year, in your opinion, was Bam a
answered
top 20
twice.
player?
I think it's very close. You can make an argument he wasn't. He was just on the
He's
cusp of making it
easily a
out.
top 25 player.
I agree.
Easily.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Bam
easily.
Adebayo's
top
an
20.
all-star, a lower level all-star. That's what he is.
He's not a low end all star.
I'll go middle.
He is
A low end all star is Jared Allen.
John, how many fucking TikToks do you have?
A lot.
Jared Allen or Bam Adebayo moving forward?
Bam.
You don't think that's a conversation?
No.
I don't
Jared
think so.
Allen or Bam?
I think
Jared's
Bam.
gotten a lot better, so I think it's close.
I think Bam. I love the playmaking.
Is Jared Allen a low-end all-star?
Yes.
Yeah.
Bam Adebayo is a low-end all-star moving forward.
Right now,
I
because
think,
of his
I think
offense doesn't
Jared's
come back
grown
yet.
into more than that, though. That's the
Like,
I
I don't
wasn't
think-
calling him an all-star just now.
I think he's starting to grow into more than that. But I think he can be, like a
Riv,
more than.
Talk to me.
what's the biggest reason why?
I can't find this video. I tried my
I'm
hardest.
fine. with it.
Riv, what's the biggest reason why moving
it is.
forward we think the Heat's future is fucked when they trade Jimmy Butler?
I sound so bad.
Because,
I got the video. You told me I didn't say they can't. I predicted the Kings make the playoffs.
Yeah, I was just trolling you, buddy. I don't give a shit about what you thought about. I'll be honest.
Well, you lied on my name. You lied on my name.
already
That's
Play
your
the
point.
video. Play the video, John.
I sound like an idiot in this video, but my voice is way too high.
That's you?
Yeah. The title: Are the Kings a playoff team in August of 2022?
Can I listen to the video, John?
I mean,
This
come
is your
on.
fucking voice?
John doesn't want to hear his voice.
I know
I don't
they're
either.
going
I
to
don't.
be incredibly mid, but watching those two former college
He sounds
teammates running up and down
terrible.
the court
Shush.
playing
I do,
together,
I do.
it's gonna be
can't
like
believe
the
me.
diet version of the
We'll
Splash
start it-
Brothers.
start it back.
In all
Start it
seriousness,
back.
like that should make the game.
Here we go.
Okay, you can laugh at me for saying this, and like I get it, it's the Kings, but one thing's I'm most excited to
title.
watch in 2023 is Malik Monk and De'Aaron Fox playing together. I know they're going to be incredibly mid.
They're gonna be
but
incredibly
watching
mid.
Those two former college teammates running up and down the court playing together, it's gonna be like the diet version of the Splash Brothers.
So I did say they're going to
Let
be
me listen
incredibly
to the
mid.
video, John.
And I think Malik is a better fit next to De'Aaron than Buddy Hield by far with his athleticism and also his
Cooking.
inability to, not settle the way Buddy Hield did, which is why all Kings fans probably hate him. You can laugh at me for
So-
saying this, and like,
When
I
did you
said-
say they're a playoff team?
but one
So it
thing's
says right here.
It's your caption. You never said they're a
Oh,
playoff
oh,
team.
oh.
no, not nitpicking. He's nitpicking now.
Are the Kings a playoff
You gotta
team?
let him thug it out.
No.
The caption literally says they're a playoff
Drew,
team.
You gotta let him thug it out.
No, it was a question.
Can't say
Are
John.
they a playoff team?
I mean,
It wasn't they are a
But
playoff
This
team.
is John's manhood right here. He has to fight for himself.
And I was trolling you, but now you just proved me right that you ain't say that shit. What you talking about?
I did. 'Cause I definitely did. That was not the first time either. That's the best. They're the first one I could find. So
All I'm saying
Where's the
is,
stitch?
At
'Cause
least
you
you
put me
know.
under the bus.
He said
did
they're going to
say
be
that.
incredibly mid.
all
That's
I
what
know
he said.
and
That's-
all I care
that
about
was a
is
big
that
step
you
up.
said that Bam was better than Sabonis this year, and that was cap.
No, I didn't say this year. And if you thought that it
Yes.
did, that was never my intention.
All right, that's all I was
Never.
saying.
At
Love
no
how we got
point.
Because then
I
you were
said-
disrespecting his defense, which has been
I said
drastically
Bam-
better than any other year he's ever had.
And his shooting has been better this year.
Easily shooting 41%, although on 2 attempts.
attempts.
It's
Two
the
attempts.
most. He had 3 attempts. He
get
shot 32.
I do.
If
I
Bam,
understand.
if Bam was shooting 41% on 3 on 2 attempts,
You'd be on your hands and
knees.
knees.
Sabonis also is a positive and crafted defensive plus minus.
Thank
There you
you.
Wanted to help you out.
I asked you this question, Riv. What is the biggest reason why, when we think about the Heat moving forward, we think they are in no man's land once Jimmy Butler
Because
is
they
gone?
have 2 low-end all-stars leading the team.
Okay, and Bam Adebayo is part of that,
Because
right?
his offense drops.
Jimmy's a low end all star.
No, Bam and Tyler.
No, like
Same
they're
with
led
Jimmy
by
leaves.
Tyler Hero and Bam.
If Bam offense drops, he's a low-end
I
all-star.
think it's more so you lost a number 1, and now you're gonna have an elite number 2 or pretty good number 2, kind of being expected. to
Bam's
be-
an elite number 2.
This Bam is not a number 2.
No, I don't.
This Bam is not.
Once
number two.
again,
Would you
I'm
say
not talking about
2022
this year.
Bam was an elite number
No, he's
2?
a good number
2020.
2.
Agreed.
A good number 2 is maybe a better
2020,
word.
he's not as good as 2022 Bam.
Shit, last year's
2020
Bam was tough.
offensively was averaging 20, 10, and 5. But,
22 Bam was averaging.
okay, so you
Didn't
know
he
what?
average 20?
I
We could talk-
overstated
Like
it,
19
but he was a
and
very
was
good
good,
number
though.
Listen,
2.
we
That's
could
the
we
point
could
of the
talk
argument.
about what
me
they
see
are
Ahmad.
in the last 5 seasons, who's accomplished more. What I care about is now. What are you doing for me now?
Yo, who's also better,
is better
Siakam
than
or
Bam.
Bam?
I would rather have Bam.
Siakam's been one of the better defenders as well.
Yeah, he's being a solid defender.
And offensively, it's not even close.
Uh,
It's not close.
This year it's not close, but I'm not.
They're
you
just
know,
talking about this year.
I'm not overvaluing a 35-game sample
Or even
size
last
over
year.
5
No,
years.
hey, we can
Yeah.
talk about last year.
I think it was
Sabonis
close
made an
last
All
year.
NBA the last 3 years.
I think last year was really close.
That's why I ask.
Yeah.
So if it was close last year, this
No,
year,
Sabonis has been playing better right now.
I'm sorry, I'm talking Siakam.
Siakam or who?
Siakam or Bam last year.
Oh, Bam.
Siakam was amazing offensively. Defensively. This year, defensively, Siakam has been legitimately great.
Siakam would never touch Bam.
No,
defensively.
never.
That's the
But
problem.
offensively is what I'm saying. There's the
Last
gap.
year, I think.
Bam has a specific role, and you can finish what you want
Yeah,
to say.
last year, I think Siakam was a better scorer
Yes.
than Bam. Any year, regardless of what year. What keeps Bam in these races is the fact that he's a really
Elite
good
defender.
playmaker, and he's one of the 5 best defenders in the
I
world.
agree.
So and last year, he was scoring the ball really well. So if he's scoring the ball well while giving you those 2 things at an A+ rate for his position, he can be in these conversations with these, I don't want to say mid-level all-stars, but, these regular all-stars and stuff
I just
like
think
that.
Bam Adebayo has a very specific role, and we saw this in the 2 finals that the Heat went to. He is a center, but he's more of a power forward because when he matches up against those true high-end centers, he gets bullied. He cannot
Jokic.
match up with them
Siakam
height-wise.
No one's guarding
Yeah,
Jokic,
Siakam's
though.
nice.
Defensively, he's been a god.
I
He wasn't.
do agree with that.
Anthony Davis also dominated him.
Right, I do agree with that. He's more of a power forward, but they never put a center next to him.
He's also having
And
a lot of load,
while
too.
He does have a specific role, but that's the most important role at his position. Rim protection and elite switchability. And the Heat often task him with doing both of those things, which no other player in the NBA
Evan
can
Mobley
do
or
but
Bam?
him.
Right now, who's better?
Oh, right now, Mobley.
Mobley's playing better.
Mobley.
But I believe by next year, it could be even.
But I will also say,
don't
Mobley
think
right
so.
now is playing the way that Bam has played last year.
Mobley's only improving.
I would say this: Bam gets responsibilities on defense like how guards get responsibility on offense. Like how we get Trey Young his responsibilities, Luka Doncic, like these guys' responsibility. That's basically what Bam's responsibility on his defense. In terms of Bam versus Evan Mobley, if Evan Mobley's hitting the 3 ball, if he's being able to get in the post, if he's moving in transition to offense, the only gap is the playmaking.
Yeah,
that's literally it.
I think Bam Adebayo is good. I just don't think that he clears
No, he
doesn't clear a lot of
Sabonis.
He's a
I think
different tier to
the
me.
difference between Bam and Mobley is IQ. Like right now, Bam is a lot more seasoned. He's a lot more smarter. He's been in the game a long time. He understands spacing and all that. Mobley in next year, brother,
He's trending in a crazy direction.
they might not be the same tier by next year.
I'm just not. It's just
Mobley is just that's
Sorry, I
a special
should've
breed.
Mobley keeps getting better.
I should have told you I was joking, but you really got the video, so you proved my
video?
point.
I didn't have the cojones back then to say.
You was
I
just
think they're a
coming at
playoff
me with
team.
some history receipts and
He did
shit.
cook.
Well, no, I didn't understand that because I would go on the Joel Moran show, and he and I would praise them in November of 2022, like a month into that season where they won 48 games, about why we thought they're going to be a playoff team. So I was praising them with him. So if you just say that, I was like, damn, that's not true. I was one of the first people to say the Kings are making the playoffs that year. I felt it.
And that was before your nuts dropped.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, I'm taking the arrows out of John's back right now.
Yeah.
So this next topic is going to be about Anthony Edwards, because after his struggle against the Celtics in a game that the Timberwolves lost, he had 15 points, 5 for 16, 2 for 9 from 3. He said post-game, "It's not how I want to play," when talking about double teams, of course. "I'm only 23. I don't want to just be passing the ball all night, but the way they're guarding me, I think I have to." And then he also proceeded to say, "I'm wired to score the ball." Now, Riv, how do you feel about this? Being an avid supporter of double teams and the way that defense is played in the modern NBA and how they hone in on stars to make games tough for them. How do you feel?
That was a weird way to spin that. Listen, it was a tough quote to read. It really was. Like, at first, it caught me off guard. I do want to say the one thing I do like about Ant-Man is the fact that he is very open in his post games. I love somebody who doesn't care what the media thinks, is the same person going in, same person coming out the building. And that's one thing I do like about Ant-Man, is the fact that he's very just, it feels like he's me if I was in an interview. Like, I'd curse. I'd probably just say whatever the fuck is on my mind. I wouldn't sit here and give you a political answer. No, I'm just going to keep it real with you. And that's one thing I do like. This was one of those moments where it's like, maybe you were too real. Like, double teams are very common for teams who have just won a one-on-one score, one dog. I mean, we see it a lot around the league, and I think it's just a weird quote to say, especially coming off a game where you saw a lot of the times he was seeing double teams, and it was a simple read just to a guy on the top of the key, simple read to a guy in the post, and either maybe he's seen it, didn't want to pass, or he just didn't, took a tough shot. And, that's been an inconsistent thing, watching some film of him this morning, where he's just, sometimes he can show you that he can make that next level read, and other times he chooses to be selfish. I don't know if that's like he said, it may be just a mental thing where he is wired to score, and he doesn't want to do that all the time. But when you are in that upper echelon of top guys in the league, Giannis has improved his playmaking. Luka is all-time as a playmaker. The Joker is all-time as a playmaker. Tatum has evolved into a great playmaker. SGA is not there yet, but he's like a transcendent scorer, so we don't really give a fuck. But guys like Steph was a great playmaker. LeBron, transcendent playmaker. Like, you get into that upper echelon tier by being kind of an all-around offensive machine. And I think that's the one thing holding Ant back right now. It's that next level of just being a more selfless creator, a guy who can read defenses, get past the simple or advanced reads, be a more consistent playmaker. And that's really the one thing that's holding him back, because I think the three ball has been falling this year for the most part. He's great at the rim. He's really explosive. He's athletic. He has a little bit of a bag work. The mid-range, he really loves to get to his spots. He's strong. He's physical. It's just that, dude, you're one of the best players in the league. You're going to see double teams. And that was one of the things that was holding me back from giving him, best two guard in the league, because I feel like as a two guard, you need that playmaking to your badge. And I feel like he's so far off from the top guy, in my opinion, as a playmaker. It's really hard to give him that notch. But I think this quote, I know it rubbed people the wrong way. It definitely rubbed me the wrong way at first. When you sit on it, you think on it, it's just like, he's honest. He's real. He says what's on his mind. I do think it was a little crazy to say, but at the same time, I don't even know. Like, it's just, I've never heard nobody say no shit like that before. So, Ant-Man, you got to get better at that. That's just something you have to improve on your game, especially with this team. I don't want to make it just an Ant-Man thing, because I do think this team has legit holes on the offensive end. A couple black holes on the team. One of your favorite players of all time, Jaden McDaniels, is one of those guys.
I thought you were talking about Julius Randle.
He had a good game, though, last game. That's why I can't really... He
did play well.
He played really well, and that's one of those things I said about Julius in New York. That's a matchup he can exploit in Boston. He's a lot more physical than them players. He's a big... If he gets into that bully ball mode, he can do that. But, this team also isn't the best fit. But maybe, Ant-Man isn't going to be one of those guys that's a great playmaker. But, maybe you just have to find that to put next to him. But definitely something that rubbed me the wrong way for sure. Just something he needs to continue to work on, continue to improve his IQ on the offensive end, and just continue to get better at.
You want this one? Yeah, I'll talk a little bit. Now, I've been very vocal about the offense for Minnesota being a strong concern for me. And I always decided to keep Anthony Edwards out because I understood that the problems that the offense were having were bigger than Anthony Edwards. Now, these last 10, we've really seen Anthony Edwards struggle, scoring 21 points a game, shooting 40% from the field, on 9 attempts from 3, shooting 36%, which still isn't bad. But, of course, understanding that the lack of spacing that this team has, it's really brutal, especially when you consider the fact that we're not seeing Anthony Edwards get downhill as much this season. What he is elite at, or was elite at, was finishing near the basket and going downhill and finishing through contact. We haven't seen that as much this season for a couple of reasons. And I think that the main one is the lack of spacing and the fact that there are so many bodies that are now being hyper-focused on Anthony Edwards because I'll respect Julius Randle because obviously he'll have moments like he had in last night's game where you know that you have games that Julius can score the basketball, but he's the one you're worried about. Every single night, teams are game planning and trying to stop one person, and that is Anthony Edwards. When you go and you try and take away this elite trait of his, and you're forcing him now to be a jump shooter, the opposing team is winning. Whether you want to see it like that or not, whether the Wolves end up winning the game and inevitably, or they pull a close one out. If you force Anthony Edwards to take shots that are less efficient than his elite trait of finishing at near the basket and taking away those opportunities, the opposing team has won, and we've seen that more often than not so far this season. And again, I want to reiterate, I think a lot of their problems are bigger than Anthony Edwards. He's on a bit of a skid right now, but that's going to happen as you go through growing pains in an association. When you are the best player, when you are the number one, you are on a team that has a lack of spacing, and you've overcame that early on in the season when you were shooting the three ball at an unbelievable clip, shooting over 40% on an insane amount of attempts a game that we knew was unsustainable. But when you take away his ability to get near to the basket, that's definitely why we've seen him struggle the way that he has. But you can't be that surprised.
No.
Because you took away one of the best big spacers this game's ever seen away from him. And when there's bodies in the paint, he's making a business decision. I'm not going to forcefully get my way in there, but he could ease up the spacing on the floor or definitely alleviate some pressure if he were to become a better playmaker.
I didn't have a problem with the quote because I thought the quote was taken out of context. He's candid. He is somebody that is going to be very honest with the media. And in the full interaction with the media, he also said, I think everybody else has been playing good besides me. I have to find a way to get myself involved in the offense by not letting the double teams take me out, and I'll figure it out. He's just being honest about he doesn't enjoy playing against double teams. Who does enjoy playing against? No, nobody does. If you ask any NBA player, do you like being double teamed? They're going to say no. Is that the reality of Anthony Edwards' situation? Yes, and he realizes that. He's just saying that he doesn't like playing against it, but he's going to figure it out because that's the reality of the situation right now. I think the lack of spacing around him is a big thing in why his game right now, we're kind of hitting a rough patch. But I do think that he needs to find better ways, and he has to be more craftier in getting his way in the paint. Because I'm looking at just some players that have more drives per game than him. Anthony Edwards this year is averaging 12.6 drives per game. RJ Barrett is at 14.9. Do I think the Raptors spacing is so much better than the Timberwolves? I really don't, especially with all the injuries they've had this year. I look at De'Aaron Fox. He's at 17 drives per game. The Kings spacing also
not great.
Isn't all that good. So if you are great at driving to the basketball, you're going to find ways to get inside the paint. I think what sucks about how Minnesota is constructed is that they don't have another ball handler outside of Anthony Edwards.
That's another fact.
So all of his offensive touches usually are coming off of him having the ball at the top of the key, where you look at Steph Curry, for example. It's harder to double team him because he's coming off of so much movement and so much screens. And that's how they're finding ways to free him up, and that opens up the offense. In moments where we see Steph Curry have the ball at the top of the key and they just send two and they get the ball out of his hands, it's really hard to score that way and to make much of an impact. So it's on the coaching staff to find more creative ways to get Anthony Edwards involved. And I also think that what you said was correct. He has to improve as a playmaker and just making the simple stuff, just making the simple passes, because right now a pass that he still struggles with is he doesn't throw lobs. You know, Rudy Gobert can have a 5-inch size advantage over somebody in the paint, and there could be an easy lob opportunity, and Anthony Edwards is swinging it out to the corner. He just doesn't feel comfortable making that pass. So there are moments where Edwards can be much better as a playmaker, but to me, most of his inefficiencies come from him not being aggressive enough. He has to stay engaged and continue to find ways to have those go-to moves to get into the basket, because I feel like right now what he is very north and south player. He's either going to blow by you, maybe hit you with a crossover and get to the paint, but once that double team comes, if you wall off that lane for him, he's going to pass it instantly. Where SGA, when he faces double teams, he kind of keeps his dribble alive and tries to maybe one-on-one somebody with the post up to get them off them, and then goes into like a spin mid-range jump shot, where I think Anthony Edwards doesn't really have a go-to move. Like the go-to move would be the step back three, but in the mid-range, it's either he has an open shot or he's just shooting over the top of somebody, but he doesn't have a move really, like from the post, working there. That needs to improve in his game, and I think it will. I think this is a learning lesson for him. But you know, nobody enjoys being double teamed, and I don't think the quote was all that bad.
I don't read
One
too
thing
much
about
into
OKC, they don't turn the ball over too. Like, they really do not turn the ball over.
And SGA, he was one of the league leaders in drives per game, even before they got this spacing. It just goes to show you that, you know, spacing is a big thing, and it can open up the floor. But if you get to the basket, you're going to get to the basket. And Anthony Edwards right now, I just feel like he lets those things in his way too often.
I was going to say, how many drives per game is John Moran averaging? Do they have the best spacing? No, he's also an elite finisher himself too. So it's like, if you have that trait, if you have that ability, utilize it. I know that
They
it's
kind of do.
spacing now.
Yeah.
It depends.
In the past, though,
on
they didn't have the best
facts.
spacing, and he had
That's
like
Yeah, he's
this
still
year.
getting down there.
Edwards is at 59% at the rim, 39th percentile, 40% from mid range, 47th percentile. The problem with him is that he's taking a lot of threes and he's making it at a pretty high, pretty efficient volume, but from the mid range, he's very inefficient, and driving the basket, he's been less efficient this year. You can attribute that to the spacing. He just needs to be more efficient in all areas of the court, so those shots are better shots for him.
with you.
That's fair.
You gonna ever talk?
I don't read too much into the quote, quite honestly. I think the biggest issue of the Timberwolves are a lot of bad offensive players in their starting lineup. And
Name them. Just name them.
Rudy Gobert, Jaden McDaniels, and Mike Conley at 37 doesn't really have the same spark. So
He's passed first.
So
He's ass.
yeah. So when you have, it's not really a Julius Randle or Anthony Edwards issue to me, but rather there's such little shot creation that when you take out Rudy Gobert and you put in Naz Reid and you put Dante DiVincenzo into Mike Conley's spot, their offensive rating, or their points per 100 possessions goes from 105, which is pretty bad, to 130. And I just think that Chris Finch at times can do a better job matching the lineups and just finding ways, new creative ways to get the most out of their offense while still maintaining that defensive tone that they want to set. And then I think on top of those few things, Anthony Edwards is 23. I mean, you can nitpick some parts of his game, but I don't really think it's an Ant-Man issue. I really just think that their rotation is so many different guys they've committed to, either through the draft or they're spending a lot of money on, that at the end of the day, they only have like 3 or 4 established rotation players.
I'd argue that him not being a playmaker is an issue, for the sole fact that he is their primary ball handler.
Yeah.
That is it. It is not his fault the team does not have another reliable ball handler. That being said, he needs to be a better playmaker because of this.
That's fair.
I think they need to just start building a better roster around him. Like, maybe he's not going to be a playmaker. You know, if that's the case, I'm fine with that. You know, not everybody has to be like an advanced level playmaker. You just do what you do great, and he scores the ball great, and they just got to find a way to just surround him with pieces that can do more. You know, like, I think they attributed so much of the roster to win now, and because of that, you have Rudy Gobert and you have Mike Conley, who's now older and can't get by any defender. It's a bad offensive situation, but Anthony Edwards also doesn't handle those doubles the best, so it's kind of on both.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
That's fair.
How you feeling, John?
Feeling good.
Okay. Are you ready to rank these top
All I'm
5
saying is
first-time All-Stars?
Cade Cunningham sees doubles all the time.
Facts. Cade Cunningham also is top 5 in drives per game.
Yeah,
Cade
he was.
Cunningham is also one of the a great playmaker.
Yeah, he was one of
For
the
sure.
most double players in the league in his rookie year. So
Sometimes when you
Yo,
got it, you
Cade's
got it.
rookie season was pretty special, low key.
Yeah, came back, played well. Just sometimes when you got it, you got it. Not saying Ant doesn't have it. That's not what I'm saying. Just
you think Cade's better? That's what you're saying.
no, just some guys. Some other guys also haven't. Sometimes people sleep.
So if you were to pick one of them, Cade or Anthony Edwards, who would you pick?
Who do you think I'd pick?
No, I'm saying who do you think's better?
Who do you think I'd pick?
Who do you think is better?
Oh, Ant's better. But who do you think I'd pick? Of course, bias is gonna come.
Who do you who would you pick based on who's better?
I love that, Ant. that was a good.
You think
good
Cade
pull.
could ever be as good as Ant?
What is he like now? Top 12 in the league? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Cade could be top 12 in the league. I think Cade could be top 10 in the league. Can
Okay.
he be top 5? Probably not.
Mm-hmm. Can Ant be top 5? I don't.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't think so. That's not a slight.
That's a lot of talent. What is he? 23.
23.
Luka's 26, 25.
Luka's 24. He might have just turned 25.
Okay, so that
No. 24?
Yeah, he
No
was-
way. No way.
He might have just turned 25.
Let's start. He won't be by the end of next year. Wemby's probably
His birthday is February 28th. He is 25 years old.
wow.
That's nuts.
So Luka, Wemby, Tatum,
Same birthday as Al.
nice. Shout out to SGA. Those guys are still going to be in their prime. You got guys coming in all the time. I don't know. Like top 5 is a tough thing to say. Yeah,
It is tough.
it's a tough thing to say. I think top 10, yeah, for sure.
Who are the top 5 most deserving first-time All-Stars this year?
Are we going first to 5?
Do you guys just want to all read your list and see if we all got the same list in the same order, 1 through 5?
I'll start.
Give me 1 sec. Number 1.
Let me know when everybody has their list. We can say it at the same time, not just like one-on-one
let's
saying
go.
it. Let's all say it at the same time.
I didn't have it in order, so
Right?
mine might be funky.
So, okay, are you ready, John?
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Okay, are you ready, Drew? Are you ready, Riv? Okay,
We're going.
number 1. We're starting at number 1. Number 1, we're going to say it in 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1.
Victor
Victor
Wembanyama.
Wembanyama.
Duh.
Okay.
Number 2, 3, 2, 1.
Kevin
Kevin
Cunningham.
Mobley.
Oh, you had Mobley at 2.
I do.
Nuts.
Why?
Over Cade
Cade is
Cunningham?
nuts. It's nuts.
Cade is on my list.
He should be 2.
Mobley.
The Pistons have already won more games than they did last year.
Agreed. However, the Cavaliers are on a 72-win pace. Mobley is in the running for DPOY. He's also improved his game offensively drastically. That's my reasoning.
Cade is
Agreed.
He's averaging 24 and
Number
10.
3. Sorry for ruining this for you
24,
guys.
7, and 10.
Sorry for ruining this for you. But number 3 is Cade Cunningham.
Number 3, I had Alperen Şengün.
number
Evan
3. I
Mobley.
had Jalen Johnson.
Okay.
Wait, Jalen Johnson's over Evan Mobley to you then?
Yeah, I don't think like they have 29 wins, and you can argue D. Mitch, DG, Mobley can be all stars. So I
But
can't.
this is first time All-Stars.
Yeah,
And Mobley, like we've had conversations.
Yeah.
The best player is Donovan Mitchell. You could argue most impactful is Mobley because of what he brings on the defensive side of the ball.
for sure.
That's my logic behind having him too. Majority for the fact of obviously he's deserving. He has the counting stats and obviously the talent, but mostly because of the fact that they're the most winning team in basketball.
I think Jalen Johnson though, I'll put him ahead of Mobley because he's just been a revelation.
I'm fine with
for
that
Atlanta.
because spoiler, number 4 is Jalen Johnson.
Yeah, he's just been their number 2 guy consistently. Like Mobley at times has, but it's like a
You know how
stop.
passionately
So
I
over
love
Şengün.
Jalen. Şengün is number 5 for me.
I don't think he makes it.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't have
He's
him.
averaging 19, 11, and
Number
5.
5.
Yeah, I don't think he makes it.
I had an honorable mention, and it was Tyler Hero.
I have like, 4 bigs ahead of him
In the East or in the West?
in the West. Yeah.
Well, it's Victor Wembanyama.
Then you got
It's
AD,
Jokic. It's
the
AD.
Joker.
No, but this is first time All Stars.
No, I know, but the reason why I didn't have him in my top 5 because I don't think he has
He'll
a legit
make it.
chance. Yeah,
Fair
And I
enough.
think-
This was most deserving first-time All-Stars. Like, do you think, from a statistical perspective, Johnson is more deserving than Alperen Şengün?
I'd argue yes.
Yeah.
I'd
I do
say
think so.
yes, and on top of that, he's like he's what he's doing for Atlanta is really dope. And plus, I did weigh in the fact that he's in the East, so he might have a better chance. I weighed that in pretty heavily.
I
into my
understand.
list.
That's
So,
fair.
I'm not mad at Sengun.
I'm not
You
either.
have it on the
Sengun's
list.
my 5. I'm sorry, I ruined this whole thing because I had 2 be Mobley.
Yeah.
But Sengun's my 5.
I have J-Dub at 5.
J-Dub was honorable mention for me as well.
So Jalen Johnson over J-Dub, too.
I had
sure.
Mobley at 5.
Jalen Johnson's moving the fuck out of me.
I tell
He's
him at
amazing.
4.
Tyler Hero's in my honorable mention.
I get it.
I respect
He
that.
just
It was Tyler Hero and Şengün
cut.
I was contemplating.
I feel like Sengun can have an argument over Tyler and Mobley. I wouldn't hate that. I think that's tough. It's tough because I think Jaren can get in over Sengun. I think AD. I think the Joker. I think Wemby. That's already 4 bigs.
Jaren's been very good.
Yeah, that's what
I can't say it enough.
That's tough. I don't hate it though.
Jaren's been an all-star.
Yeah, I think Houston, you got to get one in.
That's why I think Sengun will deservedly or rightfully get in.
They don't. That should have really suck.
Alperen Şenguni.
But it could be like the Kings when the Kings were a top 3 seed and neither Fox nor Sabonis were named outright.
That's some
outright starters. You know what I mean?
Fox probably should have made it that year. Yeah, damn. This is why that sucks.
NBA's NBA.
It's okay.
First time All-Stars.
We should make our own All-Star teams this year.
Yeah.
Thing is, Wemby's gonna make it to the All-Star game, but he could also be a rising star.
He should be.
You're discussing.
Yo, that was a fart.
That was a fart.
What are you talking about?
he probably is gonna be in the Rising Stars team. Shout out to him.
That's gonna do it for this episode of the Pick a Side podcast.
Another
episode
3 hour.
400.
My stomach is
42.
screaming.
You guys can follow us on Twitter at Pick a Side Pod, on Instagram and TikTok at Pick a Side Podcast. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.